beneath the skull of an incomprehensible monster. The Demon King, the zenith of all demons, resides here, having unified the previously divided 7 factions of hell. The Demon King sits on a throne made of the bones of the strongest demons he has slaughtered. He is a man wearing a terrifying helmet burning with a grim purple flame and dark armor of powerful proportions, with dragon heads protruding from his shoulders. He exudes a breathtakingly strong demonic energy. Balak, who is known to be unbeatable except for the Archduke, is terrified as he approaches the Demon King to ask why he wants to return somewhere after conquering everything in hell. What a badass Demon King introduction, man. The Demon King responds in silence, making Balak and the thousands of demons in the castle uneasy and terrified. The demonic energy surrounding the Demon King becomes more intense as his power, the authority of predation, is released throughout the whole place. Balak takes a step back in fear of being devoured by this power. The authority of predation can absorb the bodies and abilities of any demon it touches. The Demon King has devoured all the demons of the hell of 9 skies, making him the peak of all evil. Damn, talk about overpowered. The thousands of lowly demons tremble in fear of incurring the wrath of their king, where they feel the pressure of the authority of predation. The only thing in their minds is that they are about to be eaten. The Demon King, dissatisfied with his current situation, begins to speak. He has everything when it comes to the deepest depths of hell, but he has lost 10,000 years living in this unchanging scenery, day-to-day life of slaughter. He slowly removes his helmet, revealing his appearance as a young man with dark hair and red eyes. We are introduced to our main character, the peak of all evil, zenith of all demons, the Demon King, Okangwu. Balak, his loyal subordinate, misinterprets Okangwu's dissatisfaction as hunger and orders the demons to prepare food for him. The lesser demons quickly comply and carry a huge, covered plate for Okangwu to devour. For a show of loyalty, Balak slowly opens the cover and reveals the head of Focalor, the one who was leading the largest remaining army of the Archduke. It was a grotesque head resembling an octopus with its tentacles and blue slime oozing around it. They could have at least cooked it, no? In a fit of rage, Okangwu threw the head back at Balak and cursed him out after seeing the unappetizing meal that the demon prepared for him. Enraged, he releases demonic energy and declared that he wants to eat kimchi stew. The surrounding demons began murmuring the words they just heard from the king, kimchi stew, and started cheering for it. Balak chimed in and offered to take the head or organs of whatever or whoever kimchi stew is made of. Okangwu cursed him out after hearing this absurd imagination, as he knew that meat was an ingredient of the kimchi stew, but probably not what the demons were imagining. Bros about to go to war and slaughter for kimchi stew. Okangwu sided his rowdy demons and thought that explaining what food was to them made no sense, since they had never grasped the concept of meals. Food was nothing more than the authority you had over the loser if you won a battle. Balak interjected that Okangwu had been bored lately because there was no entertainment. He attributed it to the fact that his lord had killed all 7 Archdukes and had become bored with slaughter. The demons started cheering for their bloodthirsty king, frustrating Okangwu even more since all the entertainment he wanted was manhwas and novels. He's just like me for real. Balak and the horde of demons started solemnly kneeling, for they could not satisfy the Demon King with all their remarkable powers combined. Balak even went as far as asking Okangwu to take his life for not being enough. With a desperate expression, Kangwu muttered that if he at least had a loved one here, it wouldn't be so bad. We then hear a sultry voice from the crowd of demons, offering herself to Okangwu. The queen of Succubi and the greatest beauty in hell, Lilith, captivated every single demon in the castle. Succubi, sign me up. She expressed her dissatisfaction for Okangwu not being satisfied with having her heart. We eventually see her crying in every single one of her 10 eyes, with her tentacles for hair stretching out everywhere. It was at this moment that Okangwu finally broke. Condolences, brother. Lilith insisted on finally being with Kangwu tonight. Kangwu then ordered her as the king not to come to him tonight out of fear. Lilith takes this as Kangwu just being coy and shy. Lilith stretched out her slimy tentacles and gripped Kangwu's arm. The Demon King's disgust was visible in his face. But the demon horde either blush or are jealous seeing the sight of Lilith interacting with Kangwu. Kangwu's disappointment is immeasurable. The Succubi that are the beautiful women from the stories he'd heard are far from reality. Kangwu does everything in his power to get out of the terrifyingly seductive grasp of Lilith. From his point of view, Lilith looked more grotesque than Balak. No eye exams in hell, I guess. He thought that outer appearance wasn't important in terms of love, but still, this is too much. This wasn't a matter of whether she was pretty or ugly. Her outer appearance just didn't fit human aesthetic standards. With all this happening, Kangwu clenched his fist with a desperate expression with only one word, Earth. He needs to return to Earth. This shocked Balak and Lilith. His decision was firm, despite his underlings having tried to convince him for 10,000 years. No, them trying to convince him only made his decision firmer. After a long 10,000 years in hell, his preparations have been completed after consuming the final Archduke, Baal. Kangwu gripped his throne. It's finally time. Here we go. The Demon King is descending, or rather ascending, to Earth. He stood up and walked the hall of his castle. It's time for him to reap the rewards of his 10,000-year struggle. He turned and ordered Balak to prepare that thing. Balak's doubt was apparent as he sought confirmation from Kangwu, but the Demon King simply responded by unleashing his vast amount of demonic energy, staring at Balak with disdain and not bothering to repeat himself. Balak quickly kneeled to apologize for his actions, and then hastened to prepare for what was to come. Never make the king repeat himself, bro. We see Balak commanding the thousands of demons in the horde to prepare the equipment of the 7 Archdukes and call on someone named Amon. Never make the king repeat himself, bro. We see Balak commanding the thousands of demons in the horde to prepare the equipment of the 7 Archdukes and call on someone named Amon. Demonic horde promptly obeyed Balak's orders with unwavering conviction. In a dark and ominous cavern, a witch doctor-like figure with a menacing staff emanating death stood amongst a number of horned stone statues, each of them holding an artifact in their hands. This must be the equipment of the 7 Archduques. Kangwoo, Balak, and Lilith stood at the bottom of the stairs leading to a sinister altar in the middle of the stone statues. Balak informed Kangwoo that everything had been set and prepared. Kangwoo started walking towards the stairs. Lilith couldn't help but shed a tear as she knew what her demon king was about to do, and even Balak started to shed tears at the sight of Kangwoo's figure walking away. Come on, man, you made the kitty cat cry. We see Kangwoo removing his imposing armor and leaving it on the floor, revealing a figure of pure muscle, evident from fighting and conquering for 10,000 years. 10,000 years of hellish workout pays off. The witch doctor greeted Kangwoo at the stairs and instructed him to push a great amount of demonic energy into the equipment of the 7 Archduques, warping the boundaries of space and time and forcibly opening a dimensional fissure. This witch doctor is revealed to us as the dark magician, Amon. There's only one true dark magician. Everyone knows that. Kangwoo took note of the instructions and immediately proceeded. In his mind, the only thing that mattered now was going home. In front of the altar, a physical manifestation of his demonic energy began pouring out. His aura took on the appearance of a menacing purple smoke. He started to feel the space around him, and his demonic energy became so condensed that it turned into a purple ocean around the space. The sea of purple oceanic demonic energy started to solidify into a sphere of remarkably pure demonic energy, Kangwoo's very own 10,000 demon energy core. After an eternal silence, a single drop was heard. Release. Kangwoo's 10,000 demon energy core exploded, and a burst of demonic energy could be seen everywhere. We see Amon being overwhelmed by ecstasy just from being near and witnessing the 10,000 demon energy core in all its glory. The 10,000 demon energy core flex is fire. The demonic energy emanating from Kangwoo caused the eyes of the stone statues surrounding him to glow with the same hue. Amon confirmed that the 7 Archduques equipment was reacting to Kangwoo's power, and the gate would soon open. As Kangwoo warped the boundaries of space and time, we heard his thoughts. Even if he returned to Earth, his family, friends, and lover would not be there. Right in the field's brother, but anything was preferable to the literal deepest depths of hell where he currently stood. The gate cracked open, and Kangwoo strode toward his new conquest. Before he entered the gate, Lilith and Balak called out to him, pleading with their king not to abandon them. Kangwoo simply responded with the words, "Do not cry," out of fear of seeing the appearance of a crying succubus. Lilith, head over heels for the demon king, misinterpreted it as a gentle attempt to ease her pain. In her excitement, she began to spurt liquid from her tentacles, screaming to Kangwoo that she wanted to go with him. Run, Kangwoo, run. Without hesitation, Kangwoo jumped through the gate. Lilith shouted that she would follow him no matter what, but Kangwoo responded by turning around mid-fall and flipping off Lilith, Balak, and hell itself with a smug smile. He never wanted to see them again or return to that place. Ladies and gentlemen, the pinnacle of evil himself. As he fell through the time and space dimensional fissure, he pondered his 10,000 years in hell. He realized he had no past he wanted to change or future he wanted to go to. He'd take anything that looked and felt like the earth he knew. I hope everything goes smoothly. As Kangwoo fell through the endless void of the dimensional fissure, he eventually landed beside a glowing blue orb in a futuristic-looking room. Relief washed over him as he smiled at the prospect of finally going home. However, his joy was short-lived as the blue orb changed to red, emitting electrical currents. Red is definitely bad. A notice popped up stating that the Gaia system was detecting the fissure's nucleus. Red laser lines appeared, seemingly trapping Kangwoo in the room. He was utterly bewildered by what was happening. Warning notifications began to appear, stating that the power of the nucleus exceeded the system's limit, causing the activation of defense mechanisms across all dimensions. Kangwoo's mere existence had overloaded the Gaia system, prompting the defense system to fire a red lightning shock at him. But the system failed to eliminate the fissure's nucleus, and a prompt appeared stating that it was impossible to do so. That's an extremely tough nucleus. Throughout the process of the system trying to eliminate him, Kangwoo gritted his teeth. Eventually, the system opted to initiate a restricted sealing as it failed to eliminate the demon king. Kangwoo screamed in anger as he was being sealed but was eventually knocked out by the system. Looks like the commute to Earth is kinda rough. As Kangwoo regained consciousness, he found himself lying on a grassy plain. Opening his crimson eyes, he saw a dense forest beyond the bushes. He felt relieved to be home, although his body ached with pain. To understand his situation, he checked his status and a window appeared, confusing him. The window showed his name, O Kangwoo, and stated that he was a level 1 of the first stage awakening. It also revealed that his first stage awakening attribute was the authority of predation, but the rank was unknown. His second stage awakening attribute would only be revealed at level 10. He had an unknown innate class, and his innate stat was demonic energy. Status windows is only gonna get more and more crazy from here on out. As he pondered his situation, an unpleasant sound like scratching iron caught his attention. When he turned towards the noise, he was startled by a group of goblins wielding weapons, rushing towards him like he was their prey. Kangwoo was confused by what he saw, realizing that the earth he knew didn't have creatures like these goblins. Where in the world did he land? We see the nasty group of goblins lunging towards Kangwoo, brandishing their various weapons. Kangwoo then immediately postures to utilize his demonic energy, gathering his monstrous strength towards his right hand. But to his surprise, the demonic energy he tried to gather did not materialize. The demonic energy inside the 10,000 demon core has been weakened to a staggering degree. Oh no, the nurse has come. Before Kangwoo even processes how his powers have been locked away, the goblins are already within striking distance from him. He seems reluctant to use powers that he would have just scoffed at if he was at full power, but he does not have any choice. He instantly slices and dices the 2 goblins that were about to attack him with their blades. We are introduced to the sinister blade protruding from Kangwoo's right arm, the demon Sabnak's authority of the blade. Another one of the goblins tries to get close to him but meets the same fate. Authorities of demons as the MC's power system sounds so fire. A prompt appears whenever he dispatches a goblin, saying he has eliminated the E-rank regular monster goblin and that his XP has increased. He continues to mow down the group of goblins until his level has increased to 4, and the grind starts. Looking at the remains of the battle, Kangwoo cannot help but wonder what these monsters are, what this XP thing is, and why he actually feels stronger after defeating these goblins. He sees the aftermath of this battle and decides to start gathering information first. Finally, we see him activating his skill, the Demon King O Kangwoo's authority of predation, as multiple menacing, grim, dark purple specters materialize from him. The demon pets of the Demon King must eat. Through using his predation ability, he ascertains the biological info of the goblins he just defeated, but he cannot find any more information about this world. He is alerted with a notification of his demonic energy going up by 1 point. This notification utterly confuses Kangwoo. A type of energy that should just exist in hell exists in this place that he is in. That means there's a possibility that he did not land on Earth. This possibility terrifies and confuses Kangwoo. The reason he was able to endure hell is because of the hope that he would return to Earth one day. In the middle of his mental breakdown, he hears a scream from a distance. It's not a scream that a demon or a monster would make. He realizes that it's a scream coming from a human, and it's a woman. Let's see how lucky Kangwoo is. Without a second thought, we see Kangwoo utilize another remarkable power to rush through the forest, accelerating to an unbelievable degree. We just witnessed the demon Valfor's authority of speed. While running through the forest like a breeze, Kangwoo was thinking that for 10,000 long years. He's only ever seen monsters covered with tentacles or with multiple limbs, so he doesn't care if whoever was screaming was attractive or not. If they have 2 eyes, 1 nose, and 1 mouth if they're human, he would be elated. Thinking about Lilith, he steeled his resolve to detest tentacles. Tentacles are an absolute no. Don't knock it till you try it, bro. Our Demon King finally arrived at where the screams were coming from. He was greeted with the sight of a horde of goblins, more than the group that attacked him, surrounding someone with long and purple hair trapped against a tree. As he got closer and closer, he's been chanting to himself to please let it be an actual human. Kangwoo didn't even pay attention to the horde of goblins he's been passing by. He's only focused on the figure that's been screaming for help. When he was near enough, he saw 2 beautiful golden eyes full of tears, 1 nose, 1 mouth, and a body of a human woman. It was almost like a dream. She didn't have tentacles. Kangwoo screamed in celebration like he has never before. This guy has the tentacle trauma. He was running with tears in his eyes, almost forgetting that he is in the middle of a bloodthirsty goblin horde. A goblin postured to slash the lady with its blade, but before it could even get close, it was annihilated by Kangwoo's authority of blade along with the whole horde. It only took Kangwoo a second to eliminate the group. He reached his hand out to the beautiful lady leaning against the tree. The lady took Kangwoo's hand, and he felt his Demon King heart skip a beat. Suddenly, his 10,000 years of torment was all worth it. We are witnessing the zenith of all demons' love struck. Kangwoo was just an overpowered simp. While trembling in his shoes, the purple-haired lady was expressing her gratitude for saving her from the goblin horde, introducing herself as Han Sola. Kangwoo was speechless, and he could not move from his position while holding Sola's hand. When Sola asked if there was some sort of problem, Kangwoo grabbed her by the hand and eagerly asked her to get married, leaving Sola confused and dumbfounded. The Demon King has, in fact, no reason whatsoever. Han Sola was taken aback by the sudden marriage proposal from her rescuer. She had just been saved from a deadly goblin horde and didn't know how to respond. Kangwoo, realizing that he got too excited at the sight of the first human he's seen in 10,000 years, quickly apologized and introduced himself. He asked if Sola was alright, as she had sustained an injury while running from the goblins. That's right, take it down a notch, Demon King. Before Sola could even answer, she collapsed in Kangwoo's arms due to her leg injury. As she fell, something fell out of her cloak, a smartphone. Kangwoo saw this and was relieved to see evidence that he was actually on Earth. He sat Sola down near a tree and offered to treat her injury, which she gratefully accepted. You gotta get your own smartphone ASAP. As Kangwoo treated her injury by ripping his own cloak to make a bandage, he thought about how he and Sola were able to communicate despite his time in Hell. Flashback to a few thousand years ago, Kangwoo, the Demon King, had forbidden the demon language in Hell and made them speak Korean exclusively. He even tutored the demons personally. He did this so he would not forget how to speak his own language by the time he returned to Earth. Now, his decision was paying off as he was using Korean with a fellow human, a demonic battalion speaking Korean. That would certainly be something to behold. As Kangwoo finished dressing Sola's injury and handed him the smartphone, he saw the current year was 2023. We're in the same timeline. Kangwoo was certain he had adjusted his time and space warp correctly, which meant that monsters like the goblins started to show up on Earth during the 5 years he was in Hell. He told Sola to rest before they moved on, as he thought about how much he didn't know about his current position. Kangwoo began to ask Sola why she was in such a dangerous place, and she revealed that she was hunting Solo inside an E-rank gate due to her circumstances. She had only awakened as a player the day before and realized it was a mistake to hunt Solo. Kangwoo didn't understand some of the terms she was using, but he knew everything was valuable information. He asked her what level she was, and she replied that she was only level 6 as she had recently awakened. This embarrassed Kangwoo a little, as her level was higher than his current level as the Demon King. You gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Seeing how strong and skillful Kangwoo was at eliminating the goblin horde, Sola also asked what he was doing in an E-rank gate, to which he replied that he too has his own circumstances. They sat near the aftermath of battle, resting after a life and death situation. Their shoulders touched, and Sola could not help but blush. She stood up abruptly to cut the tension, disregarding her injury, asking Kangwoo to get going. As quickly as she stood up, her leg acted up and almost brought her down right then and there. Luckily, Kangwoo caught her and offered to give her a hand, causing Sola to be even more flustered than she already was, as she tried to decline Kangwoo's assistance, saying that she had already caused too much trouble. Kangwoo charmingly responded by stating that refusing help in situations of need is not a virtue, so he'd lend her a hand towards their destination. He asked Sola what direction they should go in, and Sola blushed as she pointed out where to go and accepted his help, just until they got to the entrance of the gate. The Demon King has the authority of Riz after all. We see Kangwoo, the Demon King, let out a smile as he thought about this first conversation he'd ever had with another human in 10,000 years. Excluding his eagerness to propose marriage earlier, everything had gone smoothly, and Sola didn't seem to suspect his identity. As the two walked side by side to the entrance of the gate, Kangwoo strengthened his determination to learn and adapt to Earth society. I have a feeling that adapting might be not so easy. As they arrived at the gate, uneasiness was visible on Kangwoo's face as he saw a portal as big as the tree was attached to. After seeing this dimensional rift in space, he identified that this current location must not be completely Earth. After observing further, he didn't see any equipment that was making the rift, so how a gate as large as this one maintained itself was the big question in Kangwoo's head. They got batteries hidden somewhere in there for sure. Sola's injury felt better, so the two decided to step into the dimensional rift. Kangwoo was enveloped in a blinding light. As he opened his crimson eyes, a bustling area of people dressed in armor, cloaks, and other fantastical gear littered the place. Some were recruiting members for a goblin hunting party, some were tinkering with a modern monitor, and there was even a so-called rogue begging to be let in on a party. The only thing that Kangwoo saw in common was that they had 2 eyes, 1 nose, and 1 mouth. Everyone here was human. He's actually back now. Kangwoo opened his eyes to the sight of a busy street, the warm sunlight touching his skin, high-rise buildings, and a vibrant urban area was displayed before him. This sight caused a tightness in his chest, and the Demon King could not help but be moved to tears that he really was back home now. Just let it all out, buddy. Seeing the side of Kangwoo, Han Sola formally invited him to eat with her at her house. She said that she felt grateful and sorry for everything, and she wanted to repay Kangwoo with a meal. Hearing and seeing the beautiful Sola, the only thing in Kangwoo's mind was that it really was spring. The Demon King is off to a wonderful start. As he was about to accept Sola's invitation to have a meal at her home, a firm voice could be heard asking them to wait. Kangwoo turned around to see 2 men who looked like law enforcement asking them to show their player cards just to confirm. This confused the newly arrived Kangwoo as he did not know what a player card was. Sola took out hers, while Kangwoo pretends to comply. What is this guy going to pull? As one of the men approached him, Kangwoo's eyes suddenly turned completely black with snake-like emerald irises. He activated his ability to twist the recognition of a target, the ability to manipulate the target's eyes to his will. With a phantom of a grotesque green demon with tattered rags as a blindfold and a red eye inside its mouth, this is the Demon Dentalion's authority of the blind. That demon authority is 100% certified overpowered. You never have to carry IDs again. Kangwoo showed his middle finger to the man, and the man approved it, leaving him in a trance state. Kangwoo's signature move. Kangwoo and Sola then proceeded to walk home to the lady's apartment. Sola apologized as the apartment didn't have an elevator, so they had to take the stairs. Kangwoo was just happy to be there as he smelled the scent of an old apartment, the narrow stairways, the cold sensation of a railing, and the dusty windows. Everything made his 10,000-year dream feel real right now, especially since he was in the beautiful Miss Sola's home of all the places he could be right now. You deserve the dream come true, man. Everything going smoothly gave Kangwoo the optimistic boost that a happy future would unfold from here on out. Don't feel too optimistic, buddy. Just don't. With everything going his way, Kangwoo couldn't help but laugh internally at his good fortune since leaving Hell, until he hears Sola calling out to her mom. It looks like our Demon King imagined a very different scenario than the one he's in right now. Sola's mom quickly came to tend to her daughter, who just got back from a hunt, making sure that she was okay. Contrary to what Sola did, going hunting alone, her mother had told her to go on a party. With an awkward laugh, Sola lied to her mom that she had gone to the party so as not to worry her mother even more. Kangwoo finally accepted the fact that Sola's invitation was really just for a meal. Sola promptly introduced Kangwoo to her mother as her savior when she was in a pinch earlier. Kangwoo politely bowed. It looks like 10,000 years in Hell could not remove Kangwoo's politeness. He's a good man. Sola's mom immediately took Kangwoo's hand and sincerely thanked the man who had rescued her daughter from danger. Kangwoo was then invited inside the mother and daughter's home, and the mom promised to prepare something as delicious as she could. Kangwoo thanked the mother and daughter for their hospitality, even though in the back of his mind, he would have preferred to have dinner with just Sola and him. But thinking back to his life in Hell, he quickly felt that there was plenty to appreciate and be thankful for here. As they headed inside, Sola saw the text she had received from her mom while she was hunting. Kangwoo saw the smartphone and immediately caught his attention. He remembered his mission to gather as much information as possible about the current state of Earth. He then proceeded to politely borrow Sola's mobile phone, using the excuse that he had just lost his. Sola, with her trusting nature, immediately complied. She even told Kangwoo to feel comfortable while waiting for the meal to be ready as she went to her room to change her clothes. What an angel. Do not mess this up. Demon King. As soon as Kangwoo felt the familiar sensation of a touchscreen, he was reminded of his past. After 10,000 years, everything on Earth felt impressive to him, but he had no time to be impressed. He removed his cloak and prepared for some serious research. Those muscles, though. Ever since he was dragged into Hell 5 years ago, he had been researching news articles from 2018 to see what happened in the world during his absence. Let's take a step back in time to February 22, 2018, the day of the calamity, the day that changed the world. Flashback alert. On that cursed day, unknown and terrifying monsters suddenly appeared from hundreds of gates, like the one that transported Kangwoo to Earth. The world was thrown into chaos as these monsters were immune to firearms, and even heavy artillery was no match for their hulking figures. Hundreds of thousands of military forces were massacred fighting these monsters. This calamity led to the founding of the Emergency Operation World Union, and Korea was the ninth country to join. The first player appeared in the United States of America. However, the identity of the first player is still a mystery. Starting with her, the number of players drastically increased worldwide, signaling a ray of hope for humanity in these catastrophic times. Of course, the first player is American. Back to the present, Kangwoo sat at the dining table, intently reading every article he could find regarding the past 5 years. He had realized that the 22nd of February, the day of the calamity, was also the day he was dragged to hell. This was a crucial piece of information for him. Nice one, Sherlock. Kangwoo deduced that it might be possible that one of the hundreds of gates was responsible for sending him to the place he despised for 10,000 years. However, every news article he read was based on speculation. He needed a more detailed account of everything that had happened. Sola's mother suddenly yelled that the food was ready, carrying a hot pot towards the table where Kangwoo sat. Kangwoo's expression brightened at the sight of the pot. Before he could even thank Sola's mother for preparing the meal, he stopped in his tracks as he caught a glimpse of what was inside. He couldn't believe his eyes. It was kimchi stew, the only thing that had kept him sane during his time in hell. Numerous side dishes were waiting to be devoured as well. Although Sola's mother wished Kangwoo a nice meal, he was already entranced by the kimchi stew and couldn't hear anything. All that mattered was the food in front of him. He took a spoonful of stew, and Sola and her mother began to eat too. Kangwoo's hands shook as he took his first bite. The mother and daughter watched in anticipation. He swallowed the first bite and then took another, this time pairing it with rice, until he was devouring the meal. The authority of kimchi stew is the strongest of them all. We see a glimpse of Kangwoo's time in hell 10,000 years ago. To survive, he had absorbed demonic energy and transformed into something close to a demon. However, because he was human to begin with, his appetite and taste remained human. No matter how many gruesome monsters he ate, nothing could satisfy his human taste buds. The demons he had to gnaw, tear, and chew on to survive were torturous. Everything tasted terrible, like garbage. After thousands of years of consuming raw flesh and blood, any normal person would have gone insane. But not Kangwoo. He cried and fought endlessly to return to Earth. The only reason he was able to hold on to his sanity for 10,000 years of torture was his desire to return home. Now, after tasting something that tasted like home, something that felt like Earth, he cried again. He really had returned to Earth, and he was finally home. From the bottom of his heart, Kangwoo expressed his gratitude towards Sola and her mother for the first real meal he had in 10,000 years. Even demon kings deserve to be happy. Sola replied that she should be thanking Kangwoo and apologized for only being able to give him this treat after he had saved her life. Yet, Kangwoo enjoyed it so much. With teary eyes and a full heart, the demon king asked for another bowl. Kimchi stew so good, he turns into a child. Sola promptly prepared another bowl for Kangwoo. She and her mother were delighted to see how much he was enjoying the meal. Kangwoo ate and ate as Sola continued to prepare bowls for him while gazing at him tenderly. She's a keeper. Suddenly, there was an explosion behind Kangwoo, shattering the door and walls of Sola and her mother's home. However, it didn't seem to bother Kangwoo. A silhouette could be seen walking through the entrance made by the explosion, spouting curses. This alarmed and distressed Sola and her mother. The man was revealed to be a yellow-haired, delinquent-looking, and angry young man. No one should get in between a man and his kimchi stew. That's the golden rule. The delinquent, Han Tae-hyun, got to Sola's face and began berating her for entering a gate on her own. Sola was evidently angered by the disrespect that the man was giving her and demanded that he leave. Tae-hyun was angered by this sentiment. Sola yelled at Tae-hyun, warning him not to come close since she was now a full-fledged player. Tae-hyun responded by mocking her threats and punching the wall with a powerful force, intimidating Sola and her mother. Sola once again warned Tae-hyun not to come close while shielding her mom behind her. Put this man in his rightful place, the emergency room. Tae-hyun scoffed at Sola's warning and looked at the terrified mother, his mother expressing his dissatisfaction with his parents. He complained about his dad who had died off quickly and his mom who earned peanuts. Sola cursed her brother, blaming him for the current status of their family. Tae-hyun then forcefully grabbed Sola by the hands and tried to drag her to his guild, the Anders Guild. Sola fought back and cursed the Anders Guild as trash. This prompted Tae-hyun to reply menacingly that he would put Sola in a very good party. Someone has to clean up this trash man. In a desperate attempt, Sola bit Tae-hyun's arm. He then slapped Sola across the room towards her mom. This bite truly enraged Tae-hyun to the highest degree. He stated that Han Sola should just comply and be his tribute, since Sola claimed to be a full-fledged player. Tae-hyun wanted to face her for real. This is when her mom interjected to plead with her son, to which Tae-hyun replied by throwing his mom across the room and calling her garbage. Sola hurriedly checked if her mom was okay. The disgust for his family was evident on Tae-hyun's face, while Sola glared at her brother with rage and hatred. Forget about the emergency room, this guy should have been the one thrown to hell. He insulted Sola, saying that all she had going for her was her pretty face and that she should just come to the Anders Guild with him to be a tribute to the higher members. It was then that Tae-hyun heard chewing and eating sounds. It was the demon king Kangwoo, continuing his feast like there was nothing else in the world that mattered. Tae-hyun was confused and taken aback by the sight. Kangwoo showed no signs of stopping anytime soon. Tae-hyun let go of Sola to confront the man eating peacefully at the table. There he is. You gotta get your hands dirty today, Kangwoo. Tae-hyun called out to Kangwoo with no response whatsoever. He scratched his head as he was about to run out of patience. Tae-hyun then suddenly kicked the table, causing everything to fly all over the place. Rest in peace, Tae-hyun. Gone and forgotten. Kangwoo saw bits and pieces of the thing he loved most go up in the air. This shocked and concerned Sola. Kangwoo remained in a shocked state for a moment and then let out the most grief-stricken scream there was. He looked at the floor, seeing the aftermath of Tae-hyun's kick. Tae-hyun was confused by this, even mistaking Kangwoo for a beggar with the way he looked at the food. Sola was left speechless by this interaction. Tae-hyun continued to call out to Kangwoo and started kicking him. That's when the demon inside Kangwoo was awakened. Tae-hyun was caught off guard by the strange man kneeling in front of him. The tangible bloodlust emanating from Kangwoo made him seem like an actual demon in the eyes of Tae-hyun. Well, he is the demon king after all. Filled with rage over the wasted kimchi stew, Kangwoo looked like an animal ready to pounce. Tae-hyun gritted his teeth at the incomprehensible monster in front of him, preparing to attack with all his might after sensing Kangwoo's ferocity. He channeled energy into his fist, causing it to burn with bright blue flames. Despite Kangwoo's ferocious appearance, Tae-hyun lifted his fist to strike, refusing to believe that the man in front of him posed a real threat. How dumb and arrogant do you have to be to pull what this guy is doing? But before Tae-hyun could land a blow, a beam of light struck him. Sola, wielding her white staff and with tears in her eyes, had intervened to distract Tae-hyun so that Kangwoo could escape. She really is an angel sent from above. However, Kangwoo was already prepared to pounce on Tae-hyun, wielding the demon Sabnak's authority of the blade. The sudden attack took Sola by surprise, as Kangwoo was already within striking distance of Tae-hyun. But Tae-hyun underestimated Kangwoo's speed and fell victim to his critical knee strike to the chest. The delinquent flew backward, stunned and in pain from the attack. And so, it begins. Taehyun recovered quickly and prepared to attack again, covering his fists with blue flames and cursing Kangwoo. But his attempt was met with a solid counterpunch to the face and a painful kick to the sides from the Demon King. Despite being bloodied and bruised, Taehyun managed to catch Kangwoo's legs and convince himself that the strikes he had received weren't that strong. First stage is always denial. It might cost you though. Kangwoo postured to fall on his back, preparing his next move with his other leg. With one leg held down by Taehyun, Kangwoo delivered a devastating kick to the delinquent's face, freeing himself and activating the authority of the blade immediately. Taehyun couldn't believe that he was being beaten by a man he didn't even know. Kangwoo brandished his blade, preparing to strike the injured delinquent. Taehyun tried to counter by firing his blue flames toward Kangwoo, realizing too late that it was just another feint. This man fell for 2 feints in a row. A devastating punch to his side finally brought Taehyun to his knees. Extinguishing his flames, Kangwoo stood menacingly over the kneeling Taehyun, staring at him with the pressure of a demon. As Taehyun knelt, wondering who in the world this man was, Kangwoo stepped on the back of his head, not allowing him to lift his head a single inch from the floor. Taehyun suddenly felt a sharp pain in his arms as blood gushed everywhere. Kangwoo had stabbed the authority of the blade into Taehyun's arms to hold him in place. The Demon King was letting out his brutality in the name of the wasted kimchi stew. Taehyun couldn't believe he was suffering so much for a simple dish. The nerve on this guy to disrespect the authority of kimchi stew. Kangwoo grabbed Taehyun by the hair, hearing the delinquent disrespect food and calling it just kimchi stew. The unbridled bloodlust of Kangwoo was starting to infect Taehyun. The delinquent quickly tried to apologize for his disrespect, but the ferocity of the Demon King was already unleashed. Kangwoo bashed Taehyun's face into the ground repeatedly until he finally stopped, leaving the delinquent an unrecognizable, sobbing mess. Kangwoo instructed Taehyun to scream that kimchi stew was a sacred existence, demanding him to scream louder and breaking down Taehyun's resistance by punching his arm wound. The delinquent eventually broke down crying and repeated the mantra repeatedly until he sounded like a believer praying to a god. He finally found the way of the kimchi stew. This absurd scene at their dining area left Sala dumbfounded. Kangwoo continued to torment Taehyun until he was an unrecognizable sobbing mess. Full of anger and dissatisfaction, Kangwoo resembled more of a demon than a human at this point. It was not until Taehyun screamed at the top of his lungs that kimchi stew was a sacred existence. Sounding like a man who had found God, that Kangwoo finally stopped and retracted his blade. He stood up in front of the broken Taehyun, warning him to never look down on kimchi stew ever again. Taehyun just lay there confused and defeated from what he had just experienced. What a brutal way to learn about the importance of respecting food. Sala and her mother's apartment was in poor condition after the scuffle, especially their dining area. Sala's mother finally got the chance to rest and recover from everything that had happened. Sala was still processing what happened earlier as she dressed her mother's injuries. Take your time, Sola. We see someone washing broken dishes disgruntledly, only for it to actually be the beaten and injured Taehyun. Kangwoo was making him deal with the aftermath of what he started. Kangwoo had even stolen Taehyun's clothes. This man just got beaten, ordered to do chores, and his drip was stolen. The perfect tragedy. The delinquent could not help but cry after experiencing everything Kangwoo had put him through. His dissatisfaction and anger were slowly rising as he washed the dishes, questioning why he was being treated like this. I would have cried too. Kangwoo quickly shut him down by startling him with the simple banging sound of a cup. Kangwoo asked if Taehyun held a grudge against him, to which the traumatized Taehyun denied. Kangwoo diligently watched Taehyun's actions. He thought about his time in hell, where he never got to sleep, eat, or live comfortably, while fighting and devouring demons for survival every day. All of these were luxuries in life that were taken away from him, but the likes of Taehyun didn't even appreciate. Eat your vegetables, guys. Kangwoo gave Taehyun advice to treat his life preciously. Taehyun replied positively, but in the back of his mind, he secretly plotted his revenge. Kangwoo called to the delinquent after finishing the dishes. He laid it out frankly that there was no merit in keeping Taehyun alive. These words terrified Taehyun, and his mind was reeling from what was going to happen next. He's done, period. Kangwoo suddenly grabbed Taehyun by his chest and gave a sinister promise that he wasn't going to kill him. As Kangwoo's eyes turned a menacing dark purple color and a disturbing smile across his face, he warned Taehyun that death would probably be better than what he was about to do. Taehyun then felt like he was disconnected from reality. Kangwoo became a phantom of a disturbingly massive purple horse with white hair and 3 menacing dark purple eyes. This was the demon Oroba's authority of fear, another authority demon phantom. Let's go. Taehyun felt as if he was being crushed by Kangwoo's phantom. He begged nonstop for him not to come close. Taehyun was eventually swallowed by the power of the demon Orobas, driving him to insanity and causing him to pee his pants as Kangwoo just stood there, etching an uncleansable mark of fear onto Taehyun's soul, turning him into his puppet. He warned the delinquent never to talk about what happened. Taehyun walked away broken and pathetic. He needs some milk. Sala was lost in her thoughts, realizing that once again, Kangwoo had saved not only her, but her mom as well, as she looked at Kangwoo fondly. Guys, is the ship sailing? As Kangwoo was browsing through his phone, he found that his current problem was money, as he had 0 balance to his name. Same bro, same. That's when he learned about magic stones. Magic stones contained the defeated monster's power. Kangwoo asked Sola if she had any magic stones, and she quickly complied, giving Kangwoo the magic stone from an E-rank goblin from the hunt. It was said that the closer a magic stone was to black, the higher its rank was. I need me some magic stones for real. Kangwoo observed and sensed the magic stone and realized that it didn't seem to have any demonic energy in it. He surmised that it held a different power than demonic energy. Thinking back to his earlier hunt, he had felt a little bit of demonic energy out there. His hypothesis that it came from the magic stone was wrong. The magic stones contained magical power, leaving Kangwoo stumped as to where the demonic energy came from. He returned the magic stone to Sola and devised a plan to sell magic stones for cash, but he needs a player ID to do that. To be a badass hunter, you must follow the law and bureaucracy. Kangwoo asked Sola for the location of the nearest player management office, prompting her to offer to accompany him since she was headed there anyway. She explained that her family situation is not good, which is why she recklessly tried going solo hunting. Fortunately, Kangwoo was there to rescue her in a pinch. After hearing this, Kangwoo thought that after looking at demons for 10,000 years, he had finally found an angel. That's why I've been saying man. Sola showed her determination to take the basic lessons and aim for her second stage awakening. As Kangwoo and Sola prepared to leave for the player management office, a thought lingered in the back of Kangwoo's mind. He didn't have the intention to help her just yet because moving with someone as weak as Sola would decrease his hunting efficiency. He admitted that it was a bit cold-hearted, but it was the reality. He must avoid losses as much as possible since regaining his power was his utmost priority. The grind will always be the priority. Kangwoo was lost in thought as he stared out the window. In this earth that he just returned to after 10,000 years, he needed to become even stronger if he wanted to survive, just like before, just like in hell. Sola called out to Kangwoo as he was musing about his next move. She reminded him that he did not have an ID yet, so their first destination was the district office. Let's get registered. We see the brand new citizen card of Kangwoo as he and Sol arrive the train on the way to the player management office. This ID is a reissue card that Kangwoo got from the district office without any fuss. The speed of the process makes it evident that no one has put Kangwoo on any missing persons list in the past 5 years. 5 years and no reports. That's rough, man. Thinking about how nobody knew he was missing makes Kangwoo feel dejected. We catch a glimpse of Kangwoo's life prior to his descent into hell. He lived alone and kept to himself, surviving on instant noodles. Just like how he survived on his own hell, living off raw monster flesh. Nobody knew what he had gone through. Please give this man a happy ending. While Kangwoo was lost in thought, Sala called out to him to look out of the train window as they were about to arrive. A view of a massive bustling metropolitan area was visible, with an eye-catching building in the center. Sala expressed her love for this view, and Kangwoo agreed, thinking about how things were going to be different this time around. Fingers crossed, buddy. After their train ride, they finally arrived at the entrance of the player management office. Kangwoo was awestruck by the size of the building, which was even bigger than ancient airport. Sala then pulled out her old phone to give to Kangwoo to use. Once again, Kangwoo was touched by Sala's kindness and generosity. It is now required to simp for the angel that is Miss Han Sola. He thanked Sala for the phone, and she went her own way to register for the beginner's lecture. Before they parted ways, Sala invited Kangwoo to dinner once they finished their affairs in the player management office. They parted ways with Kangwoo all smiles at the prospect of dinner later. Inside the player management office, Kangwoo saw the massive scale of the building, realizing how important players had become. He inserted his newly acquired ID into a machine to get his waiting line number for the test room, then followed the blue line on the floor to test room 09. Kangwoo saw players of all ages and statuses inside the test room. Kangwoo would surely demolish this test right. He overheard other players discussing the first test results of players like Bakwayan and Che Yeonju that achieved the legendary S rank in their first stage, and eventually became part of the 5 great guild masters. In Kangwoo's mind, he didn't want to stand out in the early stages. Based on Kangwoo's research, Kim Jae-hyun of Mer, Che Yeonju of Red Rose, Bak Kang-yeon of Hanul, Jung Hyunju of Sanale, and Chae Min-hyuk of Onuri are the 5 great guild masters. Each of these guilds was made by Korea's top 5 rankers. Kangwoo was certain he will eventually meet these people when he regains his strength. After all, the stronger you get, the more you stand out. I'm taking notes of those names. Reading all this information just solidified Kangwoo's desire to regain his strength quickly. Staring at his status window, he considered that maybe he could get stronger due to having the player title now. However, his thoughts were interrupted as his number was called for the test. Kangwoo was escorted to a table and seat with one of the test representatives. The representative wearing glasses instructed Kangwoo to place his hand on a white ball, which would determine Kangwoo's attribute ranking based on the color it changed to. The higher the ranking, the more saturated the color became. Show how strong you really are, Demon King. As Kangwoo reached out to touch the ball, he worried that it was not good to stand out, and it would be a hassle if he came out too strong. The test started, and the ball lit up in a blinding light. Kangwoo was ready to accept the fact that he was too strong for this test after seeing how bright the light was. Oh, Kangwoo, suffering from success. After the light subsided, the representative told Kangwoo his rank. He's an F rank. This was a heavy mental blow to the Demon King. I knew it. Kangwoo was dumbfounded by what he had just heard. He was trapped in his own thoughts as the representative explained the guide and precautions of being a player. He couldn't accept the fact that he was the lowest of the low. He's going through it. He would be issued an E rank player card and could only enter gates of the same rank unless he had a guardian. Kangwoo's mind was still reeling from the result he had just received. He imagined that Balak would probably burn down the whole building if he heard the representative's words. No one can insult the king when Balak is around. Kangwoo felt his 10,000-year trauma suddenly coming back. He asked the representative for ways to raise his rank. The representative explained that he could go the route that Sala was taking and finish the basic education course to jump straight to D rank or submit a certain volume of magic stones. Kangwoo made up his mind to use the magic stone method. He was handed his very own E rank player card and immediately refused to enroll in the basic education course, quickly getting up from his seat. Good man. Straight to the grind. The representative took this as an examinee suffering from shock after finding out how low his rank was, the perfect state to perish in a gate. As the representative felt pity for Kangwoo, the ball started to show signs of dark spotting. As she noticed the state of the ball, it turned completely pitch black and eventually cracked open. This startled the representative, as the last tester was just an F rank. Even the past S ranks had only managed to get a dark gray. She thought it would be impossible for someone to get black. I never doubted our boy for a second. Kangwoo strode through the area of the gate entrance. The whole area was crawling with players trying to form a party to take on a gate. Kangwoo once again noticed a rogue class player begging parties to let him in. What's up with rogues in this world? Minding his own business, he presented his player card to the law enforcement and promptly entered an E rank gate. He stepped out of the gate feeling fine but a tad bit terrified that he might pop out of hell again. He is now in a familiar place where he fought goblins before. As he began to stretch preparing for his monster hunt, an armor-clad man with a Herculean figure approached him. That, sir, is an absolute tank. Kangwoo even mistook the man for a bear. It seemed like the man had a hunting party. The man asked Kangwoo if he came to the gate to solo hunt and if he had already experienced his second awakening. Kangwoo answered truthfully. The man was shocked out of concern. It appeared that this iron-clad giant was just being helpful. He was a friendly guy. He even invited Kangwoo to join the party for a quick field tour. But his party members vehemently disagreed. Good guy tank players, everybody loves them. The man even offered to not take any magic stones just to help a solo player out in the field. Seeing the good nature of the giant, Kangwoo politely declined the invitation, but it didn't stop the man from introducing himself as Kang Tae-soo. Kangwoo introduced himself in reply, trying to decline politely once again. Good guy tank players, everybody loves him. Kang Tae-soo insisted on using informal language since he was only 24, leaving Kangwoo dumbstruck. Ain't no way this grown middle-aged looking man is 24. He's got to be at least 39. Kang Tae-soo even brought out his ID. Kangwoo casually declined the good-natured Tae-soo. Tae-soo did not insist further and just left Kangwoo with a word of advice about the goblins in the gate, and that there was a large and powerful goblin out there, the Hobgoblin, a boss monster on a completely different level from regular goblins. Kangwoo expressed his gratitude, and the party went their separate ways. If Kangwoo was a noob, he would have gone with them, but being alone was his comfort zone. Kangwoo rated himself the challenge of this gate as he activated the Demon Folkler's authority of speed, scouting and scouring the forest as he flew by until he finally found the base camp of the goblins. Kangwoo jumped in the middle of the camp. The Demon King is about to start his hunt. Goblin Slayer hype. Bingo. The smile on Kangwoo's face as he plunged the authority of the blade into his first goblin victim was the smile of a peerless Demon King. He immediately pivoted, and another goblin fell to his blade. He sliced a third goblin in half, thinking to himself that this was too easy. Let the goblin purge begin. The swarm of goblins saw the human running amok and became angry, activating the authority of the blade in both arms. Kangwoo's massacre had only just begun. Goblins wielding axes and blades could not get close to Kangwoo without suffering a tragic fate. Goblin heads flew all over the place, and goblin bodies were pierced from one end to the other. A rain of blood drenched Kangwoo. With a circular blade sweep, another small group of goblins met their maker. Kangwoo's crimson eyes were like those of a warlord tearing through enemy lines. The crudely made weapons of the goblin swarm were no match for a demon's authority. They were annihilated before a single contact. He's taking all the XP in the map. The goblin swarm fought and tried their hardest, but ultimately fell short. The double edge of Kangwoo's blade was a weapon of mass destruction. With every move and sweep, he took a significant portion of the base camp. Kangwoo's eyes slowly turned to resemble those of a true demon king. He had no regard for the lives of these pesky monsters. Seeing the slaughter of the few remaining goblins, the remaining ones shuddered in fear. Seeing the number of goblins still left, the blood-soaked Kangwoo prepared for another round. Imagine how strong and ferocious Kangwoo was in his prime if he's like this with his seal power. We could see Kangwoo retracting his blades and wiping his sweat. The aftermath of his rampage was bloody as can be. With this many monsters, even Kangwoo felt worn out. The system window caught his eye, indicating that he had leveled up 4 times and his demonic energy had increased by 1, wiping out this goblin base camp. He was now at level 8. The grind never stops. Kangwoo started to commence his feast. He activated his very own authority of predation, summoning numerous horrifying dark purple specters to prey on the defeated foe's flesh and blood. Kangwoo sensed the demonic energy inside the goblins, confirming that it wasn't in the magic stone. It was all over their bodies, and the intensity varied based on how long it had been since the monster had passed. This only meant that by preying on monsters that had recently died, he could regain his demonic energy little by little. Kangwoo's demonic energy increased by 2 after using his predation skill. This way, he could still sell magic stones while gaining demonic energy. Kangwoo began running around the bones of the goblins, collecting a vast number of magic stones. All the bones in the field reminded him of the taste of chicken, giving him the idea of going for chicken later with Sola. Kangwoo's mouth watered at this imagination, causing him to work double time on collecting the magic stones around him. Can I tag along for chicken, Mr. Demon King? Suddenly, he heard a loud rumbling from a distance. As he turned around, Kangwoo saw a gargantuan figure coming out of the woods, going down trees on its way. It was the boss monster that Tae-soo had warned him about, the Hobgoblin. It's a boss fight. With a menacing look like an overgrown goblin with a giant mass of muscle, it wielded a massive blade and savage-looking armor. When the hobgoblin caught sight of Kangwoo, it hastily and angrily prepared its blade as demonic energy started to gather around it. This utterly shocked Kangwoo, but the hobgoblin didn't give him time to process and ferociously charge forward. Demonic energy battle. Startled by the revelation that the beast could control mana, Kangwoo immediately activated his blade on one arm and started accumulating demonic energy on the other. When it came to destructive power, Kangwoo had the utmost confidence in himself. Show the monster how it's done, Kangwoo. The hobgoblin struck down with immense force, and Kangwoo was forced to dodge, narrowly evading the attack. The monster quickly prepared its mana-infused blade for another strike against Kangwoo. With his dual blades, Kangwoo managed to block the massive edge, but the impact sent him flying and left him vulnerable to another attack. As the next strike descended, Kangwoo attempted another block, but the weight difference between them made it challenging for him to handle the heavy blade above him. Utilizing the hobgoblin's weight, he redirected the force to the side. Kangwoo countered with his blades, but the hobgoblin effortlessly deflected the strike with its armor, leaving Kangwoo's defenses exposed. To defeat this beast, he needed to find a significant opening. Float like a feather, sting like a bee. Kangwoo skillfully dodged another fatal strike, then another, and even evaded a powerful swing kick from the hobgoblin. Despite the monster's massive size, its attacks failed to make contact with Kangwoo. Seizing the opportunity, Kangwoo created distance between himself and the monster, impressed by how effectively it chained its movements. The hobgoblin was a fitting boss, far surpassing the goblins he had dealt with earlier. Its pursuit even demolished trees in its path. Picking up a goblin's skull, Kangwoo regarded the colossal creature as nothing more than its entertaining prey. He tossed the skull, catching the attention of the enraged hobgoblin. "That's a foul right there, coach." Hatred and rage were visible on its monstrous face. With the boss in a state of fury, Kangwoo executed his plan. With a chant, a phantom figure of a beautiful woman overlapping with a monstrous form appeared. Kangwoo had activated the demon Krosol's authority of rage. New authority demon, let's go. The phantom attached itself to the hobgoblin, and its effects became apparent. The unsuspecting hobgoblin was suddenly pushed to the limits of its rage, rampaging and attacking recklessly. Kangwoo knew that the fight was over at this point, as strength of the hobgoblin's blade swings multiplied exponentially. This authority served as a buff, amplifying the user's strength several times over, but it came with a fatal drawback. The price for this buff was a curse that stripped away one's sanity and ability to think clearly. The hobgoblin's irrational and disorderly attacks made it easy for Kangwoo to weave and dodge with precision. Spotting an opening, Kangwoo ruthlessly pierced the beast's legs, causing it to keel over. Wielding the authority of blade, Kangwoo met the incoming hobgoblin attack with a strike of his own. Blood was spilled. Who do you guys think won? Blood flew all over the place as the curtain for this battle closed. The mighty hobgoblin sat lifeless on the ground. Kangwoo felt disappointed with his performance as he knew he could have easily defeated the beast had he been in his prime. A single flick of a finger would have probably been enough. Suddenly, a system notification caught Kangwoo's attention. Eliminating the boss and the entire base camp single-handedly granted him a 150% XP bonus. It turned out that the hobgoblin was a C-rank monster, leveling him up 3 times. Upon reaching level 11, Kangwoo's second stage awakening began. The attribute of his second stage awakening was revealed to be called unfulfilled hunger, enabling him to absorb even more demonic energy through predation. This revelation lifted Kangwoo's spirits, as he realized he could become much stronger at a faster pace. He decided to test his newfound ability on the hobgoblin's corpse right then and there, activating predation. An incomprehensible dark purple specter devoured the once mighty beast's flesh and blood. Kangwoo noticed that the smoke emanating from predation had become thicker because of unfulfilled hunger. His demonic energy stat increased by a staggering 3 levels, reaching a total of 19. This boost in strength greatly pleased Kangwoo. We love stats going up. Curious about the extent of his increased demonic energy, Kangwoo sent out his energy and discovered that it was now 3 times stronger than before. However, he remained cautious, as he couldn't determine the source of this sudden increase. Just then, Kangwoo felt as though he had been transported to a different and much more sinister world. The sky displayed a blood moon, and an endless sea stretched out before him. It was his 10,000 demon core. As Kangwoo suspected, the seal of his core had been weakened. Imagine being so strong that your energy has a separate world. Hypothesizing that the seal had weakened due to his second stage awakening, Kangwoo believed that he could strengthen it further by increasing his level. He stood up, prepared to leave, and picked up the magic stone left by the hobgoblin. His next goal was the third awakening at level 20. Grind, grind, grind. A few hours later, we find ourselves in a vibrant chicken restaurant bustling with customers. Kangwoo and Sala were seated at one of the tables. Kangwoo voraciously enjoyed his fried chicken, alternating between using a fork and his own plastic-covered hands. Those fried chickens look hella good. Kangwoo devoured every piece of chicken to the bone, washing it down with some cold beer. Sala was simply happy to see Kangwoo enjoy the meal. She playfully asked if the chicken was better than her kimchi stew, sparking a war in Kangwoo's mind. In the end, they both laughed, and Sola's kimchi stew emerged as the winner. To Kangwoo's surprise, Sala even offered him the last piece on her plate, which he gratefully accepted. Sala then asked if Kangwoo had any relatives or friends nearby. Kangwoo's downcast response revealed that he had no friends, family, or even a place to call home. Observing the change in Kangwoo's spirits, Saul extended an unexpected invitation for him to stay at her place for a while. This greatly surprised Kangwoo. Despite having known each other for a short time, Saul already felt that Kangwoo had helped her immensely. Kangwoo bashfully agreed to Sola's offer, politely expressing their mutual care and support for each other. Sola sensed that Kangwoo was going through a lot at the moment. Sola is best girl, period. Kangwoo took something out of his pocket and handed it to Sola, an envelope containing about 3 million won in cash. Once again, Saul was confused by Kangwoo's gesture. Kangwoo explained that she should consider the money as rent. This deeply unsettled Sola, as she felt that Kangwoo had already done so much for her. Aware of Sola's family's tough situation, Kangwoo reassured her not to feel burdened by accepting the money, as he would also be enjoying their home-cooked meals. With tears in her eyes, Sola gratefully accepted Kangwoo's help. She promised that her kimchi stew would taste even better from now on. All Kangwoo could think about was eating kimchi stew every day, and Sola had become his guardian angel of kimchi stew. Kangwoo better protect her from any danger. Curious about nearby D-rank gates, Kangwoo asked Sola if there were any. Sola answered by telling him about the lizardman gates in the area. As he continued to savor his fried chicken, he pondered whether lizards would be tasty as well. Oh no, don't eat the lizardman, Kangwoo. You graduated from eating monsters, right? We jumped to Sola's home. She showed Kangwoo his room, which her brother used to use. Kangwoo sat on the cozy bed as Sola wished him a good night, turning off the lights on her way out. Kangwoo collapsed onto the comfortable bed, reflecting on how long it had been since he had slept on something soft. The tranquility and comfort as he drifted into sleep reassured him that returning was the right decision. Being put to bed by Sola, you definitely made the right decision, bro. In the midst of the day, the bustling area around the gates remained as lively as ever. Kangwoo could be seen walking around, observing the players trying their luck at the gates. He even spotted the same rogue begging parties to let him in, as usual. Get this man a party. Kangwoo presented his new ID as a D-rank player, minding his own business, and once again entered a gate. This particular D-rank gate resembled a damp forest with swamps. After performing some stretches, we saw Kangwoo activate the authority of silence and swiftly move through the depths of the forest. He prepared his power in advance after Sola had told him that lizardmen compensated for their poor eyesight with their sensitivity to sound. I might need to borrow that authority for a minute, man. Kangwoo quickly and silently approached a small group of oblivious lizardmen. Fixing his gaze on his prey, he also recalled Sola's advice that these monsters were weak against fire. Without slowing down, a phantom of a fiery owl manifested behind Kangwoo. This was the demon Andrew's authority of hellfire. That fire owl phantom looks badass. He immediately engulfed 2 of the lizardmen in scorching flames. The monsters writhed in pain from Kangwoo's hellfire. The lizardmen fled towards the nearest water source, but luck was not on their side since hellfire could only be extinguished using mana or demonic energy, or else it would burn for eternity. Kangwoo swiftly dispatched the small group. The fire didn't just burn their bodies, but their very life essence, leaving behind corpses to be devoured by Kangwoo's predation. After using the demon Andrew's authority of hellfire to deal with the lizardmen, he remembered that Han Taeyen's guild name was also Andras. But Kangwoo simply shrugged it off. There might be a connection here. We witnessed Kangwoo using his predation to consume the lizardmen until nothing remained. Another group of lizardmen witnessed this and immediately prepared to confront Kangwoo. They charged at him with rage in their eyes, only to be reduced to charred remains like the previous group. Once again, this group of lizards became food for Kangwoo's predation. He activated the authority of silence to mask the screams of the burning lizardmen, ensuring they wouldn't attract more attention. That is brutal Kang-Woo. Sometimes I forget that you were a Demon King. After dealing with these two groups, Kang-Woo's level only increased once. It became evident that leveling up was becoming slower. As Kang-Woo devised a plan to hunt more herds, someone called out to him. The voice pointed out that he looked like a complete newbie based on his equipment. They proceeded to invite Kang-Woo to join their guild. It was revealed to be a party of 5 players. Kang-Woo asked for the name of their guild. The man in the middle, wearing a necklace with an insignia, proudly answered that they were the Andres Guild. Kang-Woo simply stared at them disinterestedly and walked away. As soon as Kang-Woo walked away, the group immediately began badmouthing him behind his back. Their fragile egos bruised, with sinister looks on their faces. They plan to teach Kang-Woo a lesson and use him as a means of stress relief. We'll see who will teach you a lesson. Deep in the D-rank swamp gate, obscured by dense trees, hellfire blazes, burning groups of lizardmen brightly. Some are still being scorched, while others are consumed by the specters of Kang-Woo's authority of predation. Fried lizard for lunch, anyone? Believing he had consumed every lizardman in the area, Kang-Woo contemplates playing it safe or taking risks to level up more quickly. However, he's interrupted by the Andres Guild members he encountered earlier, posing as Kang-Woo's seniors. Fried Guild members sounds good right now. One look and Kang-Woo knows that the party leader likes to prey on the weak. He dismisses the party's call, stating that he's hunting just fine. But the party leader doesn't believe him, seeing no corpses and Kang-Woo in pristine condition. Kang-Woo explains that he's resting now, but the party leader calls him out on his disrespectful attitude. Tired of being annoyed by the group, Kang-Woo curses the guy out. The authority of trash talk is strong. The party leader is further provoked by Kang-Woo, who asks if he wants to fight it out right then and there. Another member tries to confront Kang-Woo, but the leader stops him, claiming he will teach Kang-Woo a lesson. The leader insults Kang-Woo, thinking he should only be a B rank at most. Kang-Woo finds this development amusing. The leader draws his blade and bangs it against his armguard. The members look down at Kang-Woo with contempt, reminding him that lizardmen are attracted to loud sounds. Amused by their plan, Kang-Woo chuckles. He finds the leader's sword banging to lure lizardmen. Cute. He's like a little drummer boy. As the swamp began to rumble with the approaching horde of lizardmen, the Andres Guild leader ordered his party to prepare their magic barriers. He arrogantly taunted Kang-Woo, asking what he would do when the dozen or so lizardmen arrived. He even offered to help Kang-Woo if he kneeled before the beasts arrived. Kang-Woo laughed in response and asked the party if that was all they had in mind. As the leader became confused by Kang-Woo's response, Kang-Woo prepared his hands. Suddenly, Kang-Woo's eyes transformed into a demonic appearance, and he clapped his hands with overwhelming force. He warned the party that if they're doing something, they should go all the way. He activated the authority of deafening roar to clap so loudly that it echoed throughout the entire D-rank gate area. We love Kang-Woo's pettiness. The party was left dumbfounded by this sight. Kang-Woo then proceeded to stomp on the floor with such force that it caused the ground to shake and the trees to sway. The leader called out to Kang-Woo to stop, calling him a psychopath. When Kang-Woo finally stopped, he looked at the party with a mischievous expression. The leader continued to berate him while the members huddled together in their small barrier, unnerved by the sudden onslaught of sound. Rest in peace, you won't be missed. Nearby, a swarm of lizardmen started to creep closer and closer, coming from the water, trees, and every nest. The lizards began to follow Kang-Woo's deafening noise. The party was terrified at the sight of the countless lizardmen surrounding them, relentlessly attacking their small magic barrier. They had never seen so many monsters before and were quickly losing hope. The leader cursed Kang-Woo for being so reckless with his use of sound, but Kang-Woo just laughed and jumped onto a nearby tree branch, taunting the leader that he too knew how sensitive lizardmen were to sound. These guys really picked the wrong newbie to mess with. The swarm of lizardmen began their assault, attacking the magic barrier relentlessly to get to the humans inside. The leader told Kang-Woo that they would all die because of his actions, but Kang-Woo responded that he wasn't going to die there, only the Andres Guild party. With that, Kang-Woo activated his authority of silence, and the lizardmen rushing from all directions just passed by him, as if he didn't exist. The leader was left stunned and terrified, witnessing someone with the ability to control sound in such a way. Does this mean he can fart loudly or silently, depending on his will? With a savage strike, the small magic barrier shattered, leaving the Andres Guild party vulnerable to the swarm of lizardmen. The party leader was about to call for another barrier when he turned around and saw their mage brutally impaled by a lizardman's blade. The mage pleaded for help as the lizardman opened its jaw to make her its lunch. That's one down. As another member of the party was devoured by a lizardman, the leader fell in horror, trying to muffle his cries to avoid attracting attention. Suddenly, he noticed Kang-Woo watching the scene unfold. He immediately asked for Kang-Woo's help, apologizing for doing the Demon King wrong. But Kang-Woo simply replied with a cute wish of good luck. He's the king of taunting. The leader's rage boiled over as he screamed curses at Kang-Woo, blaming him for luring the lizardmen to the area. The sound of his screams attracted the lizardmen, who proceeded to feast on the Andres Guild party leader. Bro, you literally started your own downfall. Kang-Woo watched apathetically as he contemplated his principles, fight evil with larger evil, and murderous intent with even greater murderous intent. In philosopher Kang-Woo we trust. Soon, he unleashed hellfire, scorching groups of lizardmen into oblivion. After extinguishing the hellfire, Kang-Woo activated his predation skill, increasing his demonic energy by 1 point. He learned that the Gaia system protected players, but he didn't care about consuming their special abilities. All that mattered was his demonic energy, which had now reached 30. Kang-Woo was thrilled with the significant boost in power from his authority of hellfire. Summoning the demon Andres Phantom had resulted in a larger and brighter blaze, and even the quality of his demonic energy had improved. All he needed now was to level up. Bigger fires, bigger desires. Picking up a mana stone, Kang-Woo became excited for his third awakening. He had been hunting relentlessly for the past few days, and he knew the third awakening could be far off. He left the remains of the Andres Guild party that had tried to cross him and walked away. 3 days later, in Saul's apartment, Kang-Woo was shoving a pot of kimchi stew like it was a drink. Once again, he didn't leave a single drop of his favorite dish, praising Saul for her remarkable cooking skills. The food in these panels is making me hungry. When Saul asked if he was going to hunt again that day, Kang-Woo confirmed that he was. Sola expressed her concern that he had been pushing himself too hard and hadn't taken a break in the last few days. Our angel was so thoughtful. As she poured lemon tea for Kang-Woo, he asked when she would finish the basic education course. She replied that she would finish soon, and that they were going for a goblin hunt the next day. Sola expressed her wish to achieve her second awakening soon, but Kang-Woo reassured her that she would get there soon enough. Sola graciously offers Kang-Woo tea before he heads out again, and he can't help but see her as an angel taking care of him. Even our MC agrees that she's an actual angel. During their conversation, Sola mentions the rumors of chaos players lurking around the gates. While it might just be hearsay, she reminds Kang-Woo to be cautious nonetheless. As Kang-Woo hunts in the Lizardman Gate, he reflects on the rumors of chaos players. Could it be because of what he did to the Andres Guild party? But the absence of any witnesses and the bodies looking like they were eliminated by savage lizardmen suggests otherwise. Kang-Woo can't be too sure if he's the one being rumored about, but he knows he must prepare for anything and focus on leveling up quickly. Just as he devours the last of the lizardmen, Kang-Woo reaches level 20 and unlocks his third awakening. This time, the surge of power is even more incredible than before. Testing out his newfound strength, he summons the authority of hellfire, and a massive blaze burns brighter than ever. With each awakening, the seal on his 10,000 demon core weakens, allowing more demonic energy to leak through. The Demon King in his prime must be a menace to society if he's already this strong. As he looks at a magic stone, Kang-Woo feeds it to his predation specter, and to his surprise, the magic stone melts seamlessly into his ability. Kang-Woo stared intently at the description of his third awakening special ability, Mana Craving. It was a powerful skill that allowed him to convert mana from magic stones into demonic energy. With a single magic stone, he fed his specter, and the increase in demonic energy was apparent. It was surprising to see that it gave the same amount of demonic energy as a monster. This meant that he could easily double his progress, although he would have to give up earning money from mana stones. This man keeps on getting booster packs. Fortunately, Kang-Woo had already earned a lot of money over the past few days, so he didn't need to hold back on consuming mana stones for the time being. He wanted to test out his abilities even more, so he tied his jacket around his waist and prepared to run wild. The muscle gains, though, he's built different. With a burst of force, Kang-Woo jumped higher than the trees in the damp forest. He deactivated his predation and activated the authority of sky, which took the shape of 6 threatening purple wings, giving him the ability to fly. As he scouted and scoured the forest, Kang Wu regretted not having enough demonic energy to use the authority of observation, which would have allowed him to see through the dense foliage. This is like Tokyo Ghoul, but he can fly. Suddenly, he heard an agitated voice in the distance. The voice sounded familiar to him, and as he approached, he saw Kang Tae-Soo, the good guy tank player he had encountered at the Goblin Gate. Tae-Soo was gritting his bloody teeth as he confronted two men hurling insults at him. Kang Wu sneaked around in the background to get a feel of what was going on. He knew that this was not a good situation. He saw the rogue guy who had been constantly looking for a party outside the gates sprawled on the ground, unconscious and injured. If they bother our boy Tae-Soo, it's on sight, for real. Tae-Soo confronted the two attackers, furious that they had harmed members of their own party, but the sinister duo just laughed off his anger. Kang Wu saw that Tae-Soo had been betrayed by these men and suspected they were the infamous Chaos players from the rumors. Suddenly, one of the Chaos players charged towards Tae-Soo with a maniacal look in his eyes, but Tae-Soo, using his massive shield, was able to block the attack, sending himself flying with the raw force of the strike. The Chaos players were surprised at how resilient Tae-Soo was for a second stage awakener. Our MC is not the only person built different in this forest. Tae-Soo proudly stood with his shield, determined to never go down without a fight. His shield began to glow with a magical light, and he strengthened his defense even further. But the Chaos players knew that without undergoing a third awakening, Tae-Soo was no match for them. As the Chaos players prepared to finish the fight, Kang Wu was torn between curiosity and concern. He remembered his encounter with the good-hearted Tae-Soo and wondered if he should intervene. That's a potential gym buddy for life, dude. As the Chaos player prepared his next attack, Kang Wu emerged from hiding, surprising the axe-wielding attacker. But Kang Wu was even more shocked to see that these attackers were using demonic energy. The Chaos players taunted Kang Wu, warning him that he wouldn't make it out of there in one piece now that he had seen their faces. But Tae-Soo recognized Kang Wu and called out to him with respect. It's Operation Saving Tae-Soo. The Chaos players, meanwhile, continued to talk amongst themselves, planning to dispatch Kang Wu. They reminded each other that they had already fulfilled their quota with Tae-Soo and the rogue. The axe-wielding Chaos player laughed as he prepared to brandish his demonic energy-coated weapon, relishing the chance to kill for the first time in a long while. But Tae-Soo hurriedly shouted at Kang Wu to get back as the savage wielded two axes filled with demonic energy and charged towards him. But Kang Wu stood his ground, responding with a loud slap across the face before the savage could even touch him. He's the definition of mess around and find out. The Chaos players were confused and afraid, asking each other what was going on as the savage was knocked out cold on the ground. He didn't even know what hit him. Tae-Soo couldn't believe what he was seeing as Kang Wu repeatedly slapped the guy on the ground. The other Chaos player charged at Kang Wu with his sword covered in demonic energy, but Kang Wu remained indifferent. With a single palm strike, Kang Wu activated the authority of Destructive Void, and the guy was left writhing in pain as he flew and crashed into a tree, unconscious and with his internal organs in shambles. Kang Wu just introduced that guy to his new internal decorator, Chaos and Destruction. The savage watched in horror as Kang Wu pulled him up by his red hair and coldly demanded to know where they had obtained the demonic energy. Before the savage could respond with curses, Kang Wu forcefully bashed his face into the dirt of the swampy forest. The Demon King got a real hands-on approach to interrogations, doesn't he? Kang Wu remained cold and determined as he asserted that he would be the only one asking questions. He asked the defeated savage once more where they obtained their demonic energy, but the man simply responded that he couldn't say. Hearing this response, Kang Wu's own demonic energy began to surface. The phantom of a three-eyed malefic demon horse appeared before the man as Kang Wu activated the authority of fear. He's really horsing around with that guy's fears. The man was enveloped in horrors he had never experienced before. Under the grip of Kang Wu's power, he screamed in terror while Kang Wu stood before him in a threatening stance. The man started to mutter the word Guildmaster repeatedly, and the other Chaos player, who had been injured, urged his companion to stop. Seeing the other man get up, Kang Wu began to gather a terrifying force of demonic energy once again in the palm of his hands. He hurled the attack towards the man, ordering him to stay out of this. That's what happens when you lack manners. Kang Wu continued to press the savage for answers regarding the so-called Guildmaster. To his surprise, the savage confessed that they belonged to the Andros Guild. He explained that the Guildmaster had bestowed this power upon them through a ceremony known as the Ritual. Kang Wu persisted in his questioning, but the man hesitated to answer. Observing that the man had not yet fully recovered his senses, Kang Wu once again activated the authority of fear, invoking an indelible mark of fear upon the man's soul. As the man began to divulge details about the ritual, his body convulsed and trembled, with veins bulging out all over. He was barely able to finish speaking before he started foaming at the mouth and losing his sanity, ultimately spewing a copious amount of blood. Kang Wu found this development frustrating, as it appeared that a device had been implanted in the man to eliminate him if he revealed any information about the ritual. We just stumbled upon the ultimate anti-snitch device. A few moments later, Tae-Soo cautiously approached Kang Wu and asked if he was the same Kang Wu he knew. At that moment, the rogue regained consciousness. Tae-Soo introduced Kang Wu to the rescued rogue, Tae-Yun, as their savior. Tae-Soo questioned why Kang Wu had been in an E-rank gate not long ago if he possessed such formidable strength, but Kang Wu merely shrugged. Tae-Soo concluded that Kang Wu must not have been a novice in the first place. He expressed his sincere gratitude to Kang Wu for saving them from the Chaos players, and even Tae-Yun offered his thanks in a meek voice. Tae-Soo had returned to his cheerful and boisterous self, showering Kang Wu with compliments about his immense strength and pledging to repay his debt. Kang Wu was unaccustomed to Tae-Soo's upbeat demeanor. Kang Wu's strength is causing a Tae-Tsunami of compliments. Changing the subject, Tae-Soo remarked that he already knew the Andros Guild had a poor reputation, but he found it unbelievable that they would stoop so low as to collaborate with Chaos players. He pulled out his phone, determined to report the incident to the Hwarang squad. Kang Wu, who was oblivious to this organization, inquired about its nature. Tae-Soo explained that the Hwarang squad was a player squad that operated under the direct jurisdiction of the government. If they reported the Andros Guild's activities, the squad would commence an investigation. However, Kang Wu urged Tae-Soo not to report what had happened, stating that he would personally take care of the Andros Guild. This surprised both Tae-Soo and Tae-Yun. Kang Wu was a one-man army after all. Kang Wu confidently declared that he would handle the Andros Guild alone, and Tae-Soo was taken aback. He respectfully acknowledged Kang Wu's decision, and suddenly kneeled before him, catching Kang Wu off guard. Tae-Soo made a solemn vow, stating that he owed his life to Kang Wu, and that he would support Kang Wu's cause. Together, they would wield the mace of justice against the villains of the Andros Guild. Tae-Soo's words echoed the chivalric spirit of the Murim world, and he claimed to have fallen for Kang Wu's passionate sense of duty. As Kang Wu looked on awkwardly, not knowing how to respond, all he could think of was how much Tae-Soo resembled his loyal subordinate, Balak. Who else thinks that the two might be twins? The rogue, Tae-Yun, chimed in and expressed his gratitude towards Kang Wu, sincerely promising that he too would repay his savior one way or another, even though he was the RSA. Kang Wu was unfamiliar with this term. Tae-Yun explained that it means rogues should shut up and apply bandages, as bandits are known to be bad at dealing damage or tanking. It's a term coined because people like Tae-Yun aren't normally welcome in parties. How unlucky do you have to be to awaken as a rogue? Tae-Soo suggested building a team right now with the goal of repaying Kang Wu. The emotional Tae-Yun was frustrated that he couldn't do anything against the Chaos players. He feared that he would just hinder Kang Wu and the team. He declared with dignity that he wants to become strong enough to assist Kang Wu. Tae-Yun's about to go on his very own training arc. Kang Wu was dumbfounded at the quick development of the simple interaction with Tae-Soo and Tae-Yun. The rogue promptly bid his farewell to the two. Kang Wu convinced himself that it would be good to have people indebted to him, but the problem is that he didn't know what to do with the enthusiastic Tae-Soo. He asked the ironclad tank what level he was, and it turned out that he was only level 12, just reaching his second awakening not long ago. His first awakening ability was C rank, so he had an easy time leveling by hunting. Also, his second awakening was classified as A rank. Kang Wu was pleased with the potential of this giant. That's a Giga Chat tank in the making right there. When asked about guilds, Tae-Soo just replied that he was considering joining one, but he no longer needs to join one now. He clenched his fists and proudly declared that he made up his mind to follow Kang Wu, his image reminiscent of the demon Balak. Kang Wu will probably create the best guild by accident. Kang Wu saw the potential in Tae-Soo, as a player who receives a high rank for their second awakening is said to have a higher likelihood of receiving even better abilities in future awakenings. He thought about Sola, who was supposed to have her second awakening soon as well. Kang Wu agreed to take the tank in from now on, causing Tae-Soo to joyfully celebrate, thanking his newfound brother, Kang Wu. They exchanged contact information so that Tae-Soo could come to Kang Wu's aid anytime. Kang Wu asked for a favor from the Herculean man, which Tae-Soo enthusiastically agreed to without hesitation. Kang Wu planned to have Tae-Soo and Sola form a party to hunt and become stronger together. Tae-Soo was happy to oblige, especially after learning that Sola is a healer class. With their affairs settled, Tae-Soo asked Kang Wu if he was ready to head to the Andros now. Kang Wu contemplated his next move. Let him cook. The remaining Chaos player lay unconscious and injured in the forest bushes. Kang Wu woke him up with a chokehold against a tree and began to interrogate him. He warned the man not to lie and began his questioning. The man's name was Kang Chilho. Kang Wu asked Chilho what they meant by capturing players alive and bringing them back. Chilho replied that he didn't remember, and Kang Wu responded with a swift and sharp kick to the face, sending the man to the ground in pain. Looks like Chilho's memory needs a little kickstart. Kang Wu grabbed Chilho by his hair and repeated the He fearfully confessed that they captured players to offer them as sacrifices. Chilho couldn't predict Kang Wu's next move. Kang Wu threw Chilho away like trash, frustrated with the number of lunatics he had encountered. He even recalled the delinquent Han Taehyun saying the same thing a few days ago. Birds of the same crappy feather flocked together. With a devious smile, Kang Wu grabbed the bloody Chilho. Resembling a demon more than a human, Kang Wu menacingly asked the trembling man for a favor. In the depths of the night, a man can be seen pulling some luggage in the seedy part of the city. The neon signs of establishments are his only source of light. It's Kang Chilho. He is stopped by another man who shines a flashlight on his face. The white-haired man confirms Kang Chilho's identity and asks what took him so long. Upon seeing Chilho's battered and bruised face, he expresses incredulity that he sustained such injuries from a simple D-rank gait. He also asks about the savage man named Taeho, to which Chilho hurriedly informs him that Taeho is dead. As they say, snitches get stitches. The skeptical white-haired man continues to question Chilho incessantly. Chilho answers that there was a high-level player among the sacrifices, and that's why Taeho was eliminated, and he barely escaped. He opens the luggage revealing the bloody dark-haired sacrifice. That sacrifice looks like it's seen better days. The white-haired man confirms the condition of the sacrifice, but he's still skeptical about Chilho. He reassures Chilho that it's better to have fewer people, and since Chilho brought the sacrifice, he will get baptized, obtaining all the demonic energy for himself. Chilho looks distressed as the man accuses him of killing his companion to monopolize the demonic energy. Chilho leaves the sacrifice and runs away from the man in the luggage as fast as possible. The fear in Chilho's face is evident as he dashes as far away as possible. The white-haired man brings the sacrifice inside a suspicious building. Inside the suspicious establishment lies a large hall adorned with the insignia of the Anders Guild. An altar is located at its center, and multiple figures donning robes stand around. This is the headquarters of the Anders Guild. I'm not an expert on cults, but that's definitely a cult. The guild leader reprimanded the man for being late, but the subordinate tried to explain. However, the masked guild leader only cared about the sacrifice and beckoned his underling to bring it forth. The luggage was opened, and robed figures chanted praises for the great Andres as the sacrifice. Kang Wu was carried towards the altar. MC is about to win Oscars with how good he's acting in this. The guild leader mused to himself that it had been a year since his conversion, and his followers were steadily increasing in number. He's been enticing players, preying on their thirst for power through demonic energy. Removing his mask, the guild leader revealed an unhinged expression as the ceremony commenced. He ordered for the magic stones to be prepared, and the followers hurriedly complied. A treasure box filled with countless magic stones was seen being prepared at the altar. Free magic stones? Don't mind if I do. That's probably what our boy is thinking. The leader continued to revel in his plan to become more demonized and eventually become a complete demon. He asked the servants who would be baptized that day, but Chilho, who was supposed to be baptized, had already fled and refused to partake in the ceremony. As the followers became confused about who would be baptized, the guild leader banned his staff and demanded silence. He lectured that those who do not work do not deserve to be baptized. He continued, stating that they would not be present at the ceremony to become stronger if it were not for him. Therefore, this ownerless sacrifice would belong to him. And with that, the ceremony would begin. This man is not only crazy, he's also a bad boss. Give some for the people, man. The guild leader crushed a magic stone in front of the altar, releasing its magic throughout the room. He's pleased with the number of magic stones his guild had amassed, allowing him to hold more and more ceremonies to grow stronger than ever before. A sinister crack in the fabric of reality appeared above the altar, and demonic energy poured out. The deranged leader was ecstatic at the sight of the magnificent demonic energy surging. He wished he could immediately absorb it into his body, but demonic energy was too dangerous for humans to take in. Only death would follow without a medium to absorb it. However, if he let the sacrifice absorb demonic energy until they could no longer, he could drink the power through the blood of their corpse and effectively absorb refined demonic energy. So they're basically glorified mosquitoes. He masterfully directed the cascading demonic energy towards the body of Kang Wu, letting it engulf the ceremony's sacrifice. He continued to direct the demonic energy towards Kang Wu, impressed with how much the sacrifice was absorbing. He became overjoyed at this discovery since the longer the sacrifice lasted, the more demonic energy he could obtain. Free demonic energy, what a great deal. He frenziedly reveled at this sacrifice, absorbing 5 times more than a normal human, then 10 times 15, and celebrated what an incredible sacrifice this human was. He could not wait to know how much demonic energy he would obtain after absorbing it from Kang Wu. He manically laughed at the prospect of his sacrifice, pathetically screaming as he injected him with demonic energy. The amount of energy absorbed by Kang Wu was astounding. 17 times more than a normal human, 20 times, 30 times, 40, 50. However, as the demonic energy continued to swirl around the altar, the terrifying hue, it did not show any signs of stopping, and the guild leader began to suspect that something was wrong. If only my bank account could absorb money as well as Kang Wu absorbs demonic energy. The guild leader panicked, slowly realizing what was happening. He repeatedly screamed for the ceremony to stop, to no avail. Even the followers were starting to sense that something was wrong. The manic guild leader looked like he was going insane as he screamed at the top of his lungs to stop the ritual, and that's when the rift above the altar dissipated. The guild leader kneeled in defeat at what had just happened. He could not believe what had transpired. That's when Kang Wu started to get up from lying down on the altar. It turned out that the boost from the sacrificial ceremony had allowed him to level up 20 stats. The leader looked incredulously at the supposed sacrifice slowly standing up from the altar. Kang Wu mocked the leader by saying that they should do the ceremony thing one more time. The playful Kang Wu infuriated the guild leader. Imagine robbing a whole demonic guild while pretending to sleep. The leader trembled in anger, denying what had just happened. The followers could see how insane their leader looked. He charged at Kang Wu while spouting curses and gathering demonic energy in his staff. He cast his spell, which resembled Kang Wu's hellfire, and the amused Kang Wu simply dodged to the side. The hellfire spell landed and exploded on the ground as Kang Wu praised it as not bad. That's not hellfire. That's cute fire. The enraged leader cast even more small hellfire balls around him, intending to burn Kang Wu alive. 5 hellfire balls locked onto Kang Wu and promptly converged to wipe him out. With a massive explosion, Kang Wu's figure was engulfed by the brightness of hellfire. Contrary to what the guild leader expected, his small hellfire balls were deflected all over the place. He couldn't believe what had just happened to his spell as he looked at his supposed sacrifice, sensing pure demonic energy. Kang Wu emerged clad in a sinister, imposing half-armor fitting for a demon king. He had activated the authority of Iron Wall. Kang Wu smiled cunningly as it had certainly gotten more convenient for him to pull this off with more demonic energy. New armors looking sick as hell, literal hell. The frustrated leader hurriedly ordered his followers to start attacking the armored Kang Wu. The mob of rogue Andres guild members charged towards their target, brandishing different weapons and shouting their war cries. Kang Wu stood steadily as demonic energy swirled around him. When one member wielding a sword got inside his striking distance, he activated the authority of Blade and took the first blood by cutting off the member's hand that was holding the sword. That's one way to disarm your opponent, literally. Kang Wu followed it up with a forceful kick in the stomach, sending the amputated member towards his guildmates. The relentless Kang Wu didn't stop and charged towards the mass of robed figures. He raised his blade and promptly stabbed another member in the shoulder. That's when the guild leader beckoned his underlings to get out of the way, catching Kang Wu's attention. This guild leader really thinks he's him. The members made space with utmost confidence for their master, Cho Dukyun. Dukyun confidently laughed as he urged everyone to watch his next move. He maniacally chanted his spell, which consisted of flames that could incinerate all life forms. The authority of hellfire. Kang Wu looked at the proud Dukyun intently and couldn't help but laugh at the pathetic, try-hard guy. Dukyun continued his villainous tirade while looking insane, confident that the man in front of him could not surpass his power. That's when Kang Wu activated the real authority of hellfire. A massive and fierce hue of hellfire blazed in the hall, towering over everyone. It dwarfed the tiny hellfire that Dukyun had managed to conjure with all his power, and Kangwoo did this effortlessly. Dukyun looked on in shock. This wasn't how he had imagined the scenario would go. He stood there, terrified of the gargantuan mass of hellfire that Kangwoo had conjured out of thin air while holding his own paltry fireball. His brain could not process that this was really happening. I personally think that it's not just the size of the hellfire, it's how you use it. He looked into the face of the devil and knew that he could not beat something like that. With that in mind, he decided to extinguish his spell. The Ender's guild leader, Dukyun, kneeled in front of the massive hellfire-wielding Kangwoo. When Kangwoo asked what he was doing, he screamed at the top of his lungs, praising Kangwoo as the incarnation of the great Andress. This dude did a 360 so smoothly. Kangwoo could not believe what this guy was saying. Dukyun continued, saying that they had been waiting for Kangwoo's descent, calling him the king, god, and the Messiah himself, the tyrant who should rightfully rule the world. He scolded his followers to get on their knees and bow their heads to Kangwoo. Kangwoo caught on to what the leader was doing and praised him for his quick reaction. Dukyun continued to sing his praises to the highest degree, even to the point of trembling while on his knees. Haters turn around when they see how big your hellfire is. That's just life. Kangwoo considered that at least this guy wasn't completely worthless, as he understood his place and was groveling before him. Kangwoo extinguished his hellfire and decided to play along. He activated the authority of Sky, and the 6 sinister wings appeared behind him. Kangwoo did his best evil laugh as he rode along with what Dukyun had set up. Kangwoo psychotically introduced himself as the great Andress, the king of hellfire, and the king of all demons. This man is the most versatile actor in the world. Dukyun grumbled like he'd never grumbled before. He vehemently worshipped the name of the man in front of him. With a knowing smile, Kangwoo ordered Dukyun to dismiss all his subordinates, as he would love to have a discussion with him. One-on-one, man-to-man conversation, nothing more. Kangwoo began his discussion with the guild leader by allowing him to introduce himself as Cho Dukyun. Kangwoo sat at the altar holding the magic staff while Dukyun knelt in front of him. As Dukyun was about to praise Kangwoo once again, he ordered him to drop the act. Both of them knew that he was not Andress. Dukyun felt awkward, but quickly dropped the act and asked Kangwoo who he really was. This duo should consider a career shift into showbiz with how good they act. Kangwoo responded by grabbing him by his cloak and forbidding him to ask any questions. The look of disdain and contempt in Kangwoo's eyes frightened Dukyun. Kangwoo asked Dukyun how this ceremony was possible and how he learned to create a crack with magic stones. The mighty Dukyun shivered in fear as he confessed that he learned how to make cracks after being preached to. One day, a man wearing a demon mask approached him and said that eternal life could be achieved by following the demonic religion. This is why our parents warns us to never talk to strangers. Kangwoo threw him on the floor, calling him crazy for accepting the deal without knowing what he was getting into. Dukyun revealed that he had no choice, as the masked man was too powerful. He remembered how the mysterious figure had overpowered his entire guild in an instant and commanded them to follow orders or die. He continued that they had to accept the preaching and follow orders. Kangwoo pressed the mumbling Dukyun about the masked man. Dukyun hurriedly denied knowing anything more about him, as he had not seen him since that day, and they received orders by mail. Seems like demons haven't discovered the internet or texting yet. Kangwoo poked the guild leader with his own staff as he mocked him for following orders so blindly. Kangwoo concluded that they might have been forced to do so in the beginning, but under the sweet temptation of power from demonic energy, this man started to initiate ceremonies of his own. Kangwoo contemplated hard about the identity of this masked man. This demonic religion seemed to be just another unremarkable cult, but these scoundrels knew how to get to hell. This was something he could not overlook. Haughty Kangwoo ordered Dukyun to retrieve the letters containing their orders. The guild leader handed him a single letter, and Dukyun's phobia of the man in front of him was growing by the second. It turned out that the orders were straightforward: accept the demonic energy and become a demon, and recruit as many players as possible. So basically, it's a demonic pyramid scheme. Kangwoo continued to ask if Dukyun was the only one who was preached to, but the guild leader was not too sure. Kangwoo got up, concluding that this wasn't an isolated incident. Unless they were fools, they wouldn't have pinned this mission on Dukyun alone. This was a plan to increase their forces. Lifting the leader by his collar, Kangwoo's rage was building as he learned about these villains who dared to turn Earth into hell. Kangwoo resembled a seething demonic creature as he once again summoned the phantom of the authority of fear. He told Dukyun that he was going to list down 3 things to remember. The first thing was an order to investigate this demonic religion. The second was to never perform any of these ceremonies again. And third, Dukyun must keep everything that happened between him and Kangwoo a secret. 3 simple rules: no demonizing, no evangelizing, and no compromising. The once mighty leader was sobbing and gagging in fear as he complied with Kangwoo's demands. Kangwoo let Dukyun go, running away from him. He reckoned that even if he were to stop these activities from occurring again, the damage made by the Andress Guild was already done. They had already sacrificed too many people. He contemplated that since the government forces had been paying attention to this, they might catch him conducting his investigation into the demonic religion, but it was worth looking into it. Kangwoo felt confident in the authority of fear, so there was no chance of information leaking. He planned to discard this guild when they had served their purpose. With a sigh of exhaustion, Kangwoo realized that it had been a rough day. Now, it was time to get some healing. A few moments later, Kangwoo beamed with a bright smile as he greeted Sola upon arriving home. She had been worried sick as Kangwoo had not contacted her for a long time, so she rushed towards him in exasperation. All of us need a Sola in our lives. Kangwoo looked at his phone, filled with missed calls from the beautiful lady. He sincerely apologized for worrying her, and Sola let out a sigh of relief to see Kangwoo safe and sound. Thanking Sola for her concern, Kangwoo promised to contact her next time. She blushed at this adorable interaction. The ship is sailing. Now that Kangwoo was home, it was time for dinner, and his favorite dish, kimchi stew, would be served. Sola already knew Kangwoo's cravings, so she prepared the dish with high-quality meat. The Demon King thanked the angel from the bottom of his heart for making him delicious dinners every night. Kangwoo was out here living the life. As Sola put on her apron, she mentioned that she had finally achieved her second awakening. She confidently boasted to Kangwoo that she had achieved a B rank and gained the special ability called Blessing of Light. Kangwoo thought that at this rate, they were going to make an amazing party with the addition of Taesu, a high-rank healer and tanker. If these two worked together, they would have the strength beyond other parties. The Demon King party is shaping up nicely. It turned out that Sola was being invited to join multiple guilds. Kangwoo asked her which one she would join, but she revealed that she did not want to join a guild. Instead, she wanted to be of help to her savior, Kangwoo. He thought that this woman might really be an angel from above. We agree, Kangwoo. We agree. However, Kangwoo told Sola that, even though she had awakened to a high-ranking ability, he did not think it would be a good idea for her to join him. Sola was taken aback by this. She looked down sadly as Kangwoo told her that her current abilities would not be of great help to him now. Seeing Sola's reaction, he mused that maybe later, but not yet. Our MC is too addicted to the grind to see what's in front of him. He's too strong, much stronger than those at his level. If he formed a party now, he wouldn't gain enough experience or engage in serious battles. To train properly, he needs to form a party with high compatibility. That's why Kangwoo suggested introducing her to the A-rank tanker, Taesu. Kangwoo proposed that Sola should team up with Taesu and hunt, gaining more battle experience with a skilled tanker. Sola agreed, albeit with a hint of sadness. But Kangwoo promised that once she gained enough experience, they could form a party for higher rank gates. Sola's spirits lifted, and she confirmed that she would form a party with the tank. Where can I send my application for this party? Kangwoo reassured her that since both she and Taesu have high-ranking abilities, leveling up would be a breeze. Sola was thrilled to hear this as she really wanted to level up quickly to join Kangwoo's party. Kangwoo even offered to sponsor everything Sola needed until then. For him, it was all an investment. Can you sponsor me as well? As they chatted, the kimchi stew was finished and served in front of Kangwoo. He gazed at his favorite dish with pure joy, a piece of heaven itself. Sola suddenly stopped him just as he was about to dig in, urging him to try with something different today. The sight of her adding ramyeon noodles and toppings to his favorite meal evoked priceless joy in the Demon King's eyes. The pot shone brighter than ever in his eyes as he reached out for the chopsticks and thought about the demonic religion. He didn't know who they were, but he vowed to protect this earth with ramyeon toppings and kimchi stew, no matter what. Kangwoo had the best motivation to save the world: kimchi stew with ramyeon. The next day, Kangwoo visited the player support center under the bright sun. He eagerly inquired about his C-rank player card, only to be informed that he would have to wait until the following day to receive it. Disappointed but understanding, he learned that his card required a process magic stone identification, which couldn't be provided immediately. As Kangwoo left the center, he felt a bit lost in thought. Since returning to Earth, he had not taken a proper rest day. Knowing he couldn't act against the demonic religion now, he decided to take the opportunity to rest and enjoy his time. Get some much-needed vacation time, bro. Strolling amongst the bustling crowd, Kangwoo wondered what he should do on his day off. He recalled spending most of his time reading webtoons and novels before his descent to hell, but he knew things couldn't be the same as they were 10,000 years ago. He's actually just like me, for real. He had worked too hard to get back to Earth and needed to enjoy everything he could. That's when he spotted a PC cafe, which he had never seen before. The idea of renting a PC and ordering food seemed like heaven on earth. He rented a nice gaming chair and ordered some ramen. As he heard, it was best enjoyed in a PC room. Surprised by the experience, Kangwoo clicked on the most popular game at the time, which had an ongoing event. The game offered various classes such as support, tanks, and required players to form parties with different roles, just like real-life hunting. This man is playing League of Legends after crawling back from hell. You are out of your mind. Kangwoo decided his role would be a merciless killer and picked a cuddly-looking raccoon. Of course, he plays the devil himself, Teemo. As the game started, he was amazed by the immersive experience of killing monsters and gaining gold. However, his teammates started trash-talking him for stealing gold. Kangwoo effortlessly clapped back at his teammate during a classic trash talk battle while his ramen was served and ready. He chomped on his delicious meal, and as luck would have it, his in-game teammate died. This did not bother Kangwoo, who continued to enjoy his food, even munching on some pickled radish. Meanwhile, his teammate raged in tilt mode on the in-game chat. Kangwoo relished the amazing flavors of his ramen and pickled radish, washing it down with soda, deciding that he will have it again next time. It was like heaven to him. But suddenly, someone in the room started screaming and cursing, complaining about getting a stupid teammate right before ranking up. That's a real gamer right there. Perplexed, Kangwoo looked around, trying to identify the source of the commotion. Suddenly, a fierce woman wearing a cap yelled at him, asking him to look elsewhere, as she was in a terrible mood. When she realized that Kangwoo was her in-game partner, she walked towards him, warning him to stop eating in the middle of the game. Help him. He's being harassed by an e-girl. The angry woman threatened to take Kangwoo outside with her, but he had no clue what she was talking about. This only fueled her rage, and she accused him of trolling her. Suddenly, she tried to grab Kangwoo by his collar without warning, but he quickly dodged her attack. Calmly, Kangwoo called the woman out for bullying and lashing out at him out of nowhere. The woman made several attempts to grab Kangwoo, but he remained calm and managed to dodge each time. As he watched her movements, he began to wonder what her deal really was. With a serious expression and radiating intense pressure, the woman attempted to grab Kangwoo again, but he quickly stood up and dodged to the side. The woman repeated the same moves, slowly increasing her speed with each attempt. Her hands moved so quickly that they became blurred, but Kangwoo was still able to keep up. After a final, full-force strike, the woman's relentless assault came to a stop. She stared at Kangwoo, who was unscathed. Imagine going beast mode inside a PC cafe. In an ardent tone, she asked the mysterious man in front of her if he was sent by the Mer Guild. Kangwoo only knew the Mer Guild was one of the top 5 guilds, but when his woman talked about it, he denied being part of any guild. She clenched her fist, suspecting he was lying. How could someone like him not be in a guild? Kangwoo asked her what guild she was in. Proudly, she boasted being in the most infamous and top 5 guild in the country, but she stopped herself from revealing its name. She remembered to keep her affiliation secret, but the excitement got the best of her. She does look familiar, doesn't she? As she kept talking, Kangwoo politely checked out on the register. He was already over her, finding it annoying to deal with her. The woman demanded him to stop fooling around and give a serious reply. She assumed he was an A rank without a guild, which was unheard of. To shut her up, Kangwoo presented his D rank player card. The woman could not believe he was an actual beginner. Kangwoo reminded her to be nice as he nearly died earlier. She just got wrecked by some noob. The woman knew she would have easily dealt with Kangwoo if he were a beginner, but what she saw was not a newbie's technique. Kangwoo strode off, leaving the woman in shock. Something was not adding up. Kangwoo walked out onto the streets, lost in thought once again. He reaffirmed that he was still weak, but he had fighting reflexes from 10,000 years of hellish combat experience. He hadn't expected to meet someone who was on a similar level so quickly. He thought back to the barrage of attacks the woman had unleashed. The final move particularly haunted Kangwoo. For a moment, the woman had left his field of view, leaving him vulnerable. Kangwoo wondered who in the world that woman really was. At the same moment, someone was sneaking outside a window. With a tall leap downwards, the woman from the PC cafe took cover in the darkness of an alleyway. Ensuring that no one was nearby, she started contacting someone with her phone that had the insignia of a rose. The voice on the other line recognized her as Cha Yeonju and connected her to HR. A man wearing glasses named Park Yoon-woo picked up. He was the Red Rose's HR leader. It was revealed that this woman was the Red Rose's guild leader, Cha Yeonju. I knew it. She's an OP character. She promptly ordered Yoon-woo to investigate someone extremely important. She thought that this might or might not be related to the demonic religion worshippers. She warned Yoon-woo that this man was very suspicious. The man known as Kangwoo was a mystery. She thought that since it was a D-rank player card she saw, it could be easier to fake compared to the succeeding ranks with a mana-discerning device feature. The HR leader asked if it was possible that this D-rank player was going around attacking players of the same rank, but Cha Yeonju was certain that this guy didn't belong in D-rank as he was skilled enough to predict her movements. This shocked the man on the phone. Even if Yeonju didn't go 100%, there had been no demonic religion followers skilled enough to even react to her movements. Yeonju had faced many challenges in her extensive investigation of the demonic religion, but none had given her as much trouble as Kangwoo. His godlike reflexes had left her struggling to even touch him. And now, based on his skill level, she couldn't help but suspect that he might be the actual leader of the demonic religion. She's not entirely wrong, right? Kangwoo is the demon king after all. As the threat of the demonic religion grew, Yeonju and her team knew they couldn't ignore any possibility. They had to investigate Kangwoo thoroughly and immediately. The call ended with Yeonju pondering whether Kangwoo was part of the demonic religion or not. She looked down at the single button she had managed to rip from his jacket. Kangwoo had been annoyed at losing it but had walked away, disappointed at his interrupted break. He knew he had to get stronger to prepare for the future, starting with a visit to a C-rank gate as soon as he got his card tomorrow. In both of their minds, a thought lingered. They were certain of one thing: the other person was stronger than themselves. Yeonju knew that if Kangwoo really was a D rank with that level of talent, it would be disastrous for her. Her position as a high rank player was no longer guaranteed with Kangwoo in the picture. As Yeonju returned to the PC cafe, she was reminded of what had triggered the incident in the first place. Her rank in the game they were playing had been demoted, and her rage boiled as she cursed Kangwoo's name, vowing to find and kill him. This is the sanest League player. Meanwhile, as Kangwoo walked down the streets, he felt a sudden chill. It's a new day, and we find Kangwoo among the bustling crowd of players near a gate once again. Armed with the knowledge he's gathered, Kangwoo prepares to tackle the Mokdong C-rank gate, which is filled with dangerous C-rank trolls. However, before he can enter, uniformed officers stop him. It appears that solo play is forbidden, and only parties of 5 with a C-rank license are allowed to enter today because the chief troll has appeared inside. Despite this setback, Kangwoo counts himself lucky that the boss monster spawned so soon after he obtained his license. As the surrounding players group up to strategize, Kangwoo notices a stark contrast between the C-rank gate and lower ranked ones. The equipment is better, but the inspection process is stricter, posing a challenge for Kangwoo, who wants to monopolize the rewards by going alone. Boss loot alert. Some parties are enthusiastic about the hunt, while others are hesitant about facing the chief troll. Kangwoo observes and senses it all, including the uncertainty, restlessness, fear, and expectation among the players. In the face of this, Kangwoo malevolently smiles and quietly activates his demonic energy, knowing that a spoonful of rage is the perfect addition to his plan. He knows he doesn't have to approach this like the hobgoblin boss last time. He knows that humans can be pushed just an inch, so he'll give them a tiny boost. He silently taps one player on the shoulder and Kangwoo activated the authority of rage, infecting the unsuspecting man. The player immediately displays his anger, calling out to his confused party members, recalling how they used to get beaten up by thugs and were in their own type of hell. Then the gates open, and they are given the power to not have to crawl around like weak worms. He ragefully screams that what they're doing now is just like the past, and he doesn't want to bend to the will of monsters anymore. As the party questions the raving man, Kang Wu executes another quiet touch, infecting another player with rage, and then another one, and the rage of the players slowly starts infecting everyone. It comes to the point that almost every player around the gate is screaming in anger, itching to hunt down the boss monster inside the gate. He just created the angriest player party ever. The officers are confused at this development, but the mob of players relentlessly storms the entrance of the gate. The rage in their faces and voices is palpable. Everyone runs for the biggest and angriest hunt of their life, as the officers are distracted by the tsunami of players. They call for backup. Meanwhile, Kang Wu easily sneaks past security with the authority of Sky. He lands at the entrance of the gate, pleased with the results of his power. He's about to reap all the rewards in this gate. The gate takes the form of a desert with ruins scattered all over the place. Kang Wu walks the vast wilderness and brutal terrain of this gate. He knows fighting the boss mob will be a problem. He wonders if he'll have to use the authority of Sky to scout the massive desert. That's when an idea popped into his mind. Kang Wu quickly checked his status window and saw that his demonic energy had reached 53, which should be enough for a better plan. He jumped towards the highest altitude he could find and landed, putting his palms on the surface. He activated the demon Astaroth's authority of observation. A phantom of a demon with a blood red, all-seeing eye appeared in the sky, and its observation power quickly covered the massive area of the desert. Kang Wu was overwhelmed by the information from everything within his power's reach, but he pushed through the pain of harnessing Astaroth's power as he spotted countless trolls. Who needs Google Maps when you have Kang Wu and his demon powers? Eventually, he found the chief troll among his underlings. Kang Wu deactivated his draining power and began to plan how to take on the chief troll and its soldiers. From above, Kang Wu spotted a mob of players thirsting for a hunt. He decided to use this group to his advantage. He quickly jumped from one area to another, planning to use the player mob to take care of the smaller trolls as he took on the chief troll by himself. Work smarter, not harder. For now, Kang Wu wanted to lure the trolls away. He gathered an immense amount of demonic energy in his hands, preparing for the onslaught. His demonic energy took on a sharp aura as he formed a dark and terrifying spear. He brandished the remarkably sharp spear and spun the shaft around, trying to gather momentum. With a bloodthirsty look in his eyes, he prepared to throw it at his target. The spear traveled like a bullet towards the horde of trolls, and forcefully struck the heart of the giant chief troll. Kang Wu received a notification that he had successfully defeated the B-rank boss chief troll. The already dumb soldier trolls were even more dumbfounded as they saw their chief lying on the ground with a massive spear through its chest. That's what you call a heart-stopping victory. Kang Wu received triple the XP for eliminating the boss, and he leveled up 4 times. He was even more dumbfounded than the trolls. He hadn't expected to one-shot the boss. Kang Wu was so caught off guard that he even doubted if this was really the boss monster. Although it was indicated in the notification, he could not believe that a C-rank gate boss would be so weak. But no, it wasn't weak. It was a boss mob with strength befitting that of the gate. It's just that Kang Wu had become much stronger than he initially thought. He had planned to hunt as safely as possible, but at this rate, he might as well go all out. He jumped down towards the troll horde, activating the authority of the blade. Our boy looks like that one Bane meme. With how strong he had become, he knew he needed to change his plan. The trolls began their angry charge towards the man that killed their chief, but Kang Wu stood confidently in the face of the monster's charge. A slight smile began to form on his mouth as his expression morphed to his usual look when he's about to begin wiping out hordes of monsters. In the blink of an eye, he was already outside of the troll horde encirclement, and the trolls stopped in their tracks completely as a sharp glint could be seen. Kang Wu's blade glowed in a mysterious hue, and the trolls started to feel that something was amiss. With a single slash, every single troll was left with a wound that emanated the same mysterious energy from Kang Wu's blade. If the trolls could talk, they would have said ouch in unison. A bright energy began to pour out from the wounds of the clueless trolls. It brightened even more, until all of them were eviscerated from the inside. Sharp blades started to grow from where Kang Wu slashed them, lacerating their internal organs. Kang Wu stood in glory as if he was an artist that just made his masterpiece. The trolls screamed in pain as a bloodbath covered the desert sand. With the amount of demonic power that he currently possessed, it was now possible to use the authority of the blade to cause internal explosions. After dispatching a decent chunk of the troll horde, Kang Wu immediately gained 2 levels. He even acquired an A-rank skill, Terra Blade, which he seemed to have gained after repeated use of his blade. This was amazing news for Kang Wu, as skills that have been registered can be utilized with greater precision and detail. He planned to test out his new skill right there and then. His fingertip took a demonic form and opened as a vile liquid started to pour out. Kang Wu needs a manicure badly. A single drop of the liquid reverberated throughout the whole area, creating bigger and bigger circular patterns on the ground around Kang Wu. The clueless and terrified trolls didn't know what this man was going to do to them. One troll stepped on the circular pattern and a blade suddenly protruded, stabbing him on the foot. It's like stepping on Legos, but more deadly. Realizing what was happening, the trolls tried to make a run for it. But Kang Wu was not going to let that happen. He activated his skill, and a forest of sharp blades appeared around the area of the circular patterns. The trolls ran in fear as every single one of them was slaughtered in the sharp hellscape. Kang Wu was extremely pleased with the efficiency of his new skill as he stared at the blood-stained sand of the desert. Now he would indulge in his reward. He activated the authority of purgation, spawning his vile specters to devour the flesh and blood of the monsters. He cleared the area, but only increased his demonic energy by 2. He even devoured every magic stone of the monsters, but it only increased his demonic energy by such a small amount. It really was harder to progress the stronger he got. All the hunting had rapidly increased his level. Now, there were only 4 more levels until he could have his 4th awakening. With that in mind, he decided to hunt some more. We see a mob of anger-infected players who are frustrated and complaining that there wasn't even a sign of the boss monster. They didn't even see regular trolls, let alone the chief. All he saw was a bunch of trolls running away in fear, and a massive boss-sized crater with no corpse in it. The disappointed mega party decided to call it quits and reluctantly decided to leave the gate. They are looking to blame the government for misleading them with the boss hunt. Kang Wu sees this scene while in hiding, as he plans to join them slowly outside and make his escape amidst the commotion. Outside the gate, the enraged players demand accountability from the officers, demanding the government to compensate for their wasted time. Kang Wu just stood in the background, pleased with how much chaos these guys are spreading. That's when someone silenced the crowd with a dignified voice. We see the prestigious red uniform of the Huarang Corps. The player crowd was confused that the powerful Huarang Corps appeared in this area and why there were so many of them. They quickly fell in line as it wasn't worth ruining their life even though they were angry. Kang Wu was thinking how this is such a waste of time, so he just wants to go home. That's when a lofty figure of a woman with white hair strode amongst the Huarang Corps officers. The crowd immediately recognized this woman as the commander of Huarang Corps Unit 3, Baek Huiyan. That's a Dami mommy right there. Baek Huiyan demanded the attention of everyone present with her grand presence. She informed the players that there have been reports of chaos players appearing at D-rank gates. Therefore, they will conduct random inspections on all players that have achieved their 3rd awakening. She demanded the players' cooperation in this case. Kang Wu doesn't have a good feeling about all of this. The 3rd unit started to inspect the player cards of everyone present, as Baek Huiyan stood majestically in all her glory. Huiyan made it clear that the checking process wouldn't be complicated, providing some relief to the players. However, Kang Wu had some concerns given his recent actions that could put him in trouble. He wondered if the Huarang Corps was specifically targeting him. Kang Wu recognized the danger of standing out and drawing attention from the officers, with vigilant eyes watching his every move, especially Commander Baek Huiyan's. He knew it would be difficult to escape unnoticed. As he pondered his next move, a polite voice interrupted him, asking for his player card. To his surprise, the elegant Baek Huiyan herself was conducting his inspection. Kang Wu complied, feeling increasingly paranoid. Maybe Kang Wu got some militaristic riz. As chaos players and a demonic religion began to make their moves, Kang Wu realized he needed to be more cautious. He saw this as an opportunity to gather information from Huiyan herself and devise a plan accordingly. Kang Wu expressed his gratitude to Commander Huiyan for conducting the random inspection herself. She explained that leading by example is essential to maintain her prestige as a leader. Impressed by Huiyan's resolve, Kang Wu steered the conversation towards the chaos players. Huiyan confirmed that the inspection was in response to their increasing numbers. After examining Kang Wu's card, she returned it and he thanked her for her diligent work. Kang Wu feigned innocence, remarking that killing for money is a scary thought. Huiyan replied that money is, indeed, frightening. Wei Yun's reply just sprung Kang Wu's trap. It revealed that the government was concealing the true intentions of the Chaos players and pursuing the demonic cult. As Wei Yun bid Kang Wu farewell, he asked which Chaos players they were investigating, offering to report them if he encountered any. Wei Yun thanked him for his initiative, but insisted that protecting players was their duty. She advised Kang Wu to raise his level in D rank gates for his safety, since he was still relatively new to C rank. She praised his kindness and expressed hope to see more players like him in the future. I personally would fold it if she praised me like that. As Wei Yun walks away, Kang Wu can't help but wonder if this was a secret investigation. With the government cracking down on demon worshippers, he decides it's best to lie low for a while and calls his tanky friend Tae-Soo to meet up soon. A few days later, Kang Wu, Tae-Soo, and Sola are sitting in a cafe. Kang Wu introduces the two, and Tae-Soo, being his usual enthusiastic self, makes Sola a bit intimidated. Tae-Soo notices Sola moving closer to Kang Wu and teases him about it, but Kang Wu reminds him of the favor he promised to take Sola hunting in D-rank gates. Excited at the prospect of having a healer like Sola, Tae-Soo asks her about her abilities. She explains that her blessing of light not only heals but also buffs strength, health, and dexterity, and to everyone's surprise, she can use attack spells too. Tae-Soo is impressed and says that even a high-tier guild like Hanul would take her in immediately. Kang Wu is amazed at the extent of Sola's abilities. Throughout the conversation, Tae-Soo repeatedly calls Sola sister-in-law, making Kang Wu blush and Sola smile. Kang Wu is over the moon at the thought of having such an amazing lady by his side. Tae-Soo is full of energy, declaring his intention to make history with Kang Wu. Kang Wu can't help but find Tae-Soo's enthusiasm a little overwhelming as he watches him gulp down his coffee like it's beer. When Kang Wu asks if Tae-Soo has anyone in mind for the party's damage dealers, Tae-Soo immediately has two people in mind. They're talented players who just completed their second awakening, yet they still haven't joined any guilds. Tae-Soo boasts that he has a good eye for people, but Kang Wu is skeptical, remembering the Chaos players that Tae-Soo was involved with. Despite Kang Wu's concerns, Tae-Soo insists that the damage dealers are trustworthy, having met them during his early days of goblin hunting. Kang Wu asks Sola if she's comfortable with the suggestion, and she's eager to increase her level and be around Kang Wu. Kang Wu reminds her that her safety is the most important thing, and Tae-Soo can't help but be happy to see his brother in a lovey-dovey conversation. Tae-Soo is the best third wheeler. The plan is settled, and they agree to meet near East Inshin the next day. Kang Wu wonders why they're going to a farther gate instead of a nearby one, and Tae-Soo explains that the closer gates have had a lot of incidents lately. Instead, they're going to take on trolls in a D-rank gate as they're stronger than lizardmen, but still a good stepping stone. Kang Wu praises Tae-Soo's plan, realizing that there's more to him than just muscles. You cannot find a better subordinate than this gentle giant. With that, Kang Wu bade his farewell to Sola and Tae-Soo. When asked where he'll be heading after this, Kang Wu answered simply, he's going to level up. Kang Wu is just one step away from his fourth awakening, at level 29. With the authority of observation activated, the all-seeing eye phantom reappeared in the sky, and Kang Wu quickly spotted a group of 8 trolls lounging in the sand. With lightning speed, he raced past them, his blade leaving a glint in its wake. The unsuspecting trolls were quickly reduced to a bloody mess on the desert floor. As Kang Wu wiped his blade clean, he couldn't help but wonder how many more he had to hunt to level up. Suddenly, the smell of human blood hit him like a ton of bricks. It was strong, too strong to be from a mere hunting ground. Kang Wu raced towards the source, knowing that a massacre of 5 to 6 people had taken place. As he thought about who could have done such a thing, he realized that the chances of a Chaos player being involved were high. His instincts proved right as he stumbled upon the lifeless bodies of a party of C-rank players. He knew the demon cult wasn't behind it, as they needed living sacrifices. Kang Wu was stumped as to who could have done this, but he knew the culprit had to be nearby since the smell of blood was fresh. As he pondered this, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The Hellhound, a demonic monster from hell, was devouring a whole human with its countless teeth. That's a weird-looking dog. The Hellhound let out a deafening roar as Kang Wu stood in shock. In an instant, the monster lunged at him with its jaws wide open, treating him like prey. But Kang Wu was quick to dodge and counterattack with his blade, only to be forcefully deflected by the beast. He knew this was an authentic Hellhound, given the sturdiness of its skin. As Kang Wu prepared for another strike, the Hellhound began amassing sinister energy in its mouth. With a thunderous release, a molten mass of energy resembling a meteor hit the ground, exploding like a nuke. The Hellhound eagerly awaited the sight of Kang Wu's destruction. But Kang Wu was already in the air, effortlessly dodging the debris. He knew his blades were no match, so he turned to another weapon in his arsenal, the authority of Dark Spear that had slain the chief troll midair. Gathering demonic energy in his hands, Kang Wu spun around and descended upon the unsuspecting Hellhound like a tornado. All the monster could see was the sharp glint of the sinister blade. With a swift strike to the monster's back, Kang Wu caused it to growl in pain as blood spurted from the wound. As the Hellhound fell to the ground, Kang Wu landed with an exasperated sigh, thinking the fight was over. But he quickly realized it had only just begun. The Hellhound charged relentlessly at Kang Wu, swiping its claw and sending him flying. Dodging the beast, Kang Wu kicked it in the jaw, creating distance between them. As the Hellhound continued its pursuit, Kang Wu channeled demonic energy in his hands and activated the authority of Earthquake, decimating the landscape around them. Caught and disorientated by the tremors, the Hellhound was an easy target as Kang Wu conjured his trusty Dark Spear, stabbing the beast in the head with all the force he could muster. But the tenacious creature was too strong, leaping out of the hole and sending Kang Wu flying with a powerful claw strike. Frustrated, Kang Wu faced the Hellhound once again with a spear lodged in its head. He knew this was far from over and anticipated the beast's strongest move. A blood-red aura quickly enveloped the Hellhound's body, increasing its power multiple times over. Oh no, that Super Saiyan dog. But Kang Wu was ready, activating the demon Baphomet's authority of divine power. Dark energy surrounded him as a phantom of a manticore appeared, giving him the strength of a divine being. The Hellhound charged towards him like a crimson meteor, but Kang Wu knew it was just a mutt that didn't know its place. The primal Hellhound trembled at the sight of the man's newfound power, which was accompanied by the phantom of a mighty demon. Kang Wu launched himself at the beast with a powerful uppercut, fueled by his determination to vanquish demons. The colossal Hellhound was sent flying through the air, his body crumpling onto the hot sand as it hit the ground with a resounding thud. The Hellhound struggled to its feet, barely clinging to life, while Kang Wu ruminated on how much easier this fight could have been if he could use both of his authorities at once. But he was no stranger to taking down hordes of these Hellhounds during his time in Hell, and he knew how to handle them. With a confident taunt, Kang Wu beckoned the beast to attack, but the Hellhound fell to the ground, lifeless. A wave of relief washed over Kang Wu, finally free from the clutches of the annoying dog. Kang Wu just has that dog in him. Suddenly, Kang Wu received a notification that he had defeated a C-rank Fisher Fragment, an unfamiliar classification to him. The victory boosted his level by 5, causing his fourth awakening to trigger. As a result, he acquired the fourth awakening trait, Ruler of Demonic Energy, a rank A trait. Now Kang Wu could control demonic energy more naturally and at an accelerated pace, and he could also conceal his demonic energy from other beings. Looks like the Demon King just leveled up his stealth game. Kang Wu was notified that he defeated a C-rank Cracks Fragment, a term he was unfamiliar with. He had heard of core cracks before, which he believed were the system's term for beings from Hell. Does that make the Demon King the toughest crack of them all? He wondered why there was a Hellhound in the gate in the first place. He knew that Hellhounds could not use the weapons of the 7 Archdukes of Hell as he had done. He can't help but be intrigued by the concept of these cracks. He put it out of his mind for the time being as he had no idea where to begin. Kang Wu just wanted to rest and check his notifications first. That's when he noticed a particular notification. He had received his fourth awakening, and it was an A rank. Now that he had reached his fourth awakening, he would no longer be bothered by trivial matters. He decided to start feasting on the Hellhound. The authority of gluttony spawned countless grim specters that tore through the lifeless Hellhound's body. Kang Wu sinisterly mused that if he could restore the state of his myriad demon palace, he might even become stronger than he was in Hell. He was becoming addicted to leveling up. All I can say is let him cook. A sunny day greeted Kang Wu as he left the security checkpoint outside the gate. He had such a fulfilling day that he was all smiles when he thought about the perfect way to end it. Some kimchi stew at home. Kimchi stew and grinding levels. He's living the dream. But then he heard a familiar voice calling his name. When he turned his attention to a corner, he saw the woman who had harassed him at the PC cafe, wearing the same look and the same baseball cap. She greeted him. Is she trying to 1v1 right now? Kang-woo was not pleased to see this annoying woman. He told her that they were not even close enough to greet each other, as they had not even introduced themselves. The woman introduced herself as Cha Yeon-ju. Kang-woo vaguely remembered hearing this name at the support center. The big 5 guilds were Mir, Honore, Hanol, Sanara, and the Red Rose. He now realized that this woman was the guild master of Red Rose. Suddenly, it all made sense why she was so strong. Kang-woo asked Yeon-ju what she wanted with him. It turned out that she had investigated him. Oh Kang-woo, born in 1995, currently 28, raised in the Chongsong orphanage without any history of adoption, and lived by himself for most of his life. For 5 years, there was no trace of him, but he had recently registered as a player. Bro just got opened like a book. Kang-woo became apprehensive when he heard how thorough and extensive the research had been. She found it absurd that he had only registered 3 weeks ago. Kang-woo recalls his F-rank awakening test as Yeon-ju continues to list down his information. She finds Kang-woo's rise odd and suspects that he is a criminal who purchased a fake identity. But everything was legitimate, down to the fingerprints. Kang-woo could not believe that this guild had such deep influence that they could obtain his fingerprint records. Yeon-ju knows that Kang-woo is not a player using a false identity. This leads her to the conclusion that he's a player with immense talent that could even surpass her own. He just has that dog in him. He might even have more talent than Baek Kang-yeon. Kang-woo thanked her for the high praise but urged her to get to the point of her visit. In a turn of events, Yeon-ju wants to sponsor Kang-woo with her authority as the guild master of Red Rose. Kang-woo was visibly taken aback by this proposal as he was expecting this conversation to take a different turn. He thought that he was being recruited. Yeon-ju explained that she would not simply allow someone dubious to join her guild right away. Yeon-ju believes that Kang-woo has been hiding his power to avoid guild requests, but Kang-woo is not actually hiding his powers. She went on to say that this would simply be financial support to help him level up faster. Kang-woo jokingly asked if she needed a boost in the last game they played at the PC cafe in return, and raging the gamer, that is Cha Yeon-ju. She repeatedly muttered to herself that she's a guild master as she calmed herself down. Kang-woo laughed it off and explained that he was a noob at the game. So they had a misunderstanding, but Yeon-ju was still salty that she couldn't advance to silver because of Kang-woo. She's just like me. For real. Kang-woo mocked her for being a low-tier bronze, and she was quick to reason that it was all her teammates' fault that she couldn't promote. She has the mark of a true gamer. Kidding aside, Kang-woo inquired why she was trying so hard to sponsor him. Her simple reason is that Kang-woo will continue to get stronger. He was a newbie 2 weeks ago, but has grown at a monstrous pace within such a short time. He even managed to solo hunt and E to C rank gates. She knows that Kang-woo is just getting started. Her first offer is a gate pass that will grant Kang-woo entry to A rank gates and below without any restrictions. The deal is already sounding good to Kang-woo. She continues that they'll match him up with their guild members for hunting parties if he wants to. He'll also be exempted from magic stone taxes if he directly sold to the Red Rose. They would even lend him equipment. Unique rank and above equipment will require a deposit, but anything epic rank and below is free to borrow. They even propose a house and a car. Kang-woo worries that this deal might be too good to be true, but Yeon-ju reassured him that all the extravagance is an investment for the future. All of this would not come for free as the guild will allocate him various tasks. Kang-woo weighed the deal in his mind. They'll probably need his help for a particular task. He asked if he could get the details of the commission request, but Yeon-ju stonewalled his inquiry, which is fine with Kang-woo. He thinks that if it's a ridiculous request, he'll just refuse. And with that, he reached out his hand, agreeing to the terms proposed by Yeon-ju. Yeon-ju let out a faint smile and reached her hand out to Kang-woo's. For Kang-woo, this was a chance to connect with a big guild and gain an insane amount of support. It was too good to pass up, and the PC cafe rivals have joined forces. Kang-woo was out here securing his bag. With their deal finalized, Yeon-ju praised Kang-woo for making the right choice. He once again asked what the commission request is, but she will only tell him when the time comes. She assumes that there's nothing Kang-woo can do at his current level. However, he begs to differ in this assumption. He insists that he is much stronger than she thinks. She's almost impressed with how arrogant and brazen Kang-woo is. So, she continues that his strength is not the reason why she cannot reveal any details yet. It is just that they do not have all the evidence yet. This makes sense to Kang-woo. Yeon-ju shoves her phone in his face asking for his contact details. The eager Kang-woo is already asking when he can get his equipment while entering his contact details into Yeon-ju's phone. She proposes that they should grab them now, and Kang-woo complies. He will need the equipment if he wants to save demonic energy. She beckons him to follow her as they head over to the guild house. Yeon-ju reveals that their guild headquarters is in the bustling Seoul station. People of all ages in the streets cannot help but turn their heads at the sight of a prestigious car on the road. It is the Porsche 918 Spider. They did not even have this model in Korea, but the guild leader of Red Rose has it. She's calling out to Kang-woo to hop in. Yeon-ju is so rich that she does not even know how much this car is, even though she just bought it. She didn't have to go hard on the flex like that, but we love a rich queen. She just casually throws out the 10 million won figure, and the greedy Kang-woo's eyes light up in the prospect of so much money. She cannot believe that a person that dresses so casually while playing the PC room is this flush with cash. Can I just hunt and gain tens of millions as well? The car accelerates as they start heading into their destination. Kang-woo remarks how smoothly it drives when Yeon-ju offers to get him one as well. She can say that a car is part of their deal. With this offer, Kang-woo starts referring to Yeon-ju respectfully as his big sister. Just hearing those words from this man's mouth causes such a visceral disgust in Yeon-ju's face. She warns him to never call her that. Yeon-ju continues to drive as she warns him to stick to their deal or she will immediately confiscate everything. He mocks her for being such a petty ranker, but she retorts that she has a lot of mouths to feed. Kang-woo just shuts his mouth for the rest of the drive and they eventually arrive at Seoul Station, Red Rose's guild house. He is awestruck seeing the massive scale of this guild. It is as big as a player support center. This is the influence of a big guild. His awe is interrupted with Yeon-ju inviting him in. He was reaffirming that he really made the right decision to get connected with a big guild when they are greeted by 2 people in the lobby. The team leader of the personnel management team, Park Yeon-woo, politely reaches out his hand to shake Kang-woo's as he introduces himself. Kang-woo also introduced himself as if threatening aura catches his attention. He looks at the other man in front of him, the commander-in-chief, Moon Young-ho, eyeing him down intensely. This imposing man is glaring at him aggressively. You better fix your eyes, young man. The gentlemanly Park Yeon-woo thanks Kang-woo for accepting her proposal, as Kang-woo jokes that he would have taken it even if it's coated in poison. Yeon-woo presents himself to escort Kang-woo to the equipment storage, but Yeon-ju insists that she will accompany Kang-woo personally. That's when Yeon-woo politely takes his leave, and the commander-in-chief Moon Young-ho proposes that he will tag along. When asked why he wants to come with Kang-woo and Yeon-ju, he replies that he wants to see for himself what kind of human Kang-woo is. Spoilers, man. He hasn't been a human in the past 10,000 years. Kang-woo is amused by this as Yeon-ju allows it since they will be seeing each other often after all. After arriving at the 15th floor, Yeon-ju points out their guild item storage. She accesses the security door and a multitude of bright lights welcome Kang-woo. She reiterates that Kang-woo can borrow any equipment up to the epic rank, while unique ranks will require some deposit. Kang-woo is like a child in a candy store as he browses through the myriad of weapons. He asks if there are any legendary or mythic items in here, but those would not be stored here, as that equipment rank would just be used by the high-ranking guild members. Yeon-ju bragged that she herself has a legendary rank equipment. Kang-woo asks how much deposit he will need to borrow something like that, and the figure is a whopping 50 million won. Kang-woo was dumbfounded that he cannot even afford that with all the funds that he has, so he opted to look at the epic equipment first, and that's when Moon Young-ho caught their attention with a slam. Yeon-ju and Kang-woo were confused by this stunt. Bad move, my friend, bad move. Commander-in-Chief Young-ho stood before Kang-woo as a menacing and raging aura surrounds him. He angrily scolded Kang-woo to use honorifics. The clueless Kang-woo was annoyed by this giant in front of him. Young-ho repeats himself, ordering Kang-woo to use honorifics and pay respects when talking to the guild master. The fury in his face was so evident that his veins might pop. Kang-woo finally caught on to what the deal is with this man. So he donned his most mischievous grin and playfully answered that he doesn't want to. He's S-rank when it comes to taunting people. Hearing the disrespect in Kang-woo's voice, Young-ho drew his great sword, but Kang-woo remained unbothered. He's just asking for a spanking at this point. Young-ho brandished his weapon, but his strike was abruptly stopped by Yeon-ju's scolding. The guild leader asked the commander-in-chief what in the world he was doing. The angry Yeon-ju was more fearsome than Young-ho himself. She continued to demand an answer from the hot-headed giant as he stumbled on his words. She continued that he should mind his own business with regards to how Kang-woo speaks to her. That's when the hot-head reluctantly retreated his sword. Yeon-ju also scolded Kang-woo for instigating and taunting. She warned that if he messes with Young-ho, he could end up disabled. The nonchalant Kang-woo admired that even though Young-ho's a hot-head, at least he's loyal. Kangwoo and Yeonju continued their conversation, during which Kangwoo addressed Yeonju as older sister once again. This caught the attention of Yeonho, who stopped in his tracks. Kangwoo was greedily asking the guild leader to get a piece of unique equipment instead of a foreign car. Yeonju gave in to Kangwoo's demand, but that's when Yeonho's massive fist struck the weapon case behind Kangwoo. The commander-in-chief was once again seething in anger after he heard this man refer to their guild master as Big Sister. The unimpressed Kangwoo was once again the target of a massive great sword strike as Yeonho has seemingly lost his sanity and rage. The strike shook the entire storage room as the force of the great sword exploded. Yeonho was shocked and scared at what he seen on the other side of his blade. It was his beloved guild leader, staring at him with bone-chilling eyes, admonishing him for not listening to her barely a moment ago. Kangwoo watches all of this with his signature mocking grin in his mouth. The authority of smugness is out of control. He tried to shift the blame on Kangwoo's disrespectful behavior, but was met with Yeonju throwing him to the side with his great sword. She ordered Moon Yeonho to get out of her sight. She warned him that if he oversteps his boundaries one more time, disciplinary action will be taken. Yeonho apologized to Yeonju as she lectured him to live up to his title as commander-in-chief. Yeonju apologized to Kangwoo as the giant man prepares to take his leave. The two continued their discussion regarding the unique rank equipment Kangwoo needs. Kangwoo requested an armor that is easy to move around in with great basic functions. As Yeonju was thinking what equipment would suit Kangwoo's demand, the voice of Yeonho once again interrupted them. The persistently angry giant got in Kangwoo's face and proposed a duel with his personal armor on the line. This armor fits all the criteria that Kangwoo needs. It was the third strike for her subordinate, so she called him out angrier than before. She reiterated her orders for him to get out of her sight as a savage and sharp energy started emanating from both of her hands. Yeonho backs off in fear, but Kangwoo stopped her. He thinks that the sparring is a decent proposal. Yeonju could not help but feel that this guy was up to something. Good armor in exchange of a little exercise, that's a good deal. He knows that Kangwoo will become stronger than her someday, but Moon Yeonho is level 67. He's overcome the so-called wall of efforts to gain his 6th awakening and became the strongest of the strong after obtaining his 7th awakening. Even with Kangwoo's potential, he's not quite a match for Yeonho yet. That's when she tried to break up the fight before it even starts, but Kangwoo just reassured her that it'll be fine. The sinister Kangwoo really wants the armor, so he's going to accept this challenge. Yeonho was pleased with this development. He intends to make sure that Kangwoo never disrespects the guild master ever again. Yeonju frantically tried to talk some sense into Kangwoo, but he's already made up his mind. At this sight, Yeonho remembers how his master became his savior, how he has sworn his loyalty to Yeonju, and the day that he's given his heart to her. He looks at Kangwoo, the man that dares to get close to his beloved guild master. He could not accept the sight of Yeonju and Kangwoo casually interacting with each other. He intends to show Kangwoo the difference between them. The Sim Commander-in-Chief versus the Giga Chad Demon King. The three stood inside the Red Rose's training facility as Kangwoo admired how high quality it was. Kangwoo started his casual stretch as Yeonju is still trying to talk him out of this duel. The more she thinks about it, the crazier this seems. With a final reassurance to Yeonju, Kangwoo was called out by the giant to start whenever he's ready. Yeonho pridefully offered Kangwoo the first 3 seconds of the match to attack him as much as Kangwoo wants. Kangwoo just finds this cliche proposal amusing. Brother thinks he's Vegeta or something. He called out the man to quit acting like a pompous fool and take his sword out, but this giant just stood his ground. Kangwoo seriously warned the guy to hold his sword, but Yeonho arrogantly declared that he has no intention of using his full power against a brat like Kangwoo. Kangwoo accepted the provocation as he started gathering demonic energy on his feet, catching the attention of Yeonju. He activated the authority of speed, rushing towards the giant in less than a second. A taunt and a solid kick met Yeonho's stomach. He was sent flying from one part of the facility to another, destroying the powerful walls in his wake. Yeonho almost lost consciousness right then and there as he foamed at the mouth with Kangwoo's demonic kick. I hope he has the Red Rose Guild premium health insurance. They landed on the ground at the same time, but the giant was on all fours. Even Yeonju could not believe what she just witnessed. Yeonho couldn't help but think what just hit him. If it weren't for the capabilities of his gargoyle armor, things would end here. He started to grab onto the hilt of his great sword, and as he takes it out, he finds this situation unbelievable. How can someone who's only been a player for 3 weeks be this strong? Kangwoo grimly mocked the giant for taking out his sword and not giving him the promised first 3 seconds. Yeonho struggled to maintain his balance, leaning on his colossal sword for support. He angrily demanded an explanation from Kangwoo, questioning what trickery he had just employed. Kangwoo nonchalantly dismissed it as a mere disparity in their strength, but the commander-in-chief remained skeptical. He couldn't comprehend how a player who had only been in the game for 3 weeks could possess such formidable power. It's just skill diff, brother. To divert the conversation, Kangwoo reminded the giant of the 3-second wager. He taunted Yeonho for underestimating him, thinking he was just another inexperienced player, boasting without substance. He continued his mockery, highlighting Yeonho's failure to fulfill his end of the bargain, labeling Kangwoo a liar and whining after receiving a harsh reality check in the form of a powerful kick. Growing tired of the commander-in-chief's petty behavior, Kangwoo issued a warning, commanding him to cease the nonsense and stop being childish. Yeonho felt embarrassed, gritting his teeth in pain, while his esteemed guild leader observed the battle from the sidelines. Determined not to endure further pummeling, he readied his great sword, invoking the spell known as the Blade of Unreserved Slaughter. A surge of energy coalesced within his blade. Unfazed, Kangwoo sneered in front of him, openly ridiculing the giant for chanting a skill name that reeked of cringe. He mockingly laughed at Yeonho's display of an embarrassingly named skill, believing it to be cool. Imagine being beaten and then roasted right after. Yeonho's anger intensified as he prepared to unleash an attack emanating an immense force from his sword. He charged towards Kangwoo with malicious intent, displaying his might and speed. Recognizing that the commander-in-chief was still a formidable opponent as the leader of a top 5 guild, Kangwoo knew he didn't need to confront him head-on. In that moment, Kangwoo activated the authority of shadow. Sinister shadows crept along the ground as the giant swung his colossal sword downwards. The shadow traversed through Yeonho, leaving the guild leader with a sense of unease, prompting her to issue a warning. Kangwoo took delight in witnessing the commander-in-chief lose his composure in a fit of rage, once again insulting him for his foolishness. The descending sword was aimed at where Kangwoo was supposed to be, but he had already teleported to the other end of the shadow's path. That's a literal shadow clone jutsu. Yeonho was taken back by the sudden disappearance of his target. With a light tap on the giant's shoulder, Kangwoo confidently declared that Yeonho had already lost. Kangwoo just teleported behind and executed the nothing personal kid maneuver. Activating the authority of shockwave, Kangwoo propelled the proud commander-in-chief of the Red Rose Guild towards the facility's walls once again. Mid-air, Yeonho lost consciousness, while the reverberating force of the shockwave shook his very core. As the giant fell, Yeonju looked at Kangwoo with astonishment. Kangwoo merely reaffirmed what he had already established. He was much stronger than Yeonju had anticipated. He's just the goat. Apologizing to Kangwoo for the day's events, Yeonju expressed her regret, assuring him that the commander-in-chief would be swiftly expelled from the guild. She promised that Kangwoo would never be treated disrespectfully within the guild again. Kangwoo's attention wandered as he flashed a wide smile, proudly displaying his new armor. The gargoyle armor, a unique rank equipment with impressive stats, possessed the ability to double defenses for 10 seconds through calcification. Greedy and elated, Kangwoo couldn't help but think about how Yeonho had gone as far as defying orders and betting his cherished armor, only to lose it all to him. Contemplating the situation, Kangwoo questioned whether this was what it felt like to be blindsided by love. He sternly warned Yeonju that if a similar incident were to occur again, he would reconsider their cooperation. In response, Yeonju promised him earnestly that every member of the guild would treat him with the utmost respect moving forward. Finally, some respect to the Demon King name. Complaining that the massive armor didn't seem to fit his body well, Kangwoo expressed his frustration. In the meantime, Yeonju suggested that he temporarily display the armor in a case and assured him that she would take care of the necessary adjustments. Trusting his new armor to the guild leader, Kangwoo began making plans for the rest of the day. With a farewell, he left the room, leaving Yeonju to exhale a sigh of relief. She couldn't help but wonder if that guy was truly human. Yeonho wasn't just some ordinary mob, so she was utterly perplexed as to how a player of merely 3 weeks had managed to overpower him so effortlessly. At this rate, Kangwoo could become Korea's first world ranker. Among the top 8 players worldwide, none hail from Korea. There were rumors that Baek Kang-yeon, likely the number 1 player in Korea, had a shot at it, but even he fell short. We're going worldwide. Let's go. Lost in thoughts about Kangwoo's potential ascent, Yeonju's contemplation was abruptly interrupted by Park Yeonwoo. They exchanged updates on the day's events. Yanwu expressed his discontent about Yanwu's impending expulsion from the guild, but Yanju reassured him that it was necessary to prevent similar incidents in the future. Nodding in understanding, Yanwu shared another piece of news. The government had successfully infiltrated the demonic order with a spy. With luck, valuable information might come to light this time. Intrigued, Yanju urged him to gather as much information as possible. Kangwu stood in the middle of the bustling street, engrossed in checking his status window. His eyes focused on the continuous growth of his demonic energy alongside his other crucial stats: strength, dexterity, and stamina. Strengthening his body through these stats would help reduce his consumption of demonic energy. Intelligence and wisdom were of no use to him since his magic was non-existent, and they didn't make him any smarter anyway. No need for intelligence if a single punch works. However, Kangwu had heard that after his second awakening, stats related to his special abilities would experience exponential growth. As his other stats continued to increase, Kangwu noticed that the amount of demonic energy he gained remained stagnant. He speculated that this might be because his demonic energy had reached an exceptionally high level, surpassing his other stats. He recalled being able to accomplish feats that even high-level players couldn't. Realizing that his demonic energy stat, which had significantly increased, could no longer be boosted within the level 30 range, Kangwu didn't mind. He had already surpassed the threshold he aimed for when he defeated the Hellhound. If his progress continued, he would soon reach his 5th awakening, and time was on his side. With that in mind, Kangwu decided it was time to meet Sola and Tae-Su. On a beautiful sunny day at the East Incheon Gate, Kangwu spotted the muscular and ironclad Tae-Su loudly trying to catch his attention. Feeling a bit embarrassed, Kangwu walked over to Tae-Su with a lovely Sola by his side, amidst a bustling crowd of players. Tae-Su immediately introduced 2 individuals to Kangwu. The handsome guy was named Kim Si-hoon, while the short girl was Choi Yoon-bi. Kangwu was taken aback by Kim Si-hoon's stunning appearance, straight out of a K-drama. Choi Yoon-bi complained to Tae-Su, urging him not to introduce her as a brat. She teasingly referred to Tae-Su as an old man in his 40s and cheerfully introduced herself to Kangwu. Before Kangwu could inquire about their abilities, Yoon-bi was already engrossed in conversation with Sola. She eagerly requested to take pictures of the beautiful Sola, wanting to show them off to her friends. Kangwu couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by Yoon-bi's vibrant and energetic personality, like Tae-Su's. The polite and well-mannered Kim Si-hoon extended his hand for a handshake and introduced himself as a level 12 warrior with an A-rank special ability. Yoon-bi, on the other hand, was a mage with a B-rank special ability. Si-hoon apologized for Yoon-bi's behavior, causing Kangwu to consider how polite, formal, and sensible Si-hoon seemed. With a second awakening and enough talent to achieve an A-rank, Si-hoon exuded a main character vibe, reminiscent of characters from manhwas. Tae-Su sought validation from Kangwu for his choice of trustworthy party members. Kangwu pondered the question, realizing that he didn't sense any sinister intentions from them. Unlike the fools at the Anders Guild, Tae-Su continued to boast about his keen eye for people. However, Kangwu swiftly reminded him of the time he was betrayed by his own party. Tae-Su brushed it off, believing it was fate that brought them together. Kangwu looked at Tae-Su skeptically as he shifted the conversation back to their new party members. Kangwu assessed the arrangement and concluded that it was more than just an ideal setup, with Si-hoon and Tae-Su as A-rankers, and Sola and Yoon-bi as B-rankers. This party was a force to be reckoned with, a hard-carry party. Can I please get invited and boosted by this party? Kangwu informed them that he would personally join the hunt. He would provide guidance and support, intervening only if things became dangerous. He didn't plan on quickly leveling them up by carrying them. It was important for their growth and potential to shine through, though he might need to keep a watchful eye on them. He believed they had enough potential to nurture. They were about to become the Demon King generals at this point. In a dense forest, a horde of trolls charged mindlessly, brandishing their blunt weapons with aggression. They closed in on a target until they reached the party. Tae-Su, the mighty tank, countered their advance with a powerful shield bash, sending several trolls flying backward. The relentless trolls stumbled around, disoriented by the impact. Tae-Su grinned, satisfied with his strength. That crowd control goes crazy. The immobile and injured trolls trembled on the ground when Yoon-bi unleashed a devastating lightning shock spell, finishing them off. She quickly warned Tae-Su of 5 more trolls approaching from behind. Yoon-bi retreated while Tae-Su readied his shield once again, firmly standing his ground. He confidently faced the incoming horde, his shield gleaming brightly, temporarily blinding the monsters. Taunting the horde, Tae-Su provoked them while Sola cast the Spirit of Light, bolstering Tae-Su's strength and visibly enhancing his muscles. Where can we get a girl that can buff muscles like Sola? Tae-Su thanked Sola, affectionately addressing her as his sister-in-law. At the same time, Sola released a radiant light arrow, striking the nearest troll, taking charge. Tae-Su charged forward, bashing his shield like a moving train, sending trolls flying in all directions. The monsters, battered and bruised, fell victim to Si-hoon's swift blade. He sliced through the group of trolls with expert precision. Each step and slash fell another foe. Si-hoon is just Kirito from Sword Art Online. Confidently standing amidst the defeated trolls, Si-hoon received praise from Tae-Su for his impressive display of skill. It turned out that Si-hoon had trained in kendo as a hobby before becoming a player. However, his level far surpassed that of a mere hobbyist. Perched on a tree, Kangwu observed the battle unfolding below. Tae-Su eagerly sought Kangwu's evaluation, and Kangwu, after careful contemplation, jumped down from the tree. He began pointing out areas for improvement, not just a few, but a lot. Get ready for some brutally honest battle feedback. Kangwu started with Tae-Su, recognizing his good senses and excellent ability to distract monsters. However, he noticed that Tae-Su relied too much on brute strength, which led to unnecessary energy expenditure and exposed vulnerabilities that a tanker should not have. During the battle, Tae-Su was throwing trolls around, but Kangwu questioned how he would handle a boss monster that might appear afterward. Kangwu reminded him of his role as a tanker, emphasizing the importance of enduring attacks and diverting attention. Tae-Su took his criticism to heart, less damage dealing, more tanking. Next, Kangwu turned his attention to Sola and praised her decision to buff Tae-Su, acknowledging her accurate judgment and enhancing the tanker's strength. However, Kangwu pointed out that her choice to use Arrow of Light to defend herself was incorrect. He explained that healers already attract enough attention from opponents, and if they choose to attack, it hampers the tanker's ability to divert attention effectively. Sola sincerely apologized for her shortcomings, but Kangwu assured her that they would work on improving step by step. Do not make her angel cry. Moving on to Yoon-bi, Kangwu noted her enthusiasm and desire to deal with the fallen monsters. However, he advised her against using powerful spells with high firepower. Instead, he suggested using weaker attacks to conserve power since Si-hoon, as the main damage dealer, would handle most of the damage. Yoon-bi embraced the criticism and responded with conviction. This girl is literally just Thunder Megumin. Regarding Si-hoon, Kangwu took a moment to think but found nothing to fix. Si-hoon was fulfilling his role flawlessly, impressing Kangwu with his natural talent and ability. The entire party praised Si-hoon for his impeccable performance, and Kangwu saw him as a diamond in the rough. That guy is literally Kirito. I'm calling it now. As Kangwu contemplated Si-hoon's potential for growth, he encouraged the party to venture further into the gate, incorporating the feedback he had provided during the hunt. A few moments later, they witnessed Tae-Su effortlessly dispatching a single troll with a simple move, followed by Yoon-bi and Sola, using spells of appropriate proportions. Si-hoon showcased his skills as he swiftly jumped into the horde of trolls, dealing killing blows with each slash of his sword. Perched on a tree, Kangwu observed their progress and acknowledged that everyone was performing well. With their current pace, they might even attempt a C-rank gate in a month. This party is a bunch of fast learners. The party successfully completed their task, and Tae-Su asked Kangwu for his evaluation. Kangwu admitted that they had performed admirably this time, and the party thanked Kangwu for his guidance, which had significantly improved their performance. However, their attention was suddenly drawn to a monster approaching them. As they tried to identify the monster, Kangwu was taken aback, recognizing it as the demon wolf. This massive canine creature, with white fur, dark horns, sharp teeth and claws, and bloodthirsty eyes, rushed towards them relentlessly. Kangwu knew they were facing a formidable opponent. Tae-Su, initially clueless, hesitated to raise his shield as he confronted the fearsome monster before him. The demon wolf closed in, roaring at the party still trying to identify the creature. Preparing to intervene with his blade at the sight of yet another demonic monster, Kangwu noticed something astounding. Si-hoon had already engaged in battle, matching the monster's speed and slashing through his body. Tae-Su called out to Si-hoon, and Si-hoon promptly ordered the party to step back. Si-hoon was forced to retreat and create distance as the demon wolf continued its relentless assault. A mysterious energy emanated from Si-hoon's hands and sword as he attempted to strike the monster's stomach. However, Si-hoon struggled to draw blood from the savage monster. He was quickly met with the monster's counterattack, a claw slash that grazed him, causing him to lose his balance. The demon wolf, relentless as ever, lunged forward for a final blow on Si-hoon, just as the handsome Si-hoon was about to become the monster's meal. Kang-woo leaped into action, coming to his rescue. Unleashing the authority of Thousand, he concentrated an immense force into a single fist. With a mighty punch, Kang-woo put an end to the ferocious charge of the demon wolf. Insert One Punch Man opening here. Si-hoon was awestruck, witnessing Kang-woo's display of incredible strength. Kang-woo's bleeding fist, stained with a mix of demonic essence and his own blood, marked his victory over a fragment of a D-rank crack, earning him a level up. He carried Si-hoon by his waist, asking if he could stand. Concerned, the rest of the party hurried over, inquiring if everything was alright. Amidst the worried voices, Tae-soo fervently praised Kang-woo's formidable might, applauding his ability to obliterate the monster in a single blow. Tae-soo also commended Si-hoon's unbelievable performance, considering it was only his second awakening. Sola promptly cast a healing spell on Si-hoon, ensuring his well-being. Sola will always be the MVP. Kang-woo was impressed by Si-hoon's ability to confront a demonic monster, even for an A-ranker in his second awakening. Si-hoon possessed abnormal power. Kang-woo couldn't help but think that there was more to it than just talent. Observing someone like Si-hoon, Kang-woo began to understand Commander-in-Chief Moon Yang-ho on a deeper level. He offered his shoulder as support for Si-hoon, who gratefully accepted. Unbeknownst to the others, Kang-woo secretly activated the omniscient power. For a moment, his eyes took on the appearance of the demon Astaroth, but he concealed it with his rank A ability, Ruler of Demonic Energy. That new ability is already paying off. With the omniscient power active, Kang-woo swiftly scanned every aspect of Si-hoon and was left stunned by the revelations. Initially intending to check for any hidden powers, he discovered that he could even determine whether Si-hoon's skills had been upgraded by examining his status window. As Kang-woo delved deeper into Si-hoon's status, he couldn't believe what he was reading. It turned out that Kim Si-hoon's first awakening rank was SSS tier, possessing the special ability Descendant of the Martial Arts God. In their midst, Kang-woo had discovered the hero destined to become the Protector. The revelation left Kang-woo in awe. Kim Si-hoon was quite literally the main character. Are we following the wrong guy in this manhwa the whole time? The martial arts god, the protector of the world, Kang-woo couldn't help but wonder if that was the reason behind Si-hoon's extraordinary swordsmanship. He contemplated the implications of encountering the main character and considered his next course of action. While Kang-woo maintained a friendly demeanor with everyone around him, inwardly he couldn't ignore the fact that Si-hoon's presence might pose a threat. However, he couldn't pass up the opportunity to nurture such raw talent. The move is obvious, raise the protagonist as a pet. Recalling how Cheonju had approached him in a similar way, Kang-woo decided that building a friendly relationship and providing full support would be the best approach. Nevertheless, he knew that people often turn against you when the going gets tough. He needed a plan that wouldn't backfire. Merely relying on a friendly relationship wouldn't be enough to guarantee success. Observing Si-hoon's selfless act of protecting Tae-soo from the demon wolf, Kang-woo realized that Si-hoon possessed a strong sense of chivalry and purity. To put it kindly, Si-hoon was incredibly noble, but to put it bluntly, he seemed like a bit of a loser. Classic Kang-woo, trash-talking the hero in his early chapters. A sinister smile played on Kang-woo's lips as he contemplated the future. He began devising a plan to manage the situation when someone called out to him. The angelic Sola approached Kang-woo with genuine concern, inquiring if he had been hurt. Kang-woo assured her that he was fine, he's just preoccupied with his thoughts. Meanwhile, in the background, Tae-soo and Yoonbi engaged in an unusual activity, with Yoonbi electrocuting the giant. The party pondered the appearance of such a monstrous creature in a D-rank gate. It was a creature they had never seen or heard of before. Without Kang-woo's intervention, they would have been in serious danger. They commended Si-hoon for his bravery, and after being healed by Sola, advised him to take it easy for a while. With sufficient rest, he would recover quickly. Si-hoon expressed gratitude to Sola for her healing and politely thanked Kang-woo for intervening and preventing a more severe injury. He's such a polite boy, you sweet clueless child. Si-hoon's eyes gleamed with admiration as he looked at Kang-woo. While Tae-soo had already praised Kang-woo's strength, they had no idea he was this powerful. Joining in the praise, Tae-soo declared that he had never encountered anyone as strong and chivalrous as his brother Kang-woo. Yoonbi watched the two fanboys with a blank expression, and even Kang-woo felt that the praise was a bit excessive. Curious, Tae-soo asked Si-hoon why he hadn't joined any of the major guilds yet. He mentioned that the Mir Guild was actively recruiting new members and wondered if Si-hoon would be interested. However, the mention of the Mir Guild seemed to change Si-hoon's demeanor. He firmly stated that he had no intention of joining any guild, particularly the Mir Guild. Tae-soo sensed the shift and awkwardly backed off, inquiring if Si-hoon had any issues with the guild. Si-hoon brushed it off as something not worth mentioning, and Tae-soo bowed, apologizing for prying into Si-hoon's past. It looks like we just found the late game boss of Si-hoon's story. When Si-hoon suggested continuing the hunt, Kang-woo intervened, declaring that they were done for the day. He insisted that Si-hoon needed to rest, reminding him that there would always be another hunt tomorrow. Tae-soo fervently asked if Kang-woo would join them for tomorrow's hunt as well, but Kang-woo declined, stating that they would have to handle it on their own. Tae-soo resembled a disappointed child, but Kang-woo sternly lectured Tae-soo, explaining that he couldn't always be there to look after the party. He reassured them that if they remembered the lessons from today, they would improve in no time. Tae-soo really is just an overgrown child with perfect facial hair and muscle. Fired up by Kang-woo's words, Tae-soo pledged to put all his effort into leveling up so he could eventually join Kang-woo. The giant's mood shifted quickly, and he was determined to become stronger. As they exited the gate, the evening had already fallen. Kang-woo and Sola walked together while Kang-woo checked something on his phone. He informed her that something urgent had come up, which meant she might have to go home first. Sola, ever thoughtful, asked if they could still have dinner together. Kang-woo admitted that he might end up being late, so he advised her to eat without him. Can I get the dinner spot with her instead? Her disappointment was evident, but she reminded Kang-woo to take care of himself and mentioned that she would reheat dinner for him when he returned. Kang-woo blushed at her unwavering kindness. She truly was an angel. They bid each other goodbye, even though Kang-woo longed to have dinner with her. However, circumstances didn't allow for it tonight. After parting ways with Sola, Kang-woo's mischievous plan was set into motion. Si-hoon stood by a bus stop, engrossed in his phone. He sighed, his thoughts drifting to the Mir Guild, when Kang-woo called out his name. Curious about the matter at hand, Si-hoon inquired about it. Kang-woo simply replied that it was something important. As the bus arrived, Kang-woo suggested they find a more private place to talk, and Si-hoon, trusting him, agreed without hesitation. Unbeknownst to Si-hoon, Kang-woo led him to an eerie, abandoned, dark alley. When Si-hoon turned to Kang-woo innocently, asking what they needed to discuss, he was struck with a powerful blow to his abdomen. Reality hit Si-hoon as he was thrown to the ground, realizing he had been ambushed in the desolate alleyway. That took an unexpected turn. Before he could even comprehend what was happening, Kang-woo pinned him down with his full weight. Kang-woo revealed his intention to ensure their future by making Si-hoon stronger, surpassing all other players. He ominously smiled, explaining that he wanted them to be true comrades. Confused and bewildered, Si-hoon asked why Kang-woo was resorting to such methods if that was his desire. Kang-woo, already gathering demonic energy in his hands, didn't hesitate. He pierced Si-hoon's chest, directly targeting his heart, an act that symbolized the establishment of their bond. Utilizing the authority of subordination, Kang-woo unleashed a surge of demonic power through Si-hoon's body, causing him to scream in horror, desperately trying to stop it. Did he just brand the hero? Amid Si-hoon's torment, Kang-woo reassured him that he needn't worry, as he wouldn't remember any of what transpired in that dark alley. Si-hoon's heart became tainted, its essence imbued with a demonic color. Kang-woo continued, stating that when Si-hoon opened his eyes, everything would return to normal. He would continue hunting, developing his powers just as he had been. Si-hoon's transformed heart now harbored a demonic presence, a grotesque manifestation with eyes and mouths filled with teeth. Confident in Si-hoon's potential, Kang-woo believed that, together with Tae-soo and Sola, they would form the strongest party ever. As Si-hoon became Kang-woo's subordinate, he would gain access to a portion of his powers, greatly aiding his development. So it's a kind of loan, but it's forced, and you pay with your soul. Classic Demon King shenanigans. Hours later, Si-hoon regained consciousness, his body drenched in a cold sweat as he lay on the floor of the abandoned alley, clutching his chest. He tried to piece together what had happened to him. However, his memory was hazy, and he couldn't recall anything beyond waiting for the bus earlier. Glancing at his phone, he realized it was already 8 p.m., and he couldn't recollect what had occurred in the intervening time. A throbbing headache pounded in his temples whenever he attempted to remember. Frustration and confusion welled up within him as he struggled to understand how he could have blacked out like this. Sihun blamed his own weakness and vowed to become stronger. Thoughts of the Mere Guild, particularly its vice master Kim Young-hoon, consumed his mind as he imagined confronting the contemptible scoundrel with his blade on his throat. Go get your revenge, kid. You're the Demon King's subordinate now. It turned out that Kang-woo had been secretly observing Sihun as he woke up and limped away from the alleyway. He reveled in the success of his soul's subordination, as Sihun was now registered as his subordinate. The system asked Kang-woo if he wanted to issue a command to his new subordinate. He just turned the hero to a slave. Deciding to save it for later, Kang-woo was pleased that he had secured his insurance. All that remained was for Sihun, the hero, to grow stronger. For now, Kang-woo had no intention of exerting his authority over Sihun. He had done all of this purely for insurance purposes. He knew there was no reason to control a dog that didn't bite its owner. You know the potentially most powerful dog there is. Once Sihun's abilities strengthened, his power would be on par with Balak's. This hero's existence was crucial for Kang-woo. With his myriad demon palace still partially sealed and a mysterious demonic order to contend with, Kang-woo couldn't predict when demons might appear at the gates again. He would support Sihun as much as he could. Sihun just had to train hard and become stronger. As he observed Sihun departing, Kang-woo received a call from Cho Dak-yoon, the leader of the Anders Guild. Dak-yoon had some information to pass on to Kang-woo, unsure if it was related to the demonic order but noting the presence of demonic energy. Finally, some good food. According to Dak-yoon, it seemed unintentional and not created by a human. Kang-woo's thoughts immediately turned to demons upon hearing this. He asked Dak-yoon where he had found it. Dak-yoon promptly replied that it was at the rank B gate in Weijiangbu. Kang-woo rose from his position, contemplating the increasing frequency of demons crossing the gates. This was the turn of the B rank gate. The prospect of a demon stronger than a Hellhound appearing, a demon from the second hell, made Kang-woo lick his lips. Even the Hellhound alone had helped him level up significantly, so this next demon might provide the boost he needed to achieve his fifth awakening sooner than expected. Counting XP before they hatch, aren't we? The following day, a train could be seen accelerating towards Weijiangbu Station, with Kang-woo among the passengers. He realized that he needed a car soon. After finishing his business in Weijiangbu, he planned to ask Yeonju for the promised car. While walking, he started researching the monsters inside the B-rank gate he was heading to. Overhearing other players complaining about the gate's strange and restricted access, Kang-woo's attention was caught when they mentioned a mutation. Is this an X-Men crossover? At the heavily guarded B-rank gate, players and the media gathered, expressing their frustration over the entry restriction. The military personnel explained that an unknown monster mutation had occurred, making the gate temporarily inaccessible. The crowd grew more agitated, and the personnel revealed that 10 players had already died due to the mutated monster. The information about the fatalities made the players hesitate to enter. They do not want the smoke. Kang-woo stood at the back, contemplating the alleged monster mutation. He knew what it truly was, a rampaging demon inside the gate. He wondered what kind of demon it could be for the government to take action and forbid entry. The media pressed the security personnel for more information about the monster, but they remained tight-lipped. Eventually, they revealed that the monster resembled a lion, and they were still analyzing it. Kang-woo instantly concluded that it's a Buer, a powerful 5-legged predator from the second hell. It had distinct traits, including its full stomach ability that prevented it from striking preemptively if it consumed 5 preys a day. A monster so OP, it had to be nerfed for the cooldown. If there had already been 10 victims, the Buer must have appeared approximately 2 days ago. Kang-woo found it surprisingly easy this time around. He just needed to toss 5 random monsters to the Buer and kill it when it was full. With the thought of entering the gate, Kang-woo dialed Yeonju's number. She answered the call, clearly annoyed as she was in the middle of an intense workout session. Kang-woo wasted no time and asked for a favor. He explained that he wanted to enter a B-rank gate, but the government had imposed restrictions. Yeonju realized he must be in Weijiangbu's gate already and reluctantly listened to his request. She could beat me up any time. Yeonju caustically questioned what Kang-woo needed this time. Kang-woo assured her that he would pay in full for this favor. Yeonju, concerned for his safety, warned him not to repay her with his death via a mutated monster. Kang-woo confidently reassured her that he wouldn't die easily, which was precisely why she was sponsoring him in the first place. Reluctantly, Yeonju agreed to help and instructed to hand the phone over to the guards. Kang-woo handed his phone to the security personnel at the gate, who was surprised to see the guild leader of a top 5 guild on the line. The crowd and the media took notice of this unexpected turn of events, their attention now focused on Kang-woo. After the call, Kang-woo was granted entry as an investigator of monster mutation. He was required to provide information on the mutated monster if he managed to defeat it. Kang-woo accepted the condition, stating that he would start the investigation immediately and do his best to reassure the uneasy citizens. He truly has that good guy speech perfected. However, before he could proceed, a stern voice called out from the back of the crowd, demanding Kang-woo to wait. Kang-woo turned to see an impressive-looking 6-member party led by a confident blue-haired man. It was Kang Sung-soo from the Mere Guild, a rising star in the field who had been entering B-rank gates just 3 months after becoming a player. Curious if his ponytail guy was famous or something, Kang-woo was surprised when Sung-soo asked if he was the one being sponsored by Red Rose. Sung-soo noticed Kang-woo's gargoyle armor, confirming his assumption. He taunted Kang-woo, questioning the quality of Red Rose's sponsorship since Kang-woo didn't have a party. This guy clearly has what Red Man was with solo hunters and levelers. Maintaining a bright smile, Kang-woo calmly explained that he preferred to work alone and hadn't accepted offers for party members. The Mere party mocked him, stating that he had only been dealing with C-rank gates until recently, and that he was underestimating the challenge of a B-rank gate. Sung-soo leaned in, insulting Kang-woo and claiming that he was destined to die quickly. He belittled Kang-woo's desire for fame in capturing the mutated monster, reminding him that 4th awakening players were not supposed to interfere in other people's business. He should really listen to his own advice. Unfazed, Kang-woo looked at Sung-soo with hidden malice while maintaining a genuine smile. Sung-soo laughed, thinking Kang-woo was mute or scared of him. To their surprise, Kang-woo accepted Sung-soo's proposal for their parties to enter the gate together, with a bloody glint in his eyes. The Mere party found Kang-woo's willingness to be strange and lacked self-respect, expecting more resistance. But little did they know, Kang-woo was already calculating the number of heads in the party. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He needed 5 heads to feed the Buer and trigger its full stomach state. He counts Sung-soo as 6, so there seems to be 1 left over. Concealing his insanely twisted expression, he invites the party to proceed. 5 for the demonic beast, 1 for the demon king. A few moments earlier, we find Sung-soo hidden in an alley, engaged in a phone conversation with Kim Young-hoon, the vice guild master of Mir. Sung-soo excitedly relays the information that he has spotted the player directly scouted and sponsored by Chae Yeon-ju. On the other end of the line, Kim Young-hoon orders Sung-soo to seize the opportunity to humiliate Kang-woo in front of everyone, establishing the superiority of the Mir Guild over the Red Rose Guild. Isn't this the same guy that Sihun despises? It seems that the Demon King and the hero have something in common after all. Returning to the present, Sung-soo is puzzled by Kang-woo's lack of resistance in allowing them to enter the gate. He had planned to humiliate Kang-woo while cameras and reporters capture the scene, but Kang-woo continues to act friendly. Sung-soo himself might be seen as the villain. Caught in a dilemma, Sung-soo realizes that provoking Kang-woo further would only damage the image of the Mir Guild. Consequently, he decides to instruct his party to enter the gate without causing any further commotion. The crowd is taken aback as they witness the unexpected cooperation between the Mir and Red Rose guilds. Internally, Sung-soo ridicules Kang-woo for his apparent cowardice. He fails to comprehend why the Red Rose Guild would sponsor someone like Kang-woo. Meanwhile, the media has already decided on the headline for the day: 2 rival guilds collaborate to capture the mutated monster. Sung-soo sneers at the idea of the man in front of him being merely a pushover. However, Kang-woo's menacing smile is both absurd and terrifying. As they enter the gate, a long and dimly lit hallway stretches out before them. Kang-woo politely suggests merging their forces to capture the mutated monster together. Sung-soo, discarding all pretenses, spits in front of Kang-woo and questions whether he even has any self-esteem. Trash talk is all good, but spitting is a new low. The party members are unable to determine if Kang-woo is pretending to be foolish or if he genuinely is stupid. They had expected there to be something special about someone personally chosen by Chae Yeon-ju, but instead, they see Kang-woo as just another loser. Their derogatory comments about Chae Yeon-ju and the Red Rose Guild continue. They assert that the Red Rose Guild leader is currently inactive, unlike their esteemed vice guild master, Kim Young-hoon, who possesses immense wealth, looks, and talent. Now that's a different level of blazing. They revel in the achievements of the father and son duo from the Mirror Guild, the cornerstones of their organization, comparing them to the Red Rose Guild that recruits individuals like Kangwoo, whom they consider worthless, which highlights the stark contrast. In the background, Kangwoo silently listens, contemplating the Mirror Guild. He recalls how 5 years ago, the guild master and owner of Mirror Electronics, Kim Jae-hyun, awakened alongside his son during a gate incident. With financial support from Mirror Electronics, they swiftly ascended the ranks as a ranker and established the Mirror Guild. While large guilds are known to generate immense profits, Mirror, already a successful conglomerate, stands at the pinnacle of wealth. Imagine if Bill Gates started fighting monsters and leveling up to establish the Microsoft Guild. Given this context, Kangwoo entertains the idea of pitting Mirror against Red Rose, waiting for both guilds to destroy each other so he can reap the rewards. However, he dismisses the thought for now, recognizing Chaeyeonju's continued value to him. There's no point in killing the goose that lays golden eggs, only a fool would do such a thing. Above all, Kangwoo understands that Red Rose will remain useful. If he must cut something open, the choice is evident as he mischievously gazes at Sungsu and the party standing before him. The area at Sungsu grows increasingly annoyed by the absence of the monster. Kangwoo suggests initiating area searches to locate it. Seizing the opportunity, Sungsu insults Kangwoo as they walk aimlessly without any results. Kangwoo, however, laughs it off lightly, unfazed by the insults. As the party continues to engage in Red Rose and Chaeyeonju slander, Kangwoo devises his plan from the shadows. He decides to gradually search the area, activating his omniscient power, which rapidly extends throughout the dark hallway, unnoticed by the others. In an instant, he detects the presence of the viewer lurking just behind the nearby wall. He literally activated wall hacks to find mobs. Realizing that the demonic beast is still on the move and hasn't consumed its prey limit, Kangwoo breathes a sigh of relief and sets his plan in motion. He activates the authority of temptation, causing a white form of demonic energy to permeate the surroundings. Even the party members in front of Kangwoo sense an inexplicably appetizing aroma. Confused by the smell emanating from the labyrinth-like environment, the perceptive tank urges everyone to remain quiet for a moment. Kangwoo knows that the viewer should be able to smell the temptation from afar. The party members quickly notice something approaching, its footsteps far from those of an ordinary monster. It's just a kitty cat, nothing to worry about. They swiftly assume their battle positions, ready to confront the mutated monster. Sungsu sternly reminds Kangwoo to stay in the corner, warning him not to interfere while they capture the monster. Kangwoo mocks Sungsu, remarking on his expertise in attracting death flags. Sungsu glares angrily at the once meek Kangwoo. In a twisted and mocking tone, Kangwoo reminds Sungsu that scoundrels like him are bound to meet their demise swiftly. Just as Sungsu is about to confront Kangwoo, the wall beside them shatters, and one of the party members is impaled by the monster's massive, razor-sharp blade. The formerly cocky Sungsu can hardly believe his eyes. The viewer exudes a savage and menacing aura as their teammate was impaled, drenched in blood from the vicious attack. Frozen in fear, the party members are petrified by the incomprehensible monster before them. A thunderous roar resonates, leaving no doubt that the viewer didn't come here to play. That's more than just a kitty cat. Meanwhile, Kangwoo stands comfortably in his position, pleased with the progress as the viewer's meal count increases. Sungsu quickly regains his composure and commands the party to focus and assume battle formation. They unleash a barrage of powerful arrows and spells at the monster, but the viewer adeptly evades every attack. Panic sets in as Sungsu orders everyone to hold their positions once again. Just then, another party member falls victim to the viewer's lethal blade, and Sungsu helplessly stares into the monster's eyes. The cloaked party member becomes the viewer's second course. It's the Mirror Guild buffet, just bring your own blade. Kangwoo watches patiently from a higher vantage point, relishing the ongoing count as the viewer claims 2 more lives of the attacking members. The remaining party member, excluding Sungsu, pleads for help, gazing helplessly at the brutality of the monster. Meanwhile, Kangwoo remains unmoved, fully aware that his count has reached 4. Sungsu clenches his teeth and confronts the monster. It's come down to this. He channels every ounce of energy in his body, unleashing his final, desperate attack on the beast. With a blink of an eye, he closes in on the demonic creature, surrounded by purple lightning crackling from his body and spear. He unleashes his most powerful attack, the single flash. Yet, the formidable viewer nonchalantly counters his desperate onslaught. Sungsu is sent hurtling into the walls, defeated by the hellish force that is the viewer. Better luck next time, buddy. You're not Zenitsu. Kangwoo's satisfaction reaches its peak as he counts 5 lifeless bodies inside the viewer's stomach. The last surviving party member becomes the monster's dessert, concluding its substantial meal. The viewer savored its final dish while Sungsu lay in an embarrassing position against the wall, traumatized by witnessing his squad effortlessly wiped out by the monster. Kangwoo celebrated as the viewer reached its full stomach state after devouring its 5th meal. Sungsu, defeated and flabbergasted, couldn't believe what he was seeing. Walking atop the monstrous beast that had consumed 5 promising rookies of the Mirror Guild, Kangwoo appeared to have tamed the monstrosity itself. He didn't have to go so hard on the flex like that. He explained to the traumatized Sungsu that the viewer only needed to consume 5 preys in a day to reach its full stomach state. Once that happened, it would remain still unless provoked. Sungsu couldn't believe he was hearing this from someone he had initially dismissed as another loser. Kangwoo explained the next step, activating the authority of the dark spear in one hand and the authority of hellfire in the other, launching a powerful attack to kill the beast in one shot. With Sungsu watching in disbelief, Kangwoo forcefully merged the 2 demonic energies in his hands. He needed to concentrate harder to use multiple powers simultaneously. Slowly but surely, the 2 energies began to coalesce and form something new. It's a more badass Rasengan. Kangwoo successfully merged his powers, witnessing the fusion of the heat of hellfire and the sharpness of the dark spear. It resulted in the creation of the Biden, a 2-pronged dark spear with a hellfire blade materializing in Kangwoo's hand. Pushing his demonic energy to the limit, Kangwoo sensed that he had acquired the S-rank skill Biden, granting him more precise control of the registered skill. With determination, he plunged the beautifully mixed demonic weapon into the massive viewer, causing it to growl in pain and wake up from its slumber, writhing in agony. An explosion erupted, launching the already defeated Sungsu into the air. Confidently, Kangwoo walked through the aftermath of the explosion, informed that he had successfully defeated the B-rank Crack's fragment, raising his level by 6. Now at level 40, Kangwoo's 5th awakening had been unlocked. His level up bonus stat limit had been reached, increasing his demonic energy stat by 7. As Kangwoo stood before the lifeless corpse of the viewer, his demonic energy stat reached 60, fulfilling one condition for the extreme demonic delay. Reading the term extreme demonic delay, Kangwoo couldn't help but feel like he was in a martial arts novel. The description indicated that it was the first stage toward becoming a demonic god, and he had already fulfilled one of the 3 conditions. Kangwoo knew that this would grant him enormous strength in the long run. Despite spending the past 10,000 years in literal hell, he had never heard of these terms before. He realized that if he continued leveling up his stats as a player, he could surpass his power as the demon king of the 9th circle of hell, and he would become a demonic god. Though Kangwoo believed his greed for power was over, old habits from his demon days died hard. With that in mind, he proceeded to consume the viewer's corpse, activating the authority of gluttony as his specters of power wrapped around the gigantic body of the beast, manifesting massive limbs that seemed to drive it to hell. As an investigator, Kangwoo should have preserved the monster's corpse, but the allure of the demonic energy in front of him was too tempting. His demonic energy increased by 4. Satisfied with the substantial amount of demonic energy obtained from the demonic monster, Kangwoo was interrupted by the pathetic Sungsu. It really is a talent nurtured by a top-tier guild for surviving. Cockroaches are truly resilient. Kangwoo assures Sungsu that he has no intention of killing him, mentioning that he still has a role to fulfill. Kangwoo then questions Sungsu about who has been ordering him to provoke him, suspecting that someone else is behind these actions. Sungsu initially remains silent, but Kangwoo resorts to physical force by kicking him in the stomach and pinning him against the wall. Sungsu eventually confesses that it was Kim Young who ordered him, driven by his resentment towards the Red Rose Guild after being rejected by Chaeyeonju. Kangwoo is taken aback by the pettiness of the situation. Sungsu reveals that the Mirror Guild wants to establish superiority over the Red Rose Guild. Kangwoo asks for a photo of Young-hoon and notices his striking resemblance to the hero Kim Si-hoon. Sungsu apologized for involving him in his boss's scheme for revenge. Kangwoo reassured him that it was in the past and that Sungsu still had one more role to fulfill. With a bright and wholesome smile, Kangwoo playfully told Sungsu that it would be difficult and might even be good for him. When Kangwoo smiles, bad things happen. Exiting the gate, Kangwoo assisted Sungsu on his shoulders, attracting a swarm of players and media. Reporters bombarded them with questions about the monster, their party, and the gate. Amidst the incessant inquiries, Kangwoo acted out a plea for help, screaming for an ambulance for the injured Mr. Sungsu, whose face was even more battered than before. Gently laying Sungsu down, Kangwoo began conversing with reporters. He claimed that Sungsu had fought the mutated monster, and when asked about the other party members, he wore a pained expression and revealed that only the two of them survived. The revelation shocked the media, considering involving the Hwarang course. However, Kangwoo dismissed the need for further force. As Sungsu tried to scream for help, Kangwoo silenced him, praising him as a hero and declaring that he had saved Kangwoo's life by defeating the mutated monster. When asked for more details, Kangwoo complied, recounting their entrance into a dungeon-like area filled with stifling murderous intent. They noticed the monster lurking near the gate's entrance, which didn't belong to a B-rank gate. They initially thought about fleeing but decided to stand their ground, realizing the monster would harm civilians if it escaped. The master storyteller himself. Kangwoo confirmed that the initial reports accurately described the horrific beast that swiftly eliminated their party. When the situation grew dire, Sungsu pleaded for Kangwoo to run while he faced the mutated monster alone. Unable to flee, Kangwoo stayed until the battle concluded, emphasizing its brutality. After the fight, Sungsu continued muttering the names of his fallen party members until he lost consciousness. Kangwoo gestured for Sungsu to save his breath, assuring him that help was on the way. Reporters questioned why Sungsu had behaved aggressively toward Kangwoo if he was so chivalrous. Kangwoo cleverly twisted it, suggesting that Sungsu was overly concerned about him as a newly selected player of the Red Rose Guild. To conclude his performance, Kangwoo shed tears and proclaimed the battered Sungsu as his savior and the true hero of their time. Get this man an Oscars or something. Countless newspapers covered Kangwoo's heartwarming story, leading to 30 million won in donations from civilians. However, Sungsu was labeled as the hero who never woke up, as his cerebral hemorrhaging left him in a vegetative state. It's the loss of another star. You either die a villain or become a vegetable hero. Chai Yeonju can be seen sitting in a meeting room as she reads the news article about Sungsu. No matter which way she looks at it, the injuries sustained by the guy were more consistent with the beating, rather than a battle with a monster. She wonders what in the world Kangwoo was doing these days. She might just be raising a tiger cub. It's already a full-grown tiger boss. A beautiful older woman can be seen sitting across Yeonju. She remarks that Yeonju's rookie is cute while being sly as a fox in front of the reporters. This is the Samurai Guild master, Jang Kyungju. Add her to the mommy list. Yeonju clarified that Kangwoo was not a rookie at all as she tried to drive away Yeonju, calling her an old woman. This enraged the beautiful guild master. They discussed that the appearance of this demonic monster is probably the doing of the demonic order as she tried to drive away Yeonju, calling her an old woman. This enraged the beautiful guild master. They discussed that the appearance of this demonic monster is probably the doing of the demonic order. It's only a matter of time before the public catch up with this information as the order is becoming more active than ever before. After the day of the cataclysm, peace was only possible after the establishment of the big 5 guilds. If the masses find out that a cult that does human sacrifice threatens that peace, civilization will once again be plunged into chaos. When asked about the Red Rose's stance on the situation, a hint of bloodthirst can be seen emanating from the fierce Yeonju. Kangwoo barged into the room, surprised to When asked about the Red Rose's stance on the situation, a hint of bloodthirst can be seen emanating from the fierce Yeonju. Kangwoo barged into the room, surprised to see that there was a guest over. The Samurai Guild master just introduced herself as Yeonju's friend in a carefree manner. She postured to leave as Kangwoo assured her that he'll just come back later so they should continue their chat. Since she's already done with business, she started to head out, and Kangwoo felt some pressure as she walked by him. She lightly admonished Kangwoo for calling her a lady as if she's old, to which Kangwoo tried to apologize. The Samurai Guild master left the room with a worried look painted on her face. Yeonju just shrugged off the lady as someone she knows when Kangwoo asked who that was. She slid an S-rank gate permit that Kangwoo requested earlier. He was extremely pleased with the power of Red Rose for processing this so quickly. S-rank speedrun record secured. Yeonju warned Kangwoo to not even think about hunting in an S-rank gate. Kangwoo changed the subject by revealing that he heard the previous conversation that Yeonju was having earlier. Even though it's classified information, she might as well just inform Kangwoo anyway. Kangwoo tried the tea as they continued discussing the demonic order. Yeonju described them as mentally insane villains who offer up live human sacrifices, and they're becoming too active as of late. The guilds still don't know when the order was formed or how big they are, so the guilds and the government are cooperating to find out more regarding the demonic order. It seems like the rest of the 5 guilds know of this existence, but the Red Rose is the only guild that is heavily invested in the investigation. When Kangwoo asked why that is, Yeonju explained that this is not volunteer work. They are guaranteed a handsome reward in exchange for defeating the order, but it's not solely because of that. The numerous guild members she has sent to investigate the order have been sacrificed. There's no way that Yeonju would leave such a vile organization alone. Just based on her hatred alone, Kangwoo can already deduce that the damage done by the order is massive. Kangwoo is witnessing a true rancor. You can sense the palpable murderous intent just by looking at her. He knows that this woman in front of him is incredibly powerful. It's enough to make him want to fight her right now. Kangwoo got straight to the point and asked if this was his mission. Yeonju confirmed they may not have enough details, but the order is too powerful to be considered just a cult. Yeonju's going to need strong players going forward. She gave Kangwoo the opportunity to back out now if he wants, but she urged him to join her crusade. Kangwoo picked up the S-rank player card as he reassures her not to worry. Since she helped him out immensely already, he's at least going to fulfill his duty. Yeonju lets out a rare smile at Kangwoo's reply. Hit her with that revenge riz. Kangwoo was celebrating inwardly to himself. He has truly hit the jackpot. The more traces they find, the more demonic energy he can consume. Yeonju informed him that they'll keep an open contact regarding any information about the demonic energy as Kangwoo will start assisting them with the investigation. Finishing the conversation, she reiterated once again not to hunt in the S-rank gate. A few moments later, we can see Kangwoo driving off with his new car as he's bound for Waseo. He's enjoying the convenience of his new personal vehicle. S-rank and a new car, he's living good now. He looked at his status window displaying his 5th awakening special ability, the rank S Master of Demons. With this skill, he can summon a demon from another dimension. Depending on the demonic energy used, a powerful demon can be summoned. The summoned demon will recognize the caster as its master, and the skill has a 3-month cooldown. Let's praise the gacha gods for a 5-star pull. Kangwoo needs to make sure to summon a powerful demon given the long cooldown. If his hypothesis is correct, the gates act as a bridge to another dimension outside of Earth. The higher the rank of the gate, the more powerful beings can cross. This was the case with the demons of hell known as Crack's Fragments. To put it simply, the higher the rank of the gate, the more powerful the summoned demon will be. That's when he arrived at his destination. The place where he'll be using his ability is obviously what's in front of him. An S-rank gate. This is the tightly secured Uwon S-rank gate entrance, the Hwarang base camp number 1. Kangwoo's new player card was verified at the security check, and the personnel started the process of opening the gate. Kangwoo was sure that without the help of the Red Rose, he couldn't even attempt to enter this gate. After the extensive procedure of opening, Kangwoo entered the legendary S-rank gate. He was transported to a beach facing a vast ocean with beautiful rock formations and mysterious rune engravings. He remarks that this place would be a great vacation spot if it weren't for the S-rank monsters. This is a very different kind of beach episode. He finds a good spot in the middle of the beach and took a seat on the sand. If he could summon a Cerberus, it would be a great success as it's above the ranks of the 3rd hell. But regardless of which demon he summons, he'll gain a huge advantage. With that, Kangwoo concentrated as he begins casting his ability. A massive amount of demonic energy coalesced in Kangwoo's body. He struggled to concentrate as much energy as he can to maximize the ability. A massive portal was beginning to take form above his head as a crack in the fabric of reality started to materialize. With the final push, Kangwoo persisted. The sky opened in majestic colors as he successfully created a crack to complete the summon. Because of his myriad demon palace, he was notified that he has created a deeper crack. All Kangwoo saw was a bright green light above. So far, all the gates he's seen had a blue hue. Another notification informed him that due to the Gaia system malfunction, he just contacted the other world. A dimensional gate to the continent of Eleanor has been opened. Kangwoo hoped that nothing's wrong as he's unfamiliar with all these notifications. That's when Kangwoo can finally heave a sigh of relief as the summoning has succeeded. He tried hard to open his eyes to the bright green light, and he was confused at what he's seeing in front of him. The demon that he just summoned is a gargantuan and bloody S-rank dragon named Echidna, the hatchling daughter of the demon dragon Kargath. She is now successfully registered as Kangwoo's summoned demon. That's a legendary pull if I ever saw one. Kangwoo stared incredulously at the gigantic figure of a dragon in front of him, but there was something evidently wrong with the state of the majestic beast. She was injured and bloodied as she crashed down from the crack. That's when Kangwoo started hearing strange and foreign voices following his summoning. He looked up to see the source of these unfamiliar voices. A dwarf, a woman garbed in a mage's cloak, an elven archer, a heavily armored paladin with a massive shield, and a swordsman with a noble aura came out from the same portal he had just created. The strange group continued conversing in their own language as Kangwoo stood at the back, confused by the development of this bizarre event. Who are these people, and what in the world are they so stressed about? Kangwoo noted that their attire wasn't quite what he was used to seeing in Korea. These guys actually looked like they had popped out of a genuine fantasy world. Imagine being so OP that you can summon a whole different anime. He needed to understand what they were saying and what was happening, so he started gathering demonic energy once again. There was a power that allowed Kangwoo to communicate with those who did not speak the same language. The authority of communication, the authority of Google Translate, is too strong. A demonic phantom materialized as Kangwoo activated his convenient skill, and he started to understand what the group in front of him was saying. The swordsman named Reynolds seemed agitated as the elven girl tried to calm him down. The elven archer continued, stating that the dragon was about to die, so they didn't need to worry about it anymore. Reynolds heaved a sigh of relief at the thought that the dragon would not be able to harm anyone anymore. That's when Kangwoo interjected and asked the group of strangers who they were. The noble swordsman asked if Kangwoo was alright after the dragon's descent and proudly introduced himself as Reynold von Arnon, the third prince of the Arnon Empire. Reynold also asked Kangwoo who he was, and Kangwoo became even more confused. He had never heard of the continent of Eleanor or the Arnon Empire. And now he was getting a better look. He noticed the elf and the dwarf. This only reaffirmed Kangwoo's hypothesis that this group might actually come from another world. Maybe they're Lord of the Rings cosplayers. The demonic dragon that he had just summoned continued to struggle for breath. It was clear that she was on her last legs. Kangwoo was really confused by this chain of events, but he approached the dragon while manifesting demonic energy in his hands. No matter what happened, he would not allow the demon he had just summoned to die easily. With a powerful touch, he activated the authority of resurrection on his summon. Remarkable power started to flow throughout the body of the dragon, and wounds and bruises rapidly started to heal as if they didn't exist in the first place. That's his most broken power so far. Seeing this sight, Reynold angrily shouted at the man in front of him, healing and resurrecting the dragon they had just fought tooth and nail to slay. That's when the dragon asked Kangwoo if he was her master. She thanked Kangwoo for treating her, and he just shrugged it off like it was a given. The dragon, Echidna, apologized for showing up injured and incapacitated after her summoning. Kangwoo was surprised that they were already communicating directly through thoughts. It was a sign that she had already acknowledged him as the true master. Kangwoo calmed her down, reaffirming that everything was okay. As he observed the injury sustained by his new companion, Reynolds' sword was already near his neck, with every weapon of the party locked onto him. Reynold was furious as he realized that this man was the demon dragon's master. Kangwoo calmly asked the noble why they were trying to kill Echidna. Reynold hatefully responded that this creature was an evil demon dragon. He insisted that this beast was the cause of the disastrous drought and plague. Countless citizens of the empire had lost their lives because of this demon dragon and its magic. Echidna sincerely denied these allegations, and Kangwoo backed up her words. Kangwoo tried to reason with the prince. If she really had the power to cause an atmospheric phenomenon like a drought, her existence would be closer to that of a god, and they wouldn't even be able to touch her, let alone defeat her. There would be no way she would be wounded to the point that she was gasping for life like this. Did Kangwoo just make a reasonable argument? As if he didn't hear Kangwoo, Reynold made up his mind that Echidna was simply a vile beast. Kangwoo already knew that this guy would be bothersome as he wasn't listening to reason anymore. Reynold confidently vowed to slay Echidna in order to save the suffering citizens of the empire, and the whole party took up their positions. Kangwoo hated stubborn fools like this guy, people who only cared about their own justice and shut their eyes and ears to those who opposed them. Same brother, same. So Kangwoo gathered a massive amount of demonic energy in his hands and promptly activated the authority of explosion. The whole party was sent flying back with the immense power of Kangwoo's sudden attack. Perhaps Reynold and his party were right. Maybe Echidna did start a drought and a plague to destroy the Arnon Empire. So what? Kangwoo did not care. He vowed that regardless of what Echidna may have done, she was now his familiar. And he had absolutely no intention of giving up on this familiar that he had just summoned. Reynold tried to insult and curse Kangwoo for being demonic, but Kangwoo simply replied that he genuinely was a real one, a real demon. That's a clapback. Reynold's hatred reached its peak as he locked onto Kangwoo like he was his mortal enemy. He pledged to the suffering citizens of the Arnon Empire that he, Reynold von Arnon, would vanquish Kangwoo no matter what. His party had mixed reactions to this solemn vow. The paladin even reassured him that they had already defeated a dragon, so there was no way they wouldn't be able to defeat a mere demon. Kangwoo found this valiant act seriously ridiculous. He thought that this group might just be tripping or something. Suddenly, Echidna tried to warn him about this group. Reynold closed the distance and brandished his blade toward Kangwoo with killing intent. Kangwoo promptly responded with his demonic energy, creating a massive explosion that separated them and created a safe distance. Kangwoo had taken out his authority of the blade, concluding that Reynolds' attack just now was not something he could simply block. It was a good thing he had the gargoyle armor equipped. He needed to take this fight somewhere else. With a powerful stomp of his foot, he once again activated the authority of explosion. The party was sent flying into the air as Kangwoo raised the ground itself with his explosive power. He swiftly followed this up with an adaptation skill for the authority of explosion. Multiple circular eyes of explosion started to appear mid-air around the whole party. Kangwoo activated the heat wave downpour as the circular eyes rained down on the group, resembling an explosive meteor shower. The paladin tried his best to deflect the erratic attack as he activated his iron wall skill. He might effectively block the meteors from the front, but multiple meteors were already on their way from his rear. He looked back and briefly saw the meteors inches away from him before he was engulfed by a massive explosion. Reynold desperately called out to the paladin named Hans. He should have invested for 2 shields, but before they could even process what happened to Hans, Kangwoo was already within striking distance of Reynold with his authority of the blade drawn. The prince did not expect Kangwoo to be this fast. Kangwoo chased after the noble using the debris mid-air as platforms. They landed on the ground as Kangwoo suddenly noticed a gust quickly forming on Reynolds' blade. He proudly brandished his sword and shouted his technique, Arnon Swordsmanship, Chapter 1, Blade Storm. The mighty gust engulfed Kangwoo as the technique landed. Kangwoo didn't waste a second and activated the authority of Iron Wall, effectively defending against Reynolds' impressive attack. He landed a kick on the prince, sending him flying a few meters back. He couldn't help but wonder why his recent opponents had been shouting their skill names in the middle of the fight, though he was grateful for that. Free info was always welcome. Reynold had already recovered and was already in Kangwoo's face as he tried to cut him with his blade of light. Kangwoo was light on his feet as he gracefully dodged the full-powered attack to the side. Reynold was equally persistent and angry as he quickly redirected his attacks toward the untouchable Kangwoo. He once again let out a massive swing with a powerful gust, but Kangwoo was already privy to this combination, so he nonchalantly prepared for the impact. Reynolds' sword swung down to the ground, and a massive explosion of dust obscured the view. But Kangwoo was already hopping away out of the damage area. He admitted that Reynold was truly strong. If he didn't have his 5th awakening, it would have been dangerous. The prince gloated about how strong his techniques were, but Kangwoo had already found his weakness. He was too honest. Kangwoo charged toward Reynold as he shouted blade slash loudly. The noble hero readied himself for the blade slash by raising his sword for defense, but instead of a slash, a kick to the side of Reynolds' leg was unleashed. A sharp pain attacked Reynolds' system. He fell for the classic and got his kneecap broken. Ouch. He shivered in pain and in disbelief as Kangwoo clearly shouted blade slash but kicked him instead. Kangwoo responded with his classic malicious smile as he insulted Reynolds for being extremely stupid. Foul play and trash talk. That's our boy. The party couldn't help but worry for their shivering prince. Reynolds warned them to run away. He knew they couldn't win like this. Kangwoo was too strong. Even Kangwoo himself knew that running away was the group's only option. As soon as he took away the prince's leg, it was over. The mage called out to Reynolds, insisting that they couldn't leave him behind. Reynolds continued to plead with his party to flee. He even valiantly declared that the Arnon Empire was now in their hands. Kangwoo delivered another kick as he insulted the prince for his disgraceful state. Kangwoo looked at Reynolds sprawled on the ground and decided to finish the job. To him, all battles progressed this way. No sympathy, no mercy, no anger, only fighting and killing for survival. In hell, emotions were considered a luxury. He got the hellish dog in him. As Kangwoo prepared to drive his blade towards Reynolds, the mage pleaded and positioned herself in front of the prince. She begged Kangwoo to take her instead of Reynolds. If he died, everything would be lost. Reynolds was touched by the actions of this woman named Rena. She cried for the hope of the Arnon citizens and the man she loved. In such unfortunate timing, she confessed her feelings. She vowed to do anything Kangwoo wanted just to spare the prince's life. Kangwoo simply responded with a playful rejection. He mocked everything Rena had just said. He didn't care if the prince died. This whole thing had nothing to do with him. Kangwoo asked the terrified party if he looked like he cared even a tiny bit. The shivering prince versus the Giga Chad Demon King. They were the ones who started this in the first place. He knew he wouldn't have been spared if he were in their shoes. He lectured them, saying that if they raised their weapons to kill, they should also be prepared to die. Kangwoo mocked them with disgust on his face, telling them to take their emotions to a soap opera. Reynolds and Rena couldn't believe the words coming out of Kangwoo's mouth. They called him dirty and nasty. But wasn't teaming up on someone usually considered nasty, and using feats in a fight was common knowledge. Kangwoo was already fed up with this ridiculous party as he raised his blade. He reassured them that he would send them off painlessly with one blow, called him one stab man. But suddenly, he was interrupted by notifications confirming that other beings had crossed over the gate, so the Gaia system would be dealing with the foreign intruders. The entire Arnon party started glitching out as if they were being transported elsewhere, surprising Kangwoo. He quickly realized what was happening and mustered his fastest speed. He didn't want to let them escape. His eyes were fixated on those expensive-looking pieces of equipment. They were supposed to be his trophies. Since they were from another world, it wouldn't cause him any trouble if he eliminated them. He didn't want to let go of such a lucky find. But he was too late. The Gaia system successfully expelled the foreign invaders. The loop got disconnected. Kangwoo's blade struck nothing but the ground. He couldn't believe that he had come so close without any hitches. But once again, the Gaia system had ruined his plans. Considering these notifications, Kangwoo panicked as he scanned the area for what he had originally come for. He let out a sigh of relief as he looked down from the cliff and saw his familiar Echidna still there. Gracefully, he jumped off the cliff, wondering once again what in the world the Gaia system was. Perhaps it was a defensive barrier meant to block foreign invaders. He recalled encountering the malfunctioning Gaia system when he was crossing over to Earth. He thought that the system might still be malfunctioning to this day. Kangwoo wondered if it had something to do with the demons from hell that had been appearing recently. The monsters had started to appear around 2 to 3 weeks ago. When Kangwoo thought about the time frame, something crossed his mind. The demonic monsters had appeared around the same time as his crossover. No matter how you looked at it, he was in the middle of all these events. All he had wanted was to escape hell and enjoy some kimchi stew. He panicked, not knowing how to untangle this web of happenings. That's when Echidna called out to him, asking if the party that had injured her had retreated. Kangwoo confirmed, and his familiar thanked him. He had no reason to dwell on something he didn't have the answers to, so he pushed the thought of the Gaia system to the back of his mind for now. He instructed Echidna to stay put as he continued the healing process. The dragon continued to sincerely thank him for taking care of her. Since Echidna was a gigantic dragon, Kangwoo asked her if she could control her size at all. She promptly complied with her master's inquiry. Additionally, Kangwoo asked her about the continent of Eleanor. According to Echidna, it was a completely different world that revolved around the Arnon Empire. They used swords and magic, and it was a world that had elves, monsters, and dragons like her. They got that generic fantasy continent on lock. Echidna had already transformed into her admirable miniature form as Kangwoo and she exited the gate, now en route to somewhere else in his car. Kangwoo wondered if all the monsters, aside from the demons, came from the continent of Eleanor. This theory seemed plausible. The admirable miniature Echidna interrupted his thoughts, asking him where they were going. He responded that they were going home to a residence. Echidna was unfamiliar with the word residence, though she thought it might be Kangwoo's nest. Kangwoo didn't mind the visual of him and Sola nesting together. It's just like me for real. Echidna was delighted that Kangwoo was inviting her to his nest. She sincerely thanked her new master, as it had been a while since she had visited someone else's nest. It turned out that the dragon had been alone for a long time. She had originally lived with her father as a small, helpless dragon until he disappeared. Since then, she had only read books in the lair by herself. She felt lonely on her own. Then suddenly, someone came into her home, and that was Reynolds. She trembled and cried in Kangwoo's lap as she swore to her master that she really hadn't done anything. She hadn't caused the drought or the plague. She kept telling the party that it wasn't her, but they didn't believe her. The tiny dragon meekly asked Kangwoo if he believed her. "We believe you, little dragon." Kangwoo recognized this trembling and gaze. He knew this state all too well. He had been the exact same. He thought back to his earliest memories growing up in an orphanage. It had been a luxury to even hope to meet his parents, but he didn't care who they were as long as they could love him. All he had wanted was to be cared for and have his existence validated, right in the fields. He remembered telling Reynolds and his party to take their emotions to a soap opera, but here he was. He turned to Echidna and solemnly vowed that even if the rest of the world condemned her, he would be there to believe in her. Kangwoo wiped away the tears of his newfound familiar as he stared at the adorable dragon tenderly. Echidna repeated the name O Kangwoo and promised to never forget it. A few moments later, Sola could be seen having a cuteness overload while hugging the adorable miniature dragon, Echidna. Kangwoo sat across the table, munching on kimchi stew as usual. He hadn't expected Sola to be so openly approving of him having a monster familiar. Sola just couldn't resist Echidna's cuteness. She swore that anything cute could do no wrong. She speaking nothing but facts. Echidna tried her best to get out of Sola's grasp as she clung to Kangwoo like a scared child. It turned out that Sola and the rest of the party had been progressing and leveling up quickly. They should soon be able to have their third awakenings and gain access to C-rank gates. Sola thanked Kangwoo for introducing her to such a great party and for providing significant guidance. She continued, saying that if it weren't for Kangwoo, she couldn't even dream of having a life like the one she had now. The two shared a genuine moment of appreciation for each other at the dining table. Kangwoo wondered if this was what it was like to be loved. It certainly wasn't a bad feeling at all. Sola capped off the night by asking Kangwoo if Echidna could sleep with her tonight. The jealous Kangwoo complied. We see Kangwoo miserably waking up from his sleep as the sun peeks through his window. With bags under his eyes, he wonders why he feels more tired instead of rested today. This is just us every single morning. He came to the kitchen where the beautiful Sola greeted him good morning as she carried the newly cooked breakfast. She noted that Kangwoo woke up later than usual today. He feels strangely lethargic this morning, worrying Sola that he might be sick. With a stretch, Kangwoo reaffirmed that he's fine. That's when someone unfamiliar asked Kangwoo if he slept well. Kangwoo sensed that something is off at this dining table. He was shocked at the sight of a child with white hair and a single horn. Sola was serving the human form of Echidna's cereal for breakfast. It seems like Echidna is capable of more than just changing her size. She can also alter her appearance. But Echidna herself is not sure. All she recalls is feeling a strange sensation while she was sleeping last night. When she woke up, her appearance had already changed to that of a human child. Kangwoo is pretty sure that it has something to do with the fact that he feels tired right now. He fears that her powers were sealed like his. It would be troublesome if she can't change back. Dragon nurse? So he asked his familiar if she can turn back to her original form. Echidna confirmed in a lively manner as she got up from her seat and a green aura started emanating from her. The adorable dragon child focused her intent on transforming back to her original form. Kangwoo was dumbfounded that this child is so eager to prove herself. He realized that he made a mistake by asking, as Echidna's wings started to come out and the table and the whole apartment began to shake with the power of Echidna's transformation. She began roaring like a demonic beast and completely ruined the place before she was stopped. Sola's apartment is so prone to damages. First her brother, now Echidna. A few moments later, the three sat in the living room surrounded by wrecked furniture and walls. Echidna was crying as she sincerely apologized for causing Sola and Kangwoo trouble. Sola comforted her, saying it's alright since she didn't know any better. It seems like Echidna didn't have any problems with transforming. Sola gently advised the child not to transform at home next time. Kangwoo knows that she needs to get used to human life. It seems like this dragon was influenced by him when she became his familiar. Echidna adorably asked Sola if she should bring a boulder to fix up their nest. She's too cute. It seems like she has no problems using the human language either. When it comes to appearance, her human form is better. He must take her to places with him. Sola changed the subject by suggesting they go shopping to get some clothes while the repairman comes by and fixes the place. The clothes from her childhood are too old and do not fit Echidna well. She wants to go to a big department store nearby. When asked if Kangwoo wants to tag along, Echidna was elated and shining with anticipation as she urged her master to join them shopping. Unfortunately, it might be a bit tricky for Kangwoo. It turns out that he's not going for a hunt today, but he can't join them at the department store either. He needs to go somewhere else. We see the massive headquarters of the Red Rose Guild, and Kangwoo's new car is parked outside. He's in a meeting room, briefing Yeonju about everything that happened inside the S-rank gate. from summoning a dragon as a familiar to the Eleanor Party and even the Gaia system. Yanju recounts all of this as Kangwoo happily stares at his phone. Bro just casually dropping insane lore like it's nothing. Yanju even knows that Echidna has turned into a human, and Kangwoo was asking for an ID for her. Kangwoo was surprised that the guild leader is taking in all this information well. Even the influential Yanju has no idea what in the world the Gaia system is. Kangwoo is still on his phone, texting Sola, as she sends pictures of Echidna with her adorable new wardrobe. Yanju still cannot believe that Kangwoo summoned a dragon as a familiar. She really cannot grasp Kangwoo's identity. At some point, Yanju just accepted the fact that she offered her hand to a wild card. As expected of the powerful guild, Yanju will take care of the ID for Echidna. After that is settled, Kangwoo proceeds to cheerfully ask for another favor. As he states what he needs, someone enters the door. Kangwoo instantly recognizes this imposing voice. It's the Huarang Corps Commander, Baek Huiyan. She needs to talk to Yanju about something. Huiyan apologizes for intruding when she sees Kangwoo sitting across from the Red Rose Guild leader. She asks if this is the rookie that the Red Rose has been sponsoring as Kangwoo's mind reels, thinking if he has done anything wrong recently. Yanju clarifies that Kangwoo is not a member of the guild, but they're in a cooperative relationship. Baek Huiyan formally introduces herself, and Kangwoo does the same. He thinks that it might be problematic to have the Red Rose behind him now. Huiyan recalls that this was the guy that she personally inspected right outside his C-rank gate a few days ago. Yanju immediately assumes the worst when Huiyan recognizes Kangwoo. She thinks that he might have beaten up a Huarang Corps officer or something. Huiyan defends Kangwoo, as she has the impression that he's a polite and righteous young man from their brief interaction. Yanju cannot believe that these adjectives are coming out of the dignified commander's mouth. He's in boys. Yanju can't take it anymore and asks Kangwoo to get to the point of his favor. Kangwoo promptly asks her for an official S-rank entrance pass. This favor flabbergasts both Yanju and Huiyan. Yanju feels a headache coming on upon hearing that this guy wants to truly hunt in an S-rank gate this time around. Kangwoo reassures her that it might be dangerous by himself, but he has a familiar now. New pet, new gate. She seriously asks him if he knows what he's getting into and what appears in the Suwon S-rank gate. Kangwoo confidently answers that he knows what he's doing. The ferocious wyverns, the stalwart mountain giants, the savage giant ogres, and the most fearsome of them all, the El Cuero. Yanju warns that even if Kangwoo were to hunt in the gate, he must not go near the lake for any reason at all. Kangwoo reassures her once again that he'll be fine as Baek Huiyan is shocked and confused by the conversation happening in front of her. The mention of an S-rank gate and Kangwoo together is incredulous to her. She knows that this guy was hunting a C-rank gate just a few weeks ago. Yanju interjects that there was just a complicated situation, but Kangwoo's abilities can be trusted. He has that Red Rose approval stamp. Huiyan contemplates if Kangwoo has been hiding his identity all along. But even if that's the case, even national rankers avoid hunting at the S-rank gate. Kangwoo is pleased with the attention as Huiyan praises him for being quite a player. With that, Kangwoo prepares to take his leave. Yanju confirms to him that he'll be able to hunt at the S-rank gate starting tomorrow. She once again sincerely wishes Kangwoo to be careful. Even if she's aware that Kangwoo is extraordinary, it's still an extremely dangerous place. She's a good leader. Kangwoo promises to keep it in mind as he walks away from the meeting room, leaving Huiyan and Yanju. The two powerful women get right into business as soon as Kangwoo steps out. Yanju asks Huiyan if the government has finally caught the tail of the demonic order. Huiyan disappointingly answers that it is not the case. But there is something for them to be hopeful for. This piques the guild leader's interest. It turns out that one of their members has infiltrated the demonic order, which is surprising. And it turns out that this undercover agent will be providing them with a video clip with compelling evidence at a contact point. That cult looked a tad bit familiar. It's not an easy situation, so they had to arrange a contact point with the agent. When asked where, Huiyan reveals that it will be tomorrow at Suwon, Woso Station. This place catches Yanju's attention. It's near the S-rank gate that Kangwoo wants to hunt at. Coincidence? I guess we'll see. The admirable Echidna beamed with joy as she showed off her new outfit to Kangwoo. He praised his familiar like a proud dad, and Echidna couldn't stop smiling around the apartment. She thanked Sola for the outfit after learning that her master liked it. Kangwoo and Echidna finished their preparations, putting on their shoes together in anticipation of the hunt. Sola reminded them to be careful. They're like a happy family here. Let's hope nothing bad happens. Kangwoo reminded Echidna not to transform without his permission. Sola observed the scene and couldn't help but feel a little sad. She wished she could join them in the hunt. As if reading her mind, Kangwoo asked Sola if she was planning to hunt with the Taesu party that day too. It turned out they had made plans. Kangwoo told her that he would join them on one of these days, and Echidna eagerly chimed in. Hearing Kangwoo and Echidna express their excitement about hunting with her and the party, Sola smiled genuinely, looking forward to the hunt. Kangwoo acknowledged that Sola had enough battle experience, but he wanted to help her grow further. With that, Kangwoo and Echidna bid farewell and headed for the S-rank gate. Inside the Suwon S-rank gate, Kangwoo oriented Echidna on 3 important things to remember. Firstly, she should avoid going near the lake due to a dangerous monster. Secondly, after the monster was lured out, she should refrain from directly engaging and instead provide assistance. Lastly, Kangwoo prohibited Echidna from transforming into her original form to avoid drawing attention. Echidna listened enthusiastically and agreed to all the instructions. With the guidelines established, Kangwoo activated the omniscient power of the authority of observation, summoning a massive phantom with an all-seeing eye. His demonic energy spread throughout the gate, scouting for monsters. Google Maps looks super strange here. Finally, he detected a sign of his first target, the giant ogre. Wanting to start slowly, Kangwoo activated the authority of temptation. The sweet aroma of his demonic energy permeated the vast plains, pleasing even Echidna. Kangwoo reminded Echidna to prepare for combat. Standing atop a tall rock, Kangwoo began channeling the power of the demon Baphomet, greatly increasing his strength by activating the authority of Thousand. Surrounded by a savage red aura, Kangwoo rushed towards the monster in his sights. The giant ogre was within striking distance, and they engaged in a contest of pure strength. They exchanged concentrated punches, each meeting the other's strike. Their strengths seemed equal as they held their ground, and the surrounding area absorbed the impact. Unstoppable force meets a movable object. However, being an S-rank monster, the attack that usually one-shot Kangwoo's opponents failed to work this time. In fact, it didn't even budge the giant ogre after he struck with the authority of Thousand, but Kangwoo wasn't helpless in front of the beast. He redirected the giant ogre's fist, concealing himself in the debris, only to reemerge in less than a second, wielding the sharpness of the authority of the dark spear at close range. The giant ogre was impaled from the jaw to its head, but to Kangwoo's surprise, it grated its fangs and swiftly grabbed him in midair. Fortunately, Echidna saw this and promptly provided support by activating her Dark Storm spell. Multiple dark magical blades cut into the giant ogre's body, causing it to roar in pain. Kangwoo seized the opportunity to break free from its massive grasp. Praising Echidna, he activated the authority of thunder and lightning, summoning a condensed electric ball in his hand. This is just Kakashi and his Chidori. Kangwoo mercilessly unleashed this powerful spell towards the wound he made with the dark spear. The giant ogre let out its final howl as Kangwoo's thunder and lightning cooked it from the inside. After a while, Kangwoo received notification of his victory over the S-rank monster, the giant ogre, increasing his level by 1. It was said that only parties with players over level 65 hunted in this gate, and the XP gained was truly equivalent to the difficulty. Echidna hurriedly ran to Kangwoo's side, asking if she had done well. Kangwoo praised her for effectively stunning the ogre. Even Echidna herself was surprised by the power of her spell. She had truly grown stronger since being summoned by Kangwoo. If she was already this strong in her human form, Kangwoo believed they could attempt to drive Hunt when she transformed into her original form. Suddenly, Echidna caught a whiff of something delicious. With an ear-piercing screech, the sky was suddenly filled with a staggering number of ferocious wyverns targeting them. These wyverns must have been attracted by the battle against the giant ogre. Kangwoo quickly lifted Echidna like a princess and instructed her to hold on tight. They needed to retreat upon realizing the overwhelming numbers. The authority of speed was a surface transport skill, so it wouldn't be as effective in escaping the flying wyverns. In that case, Kangwoo ran and jumped to the edge of a cliff, activating the authority of sky. 6 beautifully sinister wings sprouted from his back. He pushed himself to the limit, soaring through the sky, but the wyverns quickly closed in with their incredible speed. Looking back, Kangwoo saw a group of hungry S-rank monsters eager to reach their prey. However, he knew losing them wouldn't be a problem as one wyvern flew past, grazing Echidna's new skirt. Time seemed to freeze for the little dragon as she witnessed the fabric tear midair. Overwhelmed with anger, she started to transform. It was at this moment the wyverns knew they messed up. All she could think about was Kangwoo complimenting her outfit, and now a wyvern had damaged it. With a powerful roar, a massive white claw instantly dispatched one wyvern. Echidna, now in her original form, burned with rage as she regarded the ferocious wyverns as if they're tiny flying lizards. The wyverns sensed the danger and squirmed in fear. Echidna struck, taking down 2 wyverns with a single bite. She followed up by grabbing another 2 as if they were toys. Kangwu was speechless as he watched his familiar go on a rampage in midair. Another wyvern fell near him as Echidna struck with her sharp claw. Consecutive notifications bombarded Kangwu, informing him that his familiar had defeated an S-rank wyvern multiple times. He couldn't believe that this was the same Echidna who had nearly died fighting Reynold and his party. She was much stronger than Kangwu had anticipated. As wyvern blood spurted everywhere, a thought haunted Kangwu. His familiar might be stronger than him. That's a free level booster. A few moments later, after the battle, Echidna was once again back in her human form as she woke up in her master's arms. They were still inside the gate after the wyvern's slaughter. Echidna had no strength left in her body after going all out just a few minutes ago. Kangwu thought that this was the natural consequence of using up too much strength in her original form. She had lost consciousness the moment she transformed back to her smaller form. It was fortunate that Kangwu was there to catch her as she fell. Echidna remembered how her dress was torn by a wyvern, and she started to cry once again. Kangwu gently reassured her that it was okay, and they could always buy another one. But Echidna was reluctant to let go of the matter, so Kangwu used his stern voice and stared at her as he reminded her not to transform out of the blue like this in the future. He seriously stated that he did not like those who could not control their anger and lose their rationality. Scared, Echidna hurriedly apologized, promising never to do it again as she pleaded with Kangwu not to abandon her. Kangwu was quick to reassure Echidna that he would never abandon her. This was the first time they had battled together. He gently reminded her to just not do it again next time. She's just too precious. Just don't make her mad. Kangwu immediately felt a little guilty as he might have been too hard on her. He comforted Echidna, saying they would go back and buy more clothes immediately. He might have been too hard, but Kangwu needed to be decisive. Losing rationality during a battle was a huge problem, but today, the outcome was remarkably profitable. He went from level 41 to level 49 in one go. That's a speedrun. Kangwu knew that Echidna would be strong in her original form, but wiping out the wyverns by herself was beyond his expectations. Because of that, even his demonic energy had decreased significantly. He concluded that Echidna was able to transform into a human form and become stronger than ever because she absorbed Kangwu's demonic energy after becoming his familiar. The more she used his demonic energy, the greater power she could wield. Therefore, as Kangwu became stronger, Echidna can grow stronger alongside him. Kangwu was like a giant battery for this dragon, although overdoing it did take a toll on her small body. Suddenly, Kangwu was alerted by the familiar sound of rushing monsters approaching them. There was a pair of giant ogres. Kangwu thought he would head back for the day, but now he had to take care of 2 S-rank monsters without Echidna's support. He readied himself to pounce, thinking he was about to get more workout. However, a muscular guy wearing a tropical shirt and a hooded man wielding a bloodthirsty dagger had already taken care of the business in one shot each. Kangwu stared at both mysterious figures, clueless as to what had led him to this situation. The guy wearing a tropical shirt carefully approached Kangwu, asking if he was alright. Staring at these 2 men, even the clueless Kangwu recognized them immediately. The guild master of the specialized bandit guild, Onori, Chemin Hayuk, and the guild master of Hanul, and the number 1 ranker in Korea, Baek Kangyeon. Kangwu could not believe the coincidence of running into 2 of the most powerful people in the country together. Rank 1 guy gives off chill vibes, doesn't he? The 2 assessed that Kangwu didn't have a party with him, and he looked like a newbie who had come in for the first time after the level restriction had been lifted. The loud and outgoing Baek Kangyeon got close to Kangwu and proposed to escort him back to the entrance safely. He remarked that Kangwu's comrade looked tired too, as he